havoc. In addition, they were consumed by multiple forces in the early stages, and the fierce fighting and rapid marches in recent days made both the soldiers and horses extremely tired. Therefore, we were able to win that battle thanks to some luck. And street fighting can demonstrate the power of submachine guns to the greatest extent. The NIU heavy machine gun is the nightmare of all cavalrymen. Fire, accompanied by Shang Wei's roar. The Battle of Bianjing officially began. The flames spewed out by hundreds of NIU heavy machine guns were extremely terrifying. The bullet shells fired at high speed were smoking, and the battlefield was suddenly filled with smoke. The bullet that was fired penetrated the heavy armor that Yang Wei was proud of in an instant. The heavy armor was like paper after being pierced by the bullet. The remaining power did not diminish and directly made a huge hole in the cavalryman's chest. The spinning bullet even came out from the back. Bang! Some people were hit in the hands and feet and their arms and legs were broken. The warhorse was shot and fell to the ground kneeling, unable to stand up again. The blood mist in the air was like rain, so thick that it could not be dissipated. The streets were littered with corpses. Even if these people rushed forward one after another, facing the NIU heavy machine gun, they didn't even have the chance to move forward 1 meter. Anyone who shows his head will be killed. Yang Wei sent his most elite troops to attack as vanguards, but he did not expect that they would not be able to capture the city after a long time. For a moment, everyone was extremely anxious. Push forward quickly. What are you hesitating for? General, we can't charge forward at all. The army's firepower is too strong. If we show our heads, we will die, a deputy general said with horror in his eyes. They have new weapons again. Our heavy armor is like paper and is easily penetrated. I even saw a horse being broken in half. It was horrible. Yang Wei was stunned. Are you kidding me? He took out a telescope, found a commanding vantage point, and observed the battle situation ahead. However, wherever the telescope could see, there was only thick smoke and burning houses. Where are the grenades and the muskets? They can shoot. But you can't, Yang Wei said, suppressing his anger. We fought. But it was useless. We couldn't get close. The range of the musket was not enough, and we couldn't throw the grenade over. The deputy general said with a bitter face. The enemy only has 3 divisions, no more than 40,000 people at most. We have 100,000 people. We win. Yang Wei gritted his teeth and said, charge to the death. If one shield can't hold up, then stack several shields together and charge forward. In his opinion, as long as he could get close, he would win the battle. But he had no idea what Shang Wei brought this time. That was every cavalryman's nightmare. It is a magical weapon that can make nomadic people sing and dance. Chapter 365, Dead End. NIU's heavy machine guns are stationed on every important road. Orders are also being deployed in an orderly manner. However, Shang Wei knew his limits. Although he had a large reserve of ammunition, it was all used to deal with the Xiongnu cavalry. The dragon guards are not worth him using too many trump cards. In addition to mortars, there are also individual rocket launchers, which are not the latest weapons. But they have not been equipped in large quantities before, have limited lethality, and have limited range. It is different now. With technological breakthroughs, the production and technical barriers of rocket launchers have also been broken. Now the Day Division stationed in Bianjing is using a 14 caliber, which Your Majesty calls the 40 fire infantry cannon. The rocket launcher and optical sight weigh a total of 7 kg. The maximum effective range for moving point targets is 300 meters, and the maximum effective range for stationary point targets is 500 meters. This greatly enhances the power of individual combat. A variety of ammunition can be used, including fuel-air explosives. Now, the shells loaded by individual soldiers are specially made fuel-air explosive bombs. This bullet killed Dajing's commander-in-chief with a single shot during the Three Kingdoms period, and became famous since then and was also favored by the firearms battalion. But the cost is too high. The military also gritted its teeth and produced a lot of them to improve the combat capabilities of individual soldiers. Bang! The shell flew out, and the diffused stale flame drew a trail of smoke. There was a loud bang. The moment the shell exploded, a small fireball expanded rapidly, snatching away all the surrounding air. The scorching heat instantly cooked the enemy's skin, and their eyes became blind because they could not withstand the instantaneous high temperature. The horses ran wildly and the cavalry lost their balance. The armor that was heated to a red color was now like a big branding iron, burning them to death. Spreading from the explosion point, a brief vacuum zone was formed within a radius of 15 meters. The scorching heat wave swept over, accompanied by fragments of mortar and artillery shells, and the dragon guards felt the fear of their entire lives. Run away, you'll die if you don't run away. Mom, I don't want to die. When the dragon guards saw this horrifying scene, they lost all their morale. The rotten flesh that was blasted into pieces by bullets was the brother who had been chatting and laughing with them and drinking with them not long ago. At this moment, even if their parents came, they would not be able to separate them into a complete human form from that pile of flesh. Only then did they realize how ridiculous their previous delusions about day soldiers were. They attempted to use a powerful charge to get to the enemy, but found that they could not even get within 100 meters of the enemy. The fire network composed of bullets and artillery shells is like a divine punishment that can never be crossed. The black armor that they were so proud of was like tofu, which would be pierced with a single poke. Even the war horses were beaten into several pieces. They had only seen such scenes when they were killing horses for their meat. The colorful intestines, the red and white brains, the smoke in the air and the thick smell of blood made these veterans' stomachs churn. Within half an hour after the war started, they no longer had the courage to face Yi Jun. At this moment, they had only one idea: escape and survive. They only hated that the warhorse didn't have 4 more legs. But the streets were so crowded that it was difficult to turn around, so how could they escape easily? The gunfire gradually subsided until there was no longer a single Dragon guard left standing on the street. The water pipes of An I's heavy machine gun were boiling and smoking. The soldier who was controlling the weapon lost feeling in both his arms. And the war is not over. Jiang Wei waved his hand: charge forward and surround them. The infantry groups began to advance. At this moment, the dragon cavalry guards retreated to the center of Bianjing City. Yang Wei looked at the panicked crowd, feeling angry and frightened. Why are you running? General, the enemy's firepower is too strong. We can rush through. The leading entourage has all been killed, not a single one survived. Not to mention advancing. We can't even get within 100 meters of them. All the officers and soldiers felt as if they had lost their parents. General, they are catching up with us. Where should we run? The city walls on all 4 sides are blocked. They are all Yi's army. We have no way to retreat. Yang Wei was upset by these words. He didn't expect that the game would turn out like this in his home court. Brother, you have caused me so much trouble. Yang Wei hated Yang Ji in his heart. If he had deployed a large amount of gunpowder while these people were marching, and directly blown them to death, then all these problems would not have happened. Who said there is no way out? Let's retreat to the palace. Yang Wei and his men hurried to the palace and knocked on the door. But what he didn't expect was that the person on the city wall was Yang Tao. His heart suddenly chilled, and he forced a smile. Nephew, I'm your uncle. Open the door quickly. Yang Tao sneered. So it's my uncle, what? You brought the dragon riders into the palace to rebel. Yang Wei suppressed his anger and said, Nephew, you and I are a family. Can you bear to watch your uncle die outside? When I treated you as my uncle, did you F King treat me as your nephew? When I wrote to you to ask for your help, did you F King say a word? Now you know to come and beg me? It's too late. Yang Tao was extremely happy in his heart. If you dare to rebel, you will be dealt with by Day's soldiers. I will stay in the imperial city and protect the king. Yang Wei couldn't hold it in any longer and cursed. Yang Tao, you are a traitor and you have forgotten your roots. You will be infamous for eternity. Fuck you. Old man, you dare to scold me? I am a contributor today, and I will be remembered for generations. And you, Yang Wei, are only fit to be a traitor in this life. I will definitely let the historian write you down as a dog worse than pigs and dogs. Yang Tao laughed crazily. Yang Wei clenched his fists, and the soldiers above began to shoot arrows. Just when he was about to escape, he heard a gunshot. Bang! The bullet hit him right between the eyebrows. Blop! Yang Wei fell off his horse. Everyone around was stunned. Yang Wei's son Yang Yu was horrified. Dad? At this moment, all the dragon guards were numb. With pursuers behind them and hungry wolves in front of them, where can they escape to? The people who were already frightened were now confused. Seeing this, Yang Tao glanced at the sniper not far away, clapped his hands and shouted good, then said loudly, the traitor Yang Wei has been brought to justice. Are you still stubborn and unwilling to change your ways? Now quickly arrest Yang Wei's relatives and the truth can be forgiven. If you insist on doing it, you will surely die. Don't listen to him, he won't let us go. Yang Yu was also shocked and angry, and kept cursing Yang Tao. However, the looks of the people around him had completely changed. That's the look a hungry wolf has when seeing its prey. Yang Yu and his brothers were all terrified and tried to divert their attention. Their confidants also carefully protected them in the middle. At this time, someone in the crowd shouted, catch the traitor Yang Wei and his accomplices, and defend Bianjing. The single stone caused 1,000 waves, and everyone drew their swords and shouted, traitor! Kneel down and surrender. Chapter 366, both father and son died. Brother Yang Yu's eyes were red with anger. What do you want to do? On the city wall, Yang Tao laughed wantonly, until tears came out of his eyes. Bullshit clansmen, bullshit father and son, bullshit emperor. In the face of power, fathers plot against their sons, wives plot against their husbands, and the same clan plot against the same clan. But what the hell does it matter? You all think I'm a joke. Let me show you how big a deal this joke can make. I just want to take revenge on you. Brother, we are brothers, why should we kill each other? Yang Yu gave in, slipped off the horse's back and knelt on the ground. Yang Yu's two younger brothers also knelt down. They knew that the situation was hopeless. Fuck you brothers. You are not qualified to be related to me. Yang Tao laughed grimly. Put down your weapons, kneel on the ground, and wait for the heavenly soldiers to arrive. I'll count to 3. Anyone who dares to stand on horseback will be killed without mercy. Everyone was so frightened that they slipped off their horses, dropped their weapons, and knelt on the ground. Today, I, Yang Tao, single and ashen, repelled thousands of troops. In the future, others will praise my bravery. He looked at the child held in the arms of the wet nurse not far away, with a fierce light flashing in his eyes. Push that wet nurse over here. The child may have sensed something and was frightened, and started crying loudly. The little nurse came over trembling, holding the child in her arms. Prime Minister, Prime Minister. Climb up, Yang Tao said. Prime Minister, your servant. Your servant. If you don't climb up, your father, your mother, your husband, your children, your brothers, your uncles, your aunts, will all die, Yang Tao said in a low voice. The little nurse shuddered. No, I will climb up right away. The little Tianming in his arms kept making a fuss, perhaps because he was hungry, and kept struggling in the arms of his wet nurse. The wet nurse was no longer afraid and buttoned her clothes in front of everyone. Little Tianming stopped crying. Be good, child, we won't go down hungry. The nurse gently stroked the child's head, and then slowly climbed up the city wall. Under the gaze of tens of thousands of eyes, the little wet nurse closed her eyes in despair and jumped. Bang! The wet nurse fell in a pool of blood. The child in her arms also died. Yang Tao breathed a sigh of relief. Of course he couldn't kill the child with his own hands, so the best option was to let the wet nurse jump in front of everyone. In this way, the most he would be charged with is the crime of failing to provide adequate care. But in day, he is definitely a hero. When the dragon cavalry guards saw this scene, they all gasped and were terrified of Yang Tao's ruthlessness. Immediately afterwards, the crazy Xiao Yi came over crying and looking for his child. Your Majesty, your child is down there. If you want to find him, just jump down, Yang Tao said with a smile. Wow, he's really down there, his head is smashed. Great, I'll go down and accompany him. Xiao Yi climbed up the city wall like a madman and jumped down in full view of everyone. He was in a more miserable situation. His head hit the ground first, and his brain burst. The tragic scene was so tragic that no one present could bear to look at it. Yang Tao cried in a serious manner. Your Majesty, Your Highness, it is my fault for not taking good care of you. I am guilty. Hearing this hypocritical crying, everyone felt a chill in their hearts. The 3 Yang Yu brothers were even colder. Yang Tao is so cruel, and we don't know how he will deal with them. Soon, the people from Day caught up and were a little dazed when they saw the people kneeling under the imperial city. Fortunately, these people were also frightened by the killing and dared not resist at all. The Battle of Bianjing took more than an hour and ended with Yi's army's complete victory. There were no casualties. According to post-war statistics, more than 18,000 enemies were killed. The only problem is that the machine gun bullet consumption was quite high, with more than 200,000 rounds consumed. But after this battle, no one in the entire Bianjing dared to jump out. Yang Tao also successfully took control of these troops. At night, Yang Tao hosted a banquet for Shang Wei in the palace. His concubines were all wearing thin gauze clothes and dancing seductively. Master Shang, let these women serve you these days. Yang Tao poured wine for Shang Wei, flattering lie, and please, Master Shang, say a few good words for me in front of His Majesty. Shang Wei twisted his beard and said, forget about women. The Yi army has strict discipline when you go out. You are absolutely not allowed to drink or have sex. However, today, our army was able to successfully control the city defense, and Yang Xian played an indispensable role. I will definitely report the truth. That's great. I'd like to offer a drink to Lord Shang. Yang Tao picked up the wine jug and drank it all in one gulp. You have a good alcohol tolerance, Shang Wei said with a smile. Yang Tao let out a long sigh. But, Lord Shang, you have also seen that the king and the prince have jumped off the wall and died. Now Daqian is leaderless, and all the royal family members are dead. Only one little princess is left. You see, you must protect the little princess well. I will report this matter to His Majesty and let His Majesty make the decision. Shang Wei bowed to the north and said, next, I will ask Prime Minister Yang to cooperate with me. Yang Tao nodded in agreement. Next, Shang Wei said, now that the order to kill slaves has been issued, all the people are fighting to kill slaves. Daqian needs to support them more. Besides, my mission is to guard Bianjing, and Ziling will still depend on your own efforts. Yang Tao said, I will give the order right away to send another 100,000 Imperial Guards and 50,000 Dragon Cavalry Guards to guard Ziling. I feel relieved that Master Shang is in charge in Bianjing. Shang Wei shook his head with a half smile. Yang Tao was stunned and thought, maybe I said something wrong. Then Shang Wei dipped his fingers in wine and wrote a line of words on the table. When Shang Wei saw it, he gasped. Shang Wei meant that they should pretend that they could not defend the pass, lure the Huns into the pass, and wait for the main army to enter. Master Shang, is this appropriate? Of course. If you can fight your way out and drive them away, I won't stop you, but I only have 3 divisions, and there are too few people. Once the battle line is stretched, it will be disadvantageous for fighting. I hope you can understand. I can only guarantee the stability of the Jiangdan region. Yang Tao frowned slightly. Who doesn't know that Day's soldiers with tens of thousands are invincible? These 30,000 men defeated the 100 Zero dragon riders and suffered 0 casualties. It's not that Yang Tao cares about the life or death of these people, he just wants to cling to Day's thigh. Zhang Wei must not be offended. Okay, I understand. Yang Tao drank, but he was thinking in his mind how to handle this matter. On the other side, Zilling. The garrisoning general was Yang Ji's former student Fang Zhu. Relying on an army of 70,000, he held back the fierce slave army for nearly a month and was known as the last backbone of Daqian. At this time, he was also very famous and his popularity was catching up with those famous generals. Every day, patriotic people came to surrender, but what they didn't know was that their beloved General Fang was entertaining a friend from the Huns in his tent. Chapter 367 Snow Girl. General Taifu, I'll leave this matter to you, Fang Zhu said. In front of him, a middle-aged man with a full beard and wearing a Daqian uniform was patting his chest and said, General Fang, don't worry, you are loyal to the Xiongnu. And the Xiongnu will not treat you unfairly. Our great emperor of the Xiongnu Empire also has ambitions to conquer the world. You see, after all these years, we Huns still speak Middle-earth, so deep down we identify with Middle-earth. Moreover, there were hundreds of ethnic groups on this land. How many Hu people took root in this land? Why can't I, the Huns, do it? There have also been many Hu monarchs who established dynasties, right? Fang Zhu nodded. That's right. We the Xiongnu are no longer the same as before. We now have tens of thousands of miles of territory and rule over hundreds of nations. Even in the Middle-earth, there has never been such a great king. Even if it did not come to Middle-earth, the Xiongnu Empire was a greater country than Middle-earth. The reason why our Xiongnu Empire was able to rise so quickly is only because our Majesty values talents. Your general is undoubtedly a talented person. As long as you can help us, you will be a meritorious official. In the future, not only will you be given a title, but you can even be made a king of a different surname, Typhon, you said. Fang Zhu nodded. My master has been killed, and now the border is controlled by Yi Jun. It is not easy to deceive Yi Jun. But there is a way. He whispered a few words into Tifnu's ear. That's probably it. As long as Yi Jun falls into the trap, he will surely die. Tifnu nodded and said, okay, I'll wait for good news. Also, don't forget to send some young girls over, and don't send the older ones. What I, the Xiongnu, want is a girl who can give birth, not an old woman who can take care of me in my old age. Fang Zhu bowed slightly. Yes. Tifnu nodded. It's getting late, goodbye. Fang Zhu personally escorted Tifnu out of the tent until he disappeared into the darkness. He rubbed his head and said, it's really hard to fool them. Where can I get those young wives? Just when he was worried, his men came to report, General, Miss Snow, who is going to kill Hu Jun, is here. Hearing about Miss Su, Fang Zhu was also excited. Okay, please invite Miss Su in. Soon, Miss Snow, dressed in black armor, came in from outside, accompanied by several strong men. Greetings, General Fang. Miss Su, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Fang Zhu warmly invited everyone to sit down. Miss Su smiled and said without beating around the bush, this time, we killed more than 50 Xiongnu outside Zilling and seized a lot of supplies, but if we keep killing like this, I don't know when we will finish killing all these bastards. Therefore, I would like to ask the general to release me and provide me with a batch of baggage. I plan to attack their rear area, burn their granary, and then head west. Fang Zhu stood up respectfully and bowed, saying, Miss Zhu is a true heroine, but if you burn their granary, these beasts will probably do something even more heinous. You must also know that in Dajing, they once dried the women and children and made them into food. They don't care even if there is no granary. Having a granary actually constrains them. Isn't General Fang here? Miss Su said, he massacred hundreds of thousands of people in BA, Eugene. This account must be settled. I am well aware of your sincere intentions. But you also know how ferocious the Huns are. Moreover, the situation in Zilling is not good. The imperial court provided assistance to tens of thousands of people a few days ago, but did not allocate any supplies. This has led to food shortages in Zilling, and they can only hold on with difficulty. Fang Zhu sighed. Miss Snow frowned. I don't want too much, just enough food and fodder for 500 men. I can get the weapons myself. Fang Zhu shook her head. Miss Su, your killing of Hu Jun was a spontaneous act among the people. It was Day's order, but Day did not give us any support. If you are willing to join Zilling, I can guarantee you a general of 1,000 men. With your talent, you may be able to guard a region in the future. Not to mention the supplies for 500 people, even if it's for 50 people, I will rack my brains to get it for you. I hope you can understand my difficulties. They has provided support with 3 armed divisions. A total of 36,000 people with such a configuration, it is easy to defeat an army of 300. Zara you're 500,000, not to mention a million. How can there be no support? But Bianjing is hundreds of miles away from here, out of reach. If they are willing to come to Ziling, I am willing to follow their orders. Fang Zhu spread his hands, and then said to Miss Zhu sincerely, I admire you, even admire you. Stay and help me fight the enemy, okay? How could Miss Zhu not hear the other meaning in his words? I already have a lover. General Fang, please respect yourself. Fang Zhu disagreed. If Miss Zhu really had a lover, why would she let her show up in public? This woman is really beautiful, with a graceful figure, and especially her decisive and aggressive spirit. She is definitely a wild horse. Miss Zhu, why don't you let your lover come and talk to me? Fang Zhu smiled. Him? He is not free. He is very busy with all kinds of things every day. I wonder how many people want to see him, said Miss Snow. Fang Zhu was filled with disdain. Was he kidding me? You are still busy with all kinds of affairs. Is your man the Emperor of Day? If that were true, how could she be allowed to fool around with these men? Okay. Miss Zhu, if you look down on me, you don't have to use this excuse to evade me. Fang Zhu shook his head. I don't ask for much as long as you join the Ziling army. I will find a way to transport the supplies, but you can't use the banner of killing the Hu army. I can't contribute money and effort while at the same time cheering for the killing of Hu Jun. Miss Snow frowned and said, how about we use the silver to buy it? She also understood Fang Zhu's decision. Although Da Qian was a vassal state of Day, he could not make decisions casually without orders from above. How can I make wedding clothes for others? If someone wants to harm him, they can use this matter to bring him down. Fang Zhu sighed. When the country is in crisis, the price of supplies has skyrocketed more than tenfold. And some supplies have even skyrocketed 100-fold. Those profiteers have made a fortune from the national crisis. How much supplies can you give out? You tell me a number, and I'll figure out the rest. Fang Zhu raised a finger. 1,000 taels. Fang Zhu shook his head. 10,000 taels? Miss Zhu's face turned a little ugly. The supplies for 500 people would cost less than 10,000 taels. Fang Zhu shook his head again. 100,000 taels. I'll give you 500 men and a month's supply of supplies, including weapons. You are rotting. We killed the Xiongnu for the sake of Da Qian. Do you have to make things so difficult for us? The person behind Snow Girl said angrily. Fang Zhu chuckled and said, Miss Zhu, since you think I'm making things difficult for you, please do as you please. I have something else to do. So I won't accompany you any longer. Chapter 368, Worse than the Huns. Miss Zhu snorted coldly. I thought General Fang lived up to his reputation, but I didn't expect that his reputation was not as good as it seems. There are warmongers everywhere here, and 100 Zerotiles is enough to arm a team of 2,000 people. Since General Fang is unwilling to help, I will take my leave now. Fang Zhu's eyes flashed with a hint of coldness. I asked you to join Ziling, but you refused as you said. Since you are all slave killers, why are you unwilling to join the Imperial Army? You claim that you killed Hu Jun, but how can this general believe it? What if you use this batch of supplies to resell and help the enemy? If you are instigated by the Huns to rebel and turn around and attack us with weapons, who can I go to for justice? There are at least 80 people who come to this general every day under the pretext of killing the Hu army and ask for benefits. Will I have to agree to every one of them? What do you think I am here? He slammed the table, his face full of anger. I came here with the heads and swords of the Huns. You will know whether they are real or fake when you see them. A head can be used to kill innocent people, and a sword can be used to fake things. Don't play these tricks here again. Fang Zhu sneered. Miss Zhu, I have tried to recruit you several times, but you have refused each time. You better explain yourself to me, otherwise, you may not be able to leave this camp today. As soon as he finished speaking, the soldiers around him raised their guns and pointed them at Girl Zhu and the others. A burly man behind Miss Zhu shouted angrily, Fang Zhu, are you talking like a human being? Haven't we gathered enough intelligence for you in the past month or so? Summoning heroes from all directions to join us, there must be at least 800 of them, if not 1,000. Those people did not want any salary, they just wanted a meal, and they even provided their own weapons. Is it not worth the baggage of 500 people? How dare you ask for 100,000 taels of silver? They all say that you are as good as a famous general, but in my opinion, you are just a villain who steals fame and deceives the world. Miss Zhu raised her hand to stop the strong man from cursing, and said calmly, General Fang, you know the truth in your heart. If you insist on keeping me, you will not let me go even if I talk you out of my mouth. But I want to tell you that there are more than a dozen anti-Hu troops outside now, and they are all waiting for me to go back. You could have spread the rumor that I was a Hun spy, detained me, or even killed me. But you have to think about the consequences. Fangju's face was gloomy at this critical juncture. If these people were detained, most people outside would definitely not let it go. It is better not to cause any more trouble, so as not to disrupt the overall situation. He suddenly smiled, signaled his men to put down their guns. And then he saluted and said, "Don't blame Miss Shu on the warriors. I am also concerned about safety. I recently received news that someone tried to sneak in. So I was a little more cautious. There are tens of millions of people behind this Zilling mountain. If I lose it, I will be the sinner of Dakian. I hope Miss Snow will understand the pressure I am under. 100,000 taels of silver, it's just a joke. However, I am in a real pinch now. I cannot provide supplies for 500 people, but I can still provide supplies for 200 to 300 people. Don't worry. It doesn't cost a penny. He needs a good reputation to gain the trust of these people. The Hu army has become a force that cannot be ignored among the people, and he wants to catch all these people in one fell swoop." Miss Su nodded and said, "Thank you, General Fang." The originally tense atmosphere became relaxed at this moment. Afterwards, Fang Ju chatted with Miss Su for a few more words, and then said, "It's too late today. Send someone to pick up the baggage tomorrow." After thanking them, Miss Snow took her people away. Looking at Miss Su's graceful figure, Fang Ju sneered, "I'll kill you in 2 days." After Miss Su left, the burly man behind her said, "Boss, Fang Ju doesn't seem to be joking. I know he has murderous intentions," said Miss Snow. "So what should we do next?" the sturdy man asked. "I'm afraid this bastard is really in league with the Huns." Miss Snow frowned. "There is no direct evidence yet. We must not kill by mistake." She even wondered whether she should seek help from the Anbu. Not long after she returned to the camp, a skinny young man ran over in a panic. "Boss, I saw it, and I saw it clearly." "What did you see?" Miss Snow looked at him, sweating profusely and breathing rapidly, and poured him a glass of water. "Drink some water first, breathe smoothly, and then talk slowly." The skinny monkey drank some water and took 2 deep breaths. "I sneaked into the Huns' camp and found the women who were abducted. I also saw the merchant who often walked in Zilling enter the Xiongnu camp. He is a Xiongnu. Miss Su's eyes flashed with a fierce light. "We just saw him going in and out of the Xiongnu camp, but we can't be sure that he is a Xiongnu. These profiteers have no country in their eyes. For the sake of profit, they can even sell out their ancestors." The skinny monkey lowered his head and said bitterly, "Those women were abducted by our own people and given to the Huns. When they were sent to the Hun camp, they were bullied. Those people also said that since they were all given to the Huns anyway, they should just enjoy themselves first. And maybe they could leave their own offspring. A month ago, a large number of women were abducted. At first they just thought they were bandits. Later he inquired from many sources and asked all the mountain villages within a 500-mile radius, but found no trace of such a woman. After that, villages were massacred every few days, but no trace of this group of people was found. Not long ago, a hunter discovered the traces of these people and followed them all the way, only to find that these people entered Zilling Pass in the dark. I just want to know whether those people have come out of Zilling Pass." There was no emotion in Miss Snow's voice. The man who came with Skinny Monkey was called Flea. He said bitterly, "Boss, they are coming out. I have been guarding Zilling for so many days and found nothing. At first, I thought the news was wrong, but then I had an idea and followed several patrol teams leaving the city. Only then did I discover the secret. These people are in the patrol team outside the city. They used the name of patrolling as an excuse to leave the country. After leaving the city, they changed into the clothes of the horse bandits, and usually formed a team of 200 people. These women were locked up in a cave, which was heavily guarded outside. When the time was right, they would be sent out in the dark. Skinny Monkey was right, they would be tortured again before being sent away. According to what they said, they wanted the Huns to raise their children." At this point, the flea's teeth clattered, and its nails even dug into the flesh. "These beasts, how could they do such a thing that is worse than that of beasts? They are even more vicious than the Huns. If we don't kill them, we won't be able to vent our anger." Snow Girl said, "Gather everyone and prepare for battle." Chapter 316. All beasts and running dogs can be killed. That night, another group of women were sent to the cave. The person guarding the door said, "Damn, the goods this time are much younger than the previous batches. Damn it, isn't it what the higher-ups asked?" The escort said, "You're lucky this time, many of you are virgins. As usual, you get half and the rest belongs to us," the leader said with a sly smile. "Anyway, those Huns don't care whether they are young girls or not. They can even inherit my woman. Why should we care about these things? We should work hard in the next 2 days, and then we can let those bastards raise children for us." Suddenly, laughter from the crowd could be heard outside the cave. The leader loosened his belt and said, "Everyone, watch carefully. I'm going to go in and inspect the goods first. You better not get into this dead woman's belly. You haven't had a peaceful month." said the escort. Alright, stop talking nonsense. Come in too, and report back after you're done. After half an hour, the group came out of the cave satisfied. I'm leaving now, I'll come back in 2 days. 200 men lead their horses down the mountain, but as soon as they reached the foot of the mountain, they were attacked. In the darkness, countless arrows flew out, directly piercing the people on the outermost circle into hedgehogs. The sudden attack threw these people into panic. Enemy attack. The leading man made a loud noise, but what came from the dark side was an arrow. The arrow entered his mouth directly. The sharp arrow had pierced his brain and came out from the back of his head. With the help of moonlight, Snow Girl saw the man lying on the ground and rushed over. In a short while, all 200 people were killed. Those who were not dead had their limbs broken and thrown aside. Everyone else, follow me. Miss Sue knew very well that there were not many guards on the mountain, only about 100 people. And more than 500 of them were enough to capture the top of the mountain. The only thing to be careful about is that this place is very close to Zilling and reinforcements may arrive at any time. There are several patrol teams around Zilling, patrolling day and night. So we must act quickly and decisively. The mountain is not high, only about 100 meters. The people on the mountain also noticed something was wrong and immediately started beating gongs and drums. However, they moved quickly. 500 people pressed forward and soon broke through the camp. When Snow Girl entered the cave filled with strange smells and saw the women who were chained and in dishevel, she felt heartbroken. She has seen all the evil in the world since she was a child, and at this moment she still can't stop her anger. When the women saw someone rushing in, they all huddled up in fear. Some women who had been in the business for a long time even spread their legs numbly. Master, let me rest for a while. It hurts, a woman pleaded pitifully. Her body was covered in bruises and inexplicable stains. Snow Girl gritted her teeth and said, I'm here to save you. Then she said, Fatty, quickly get the key. Unlock these people's shackles, and take them down the mountain. The patrolmen must have heard the noise. If we don't leave now, it will be too late. The fat man nodded, took the key from the prisoners, and then uncuffed them. Men, take off your coats and put them on them, ordered the Snow Girl. At this moment, there was nothing romantic about killing Hu Jun. They only felt heartache and pity. Among them was a young girl in her prime who had been tortured beyond recognition. In troubled times, human lives are worthless, and women are even more valuable than commodities. 200 people stay with me to lure away the enemy. Fatty, you take them away. Boss, I will lead the enemy away, you take them back, said the fat man. This is an order. Miss Yu didn't waste any words, went down the mountain, and rode on her horse. Tonight, we will kill the Hu army. Not only the Xiongnu, but also the beasts. Kill. Everyone raised their swords high, and their killing intent was boiling. From this moment on, Miss Sue finally understood what her man meant when he said, enemies are not scary, but running dogs are scarier. They shouted and killed all the way, trying to attract the enemy, and the effect was very good. In less than a quarter of an hour, a large group of troops rushed over. Miss Snow remained calm and divided the team of 200 people into 4 teams, which separated them from 4 directions to confuse them and buy more time for the fat man to retreat. The moon was beginning to set and dawn was not far away. The darkest hour of the day has arrived. The pursuers behind her were hot on her heels, so she even deliberately slowed down to let them catch up. It was not until the moment before dawn that they completely shook off the pursuers behind them. Miss Snow led everyone back to the camp by a detour. Fatty, are they all back? Boss, we are all back, the fat man said. This time, we injured more than 200 people, and more than a dozen brothers were seriously injured and died. Miss Snow felt bad, but there is always death in war. She went to see the brothers who had died in the battle and had them properly settled, then went to check on the women who had been rescued. Some of them died on the way due to serious injuries. After torture, it was confirmed that he was indeed from the Zilling army. The fat man said, Boss, should we expose Fang Zhu? It must be exposed, but not now, Miss Snow said coldly. He is secretly colluding with the Huns, and he must have some ulterior motive. What should we do then? We have rescued these people, Fang Zhu will definitely be aware of it. So retreat immediately. Skinny monkey, flee, you to stay here to gather intelligence, and come back to report as soon as you have any news. The Snow Girl said, I have a friend who can help us through this difficult time. No one thought much about it. As their leader, Miss Sue was the one who had the final say in killing Hu Jun in Zilling. If she could afford to support so many people, she would be able to take in all the Hu killing troops in Zilling. On the other side, Fang Zhu was very angry. As dawn approached and he was sleeping soundly, he learned that the cave had been breached by a group of people and all the women had been rescued. More than 200 people were killed or wounded, and some were captured. This made Fang Zhu furious. A patrol of several thousand people couldn't even catch them. General, I have already sent people to investigate, but this ex-siren is too cunning. He has divided himself into several teams and confused us. Waste, all of them are waste, Fang Zhu shouted angrily. If you can't find these people, you will die. He was filled with fear. Once the news of his collusion with the Huns and looting women spread, he would be disgraced and infamous for eternity. He Jun wouldn't be fooled either. General, why worry? At this time, a middle-aged scholar said with a smile, it would be better to issue a wanted order, saying that someone has snatched the woman who was just rescued from the Huns from us. Offer a high reward. By then, even if someone comes forward, no one will believe it. Chapter 370 Drama. Fang Zhu was overjoyed after hearing this. Mr. Wen, you really are a timely help. Mr. Wen looked very elegant, holding a feather fan in his hand and wearing a sutra on his head, but it was he who brought together Fang Zhu and the Huns. Sometimes, we don't have to take action, we can still kill someone by borrowing a knife. Mr. Wen stroked his beard and said. Fang Zhu nodded, this is a great idea, I'll have someone post the reward right away. Wait. General, Mr. Wen shook his head, it's not safe to offer a reward yet. We should recruit all the surrounding Hu killing troops to join us and consolidate our forces. At that time, whoever doesn't come must be the one who took action last night. When the plan is accomplished, not only can they be captured in one fell swoop, but the Hu army can also be severely damaged. The initiator of the plan, will not have an easy time either. Moreover, I have a way to help the general get rid of this bad reputation. Fang Zhu cupped his hands and said. I'd like to hear the details. Put all the blame on the murder of Hu Jun in this way, they will be the culprit. Then, we can put on a big show, Mr. Wen whispered in Fang Zhu's ear. After hearing this, Fang Zhu also laughed out loud. Great, great. This chain of plans is really ingenious. It's really because there is no Zhuge Wu Hu here. Otherwise Mr. Wen must be even more powerful than the ingenious Zhuge Wu Hu. Mr. Wen's favorite novel is Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and his favorite character is Zhuge Liang. Otherwise, he wouldn't be wearing a feather fan and a robe. Upon hearing Fang Zhu's comparison to Wu Hu, Mr. Wen was also all smiles. Soon, rewards began to be posted at Zilling Pass. In addition, a recruitment notice was posted, requesting all the anti-Hu troops to gather at Zilling to discuss strategies. The two notices spread quickly, shocking Zilling. And countless patriots have begun investigating the forces that launched the raid last night. Many people also entered Zilling and became non-staff members of the Zilling army. Fang Zhu was also generous to these non-staff members, giving them silver when they asked for it and supplies when they asked for it. For a time, countless people praised it. And the news soon reached Miss Snow. Boss, he is forcing us to show up. If we don't go to Zilling, they will definitely suspect us, said the fat man. Miss Zhu sneered and said, don't pay any attention to it. Fang Zhu is so anxious to clear himself, which shows that he has something to hide. There must be a conspiracy behind this. He is the only one who has brains, so we don't have brains? She thought for a moment and said, go to the Xiongnu camp and spread the news that Fang Zhu is secretly colluding with He Jun and is planning to lure the Xiongnu army into Zilling and capture them all in one fell swoop. Then, I need a few brave men to pretend to be Fang Zhu's men and go to the Xiongnu camp. The fat man gasped. This is too risky. How can you get chestnuts from the fire without taking risks? Snow Girl sneered, just do as I say. I will definitely deal a heavy blow to the Huns. The fat man didn't dare to ask more questions since the boss said so. He must have his reasons. Our camp has now moved to a safe place. Most importantly, everything needed for food, clothing, and shelter is available here. There is even large leaf medicine for wounds that is worth a fortune and cannot be bought anywhere else. All these signs indicate that their leader has a close relationship with the Day people, so it would be right to listen to her. After the fat man left, Miss Snow also sighed. In the end, I couldn't help it and used this relationship. If His Majesty knew about this, he would definitely be angry, right? She took off the mask on her face, revealing another look. Who else could it be but Honggu? Her appearance has long been circulated in various countries, so if she continues to walk around with her original appearance, she will definitely be targeted. Her ability to disguise herself is the guarantee of her safety when traveling around the world. Looking at herself in the mirror, Honggu was lost in thought. Soon after, she felt her stomach churning. She retched for a long time before she stood up and touched her abdomen with a wry smile. You came at the wrong time. Our menstrual periods were irregular, and she had been injured many times while traveling around the world. A famous doctor once threatened that she would be infertile. This was a secret deep in her heart, and she dared not tell anyone. It was also the most important reason why she quietly left Day. She can be the queen, but Day cannot have a queen who cannot give birth to children. By then, the people will turn all their conflicts to Li Yuan. After she left, she didn't pay much attention to it, living in the open air until a month ago, when she felt she had gained weight and began to retch constantly. After the consultation, she found out that she was pregnant. Come to think of it, it should have happened the night before I left. At this point, it has been more than 4 months. It wasn't long before my belly grew bigger and I couldn't hide it anymore. She was very conflicted about such a big thing, but after thinking about it for a long time, she still didn't dare to hide it from Luyuan. First of all, if you haven't been back for a long time and suddenly give birth to a child, you will definitely be questioned if you rashly go back to recognize your relatives. She didn't want to suffer this injustice. Nor did she want her child to bear unnecessary pressure like Huan. Even if Liyuan trusted her and loved her, she absolutely did not want Liyuan to bear this unnecessary doubt. So she had made up her mind that after this matter was over, she would return to Liangjing. Even if Liyuan scolded her or beat her, she would accept it. The worst that could happen was that she would kneel for 2 hours to admit her mistake. As for her brother, she could only take things one step at a time. She couldn't ruin her child's life because of this obsession. She stroked her belly gently. Perhaps this was the only child she could have in her life. This was a gift from God and she must protect it well. Putting on the human skin mask again, she changed into another appearance. However, that kind maternal love could not be concealed. At this time, the Hun's camp, Cheku was entertaining the Wen family. I'm aware of General Fang's plan. I'll cooperate with him in putting on a show when the time comes. Huan Yan smiled and said, "Thank you, General. The court has already responded and will send 150,000 troops over once we annihilate these people on the way. They will definitely not be able to sit still." The Wen family's plan was simple. They would cooperate internally and externally to destroy the imperial reinforcements en route when the battle was almost over. They would run over to help and drive away the Huns. At this time, the two sides cooperated closely and completely gained the trust of the Huns. The Wen family's status here has also risen. The family members have also changed into Shang new clothing and went to Pingjing for pilgrimage. This is a good plan, but are you sure you can attract Yi Jun as well? I'm mighty sure. Huan Yan said with a smile. Okay, I'll wait for your news. Cheku made a gesture of invitation. Huan Yan also said goodbye and left sensibly. After Huan Yan left, Cheku also began to dream of punching Da Qian and kicking Day. By then, they will be able to wash away the shame. But not long after Huan Yan left, a rumor spread in the military camp. When Cheku learned the content of the rumor, his expression became solemn, but before he could find out the source of the rumor, another group of people came from Ziling. Chapter 371. Estrangement. Xie Chiqiu looked at the people who came and asked, "Who asked you to come?" "General, we are from the Ziling Vanguard Battalion. And our leader is Qiu Taidao, who is under the general's command." Cheku sneered, "Qiu Taidao? Interesting, do you have a token?" A fat man took out a letter and handed it over with both hands. "General, you will know it as soon as you see it." Cheku was a little hesitant, but thinking that this was the big camp, they did not dare to act rashly. After taking the letter and reading it, he was shocked. Qiu Tai's Han said that he had admired the Huns for a long time. He said that Da Qian was already in ruins and on the brink of national destruction. And he wanted to follow Xie Chiqiu, and had something to report, and had already pledged his allegiance. He knew Qiu Tai's Han, who was well known as Fangju's loyal dog. What he reported coincided with the rumors circulating in the military camp. In the past 2 days, rumors began to spread in the camp, saying that Fangju was plotting peace with Yi Jun and planned to drive the Han army into Qianxia mountain outside Ziling city and annihilate them. All of Fangju's previous flattery was fake. In order to reduce the casualties of the Shahu army, Fangju even absorbed a large number of Shahu army and provided them with a large amount of supplies. When he saw the letter, the first thing that came to his mind was conspiracy. But then he thought, this matter is top secret. And no one knows about it except the people closest to Fangju. If everyone knew about this, they would have been finished long ago. Therefore, this letter is most likely true. Cheku was shocked and angry, but he said calmly, "I believe you have read it. But it is not enough for me to believe it." The fat man cupped his hands and said, "Believe it or not, General, we are just messengers. I'm just curious. Dai is so powerful, why don't your generals cling to Dai?" Cheku asked. The fat man smiled and shook his head, then he said, "General, the reason why Da Qian is in this state today is all because of the bandits Lu. How many Chinese people have died at the hands of Yi Jun? They also forced Da Qian to cede land and pay compensation, pay tribute and become a vassal, thus humiliating the country and oppressing countless people. Anyone with a conscience would not join Dai, only spineless people would curry favor with Yi Jun." These words touched Cheku's heart. And he believed them 90 of the time. He nodded, "Okay, since you took the trouble to deliver the letter to me, I can't treat you unfairly." Then he pretended to reward them with a lot of gold, held a banquet to entertain them, got them drunk, and found a few women from Da Qian to keep them company. He wanted to see how these two would perform. It turned out that the two of them performed better than he expected and had a lot of fun. Chequ gave another hallucinogenic drug and asked someone to question him. The result made him feel relieved. It's true, Fangju actually dared to fool me. Jaku gritted his teeth. He brought an army of 300,000 this time, plus the troops temporarily recruited from the aristocratic families. The total number of people was more than 400,000. Before this, when Yan came and said that he had annihilated the imperial army of 150,000 on the way and tricked Hejun into coming, but those were all lies. The purpose is to make him relax his vigilance, so that when the army is dispatched, they will surely die. If Qiuayutai's Han hadn't turned against him, he would have been in trouble. At night, the two men woke up and insisted on leaving, including taking away the women they had played with last night. Chequ didn't stop it either. He also wrote a letter and asked the two to pass it to Qiuayutai's Han. The content of the letter was very simple. He asked Qiuayutai's Han to cooperate in opening the gate 3 days later. He would attack Zilling at night. On the other side, Zilling. Fangju became more and more uneasy. Mr. Wen, all the people who killed Hejun have come, but the real murderer has not been found. This. When Yen also frowned and waved his feather fan. General, if it's not those who killed the Hu army, there is only one possibility. There is a traitor among us. It must be, Fangju said with a gloomy face. Maybe it's someone from Day, or someone from Day, or someone from the imperial court. Both are possible. When Yen narrowed his eyes and said, there have been some bad rumors in the army these past 2 days. You mean Qiuayutai's Han? Fangju said with a cold face. It's definitely not Qiuayutai's Han. If it was him, he would have come running here to beg for mercy by now, and the general must know Qiuayutai's Han's temper. He is as hard as iron even if you put a knife to his neck. It will be useless if he has not done anything. Besides, why should he come to ask for forgiveness for something he didn't do? When Yan deduced, if it's not Qiuayutai's Han, then it must be his enemy. Fangju was stunned for a moment. Then he started to think Qiuayutai's Han was the most capable general under his command. He had been with him for many years, had been through life and death with him, and had saved him many times. It was impossible for him to betray him. And in the entire army, there was only one person who disliked him the most and wanted to kill him the most. Fang Jun, his half-brother. Speaking of this younger brother, many bad things flashed through Fangju's mind, but he has always been cautious and well-behaved and sensible in front of him. Moreover, almost all the talented people of the Fang clan are in Zilling. There was no way he could not do anything wrong to Fang Jun. Moreover, Fang Jun was also a deputy general specially appointed by the imperial court. He could not compete with himself. He had many people under his command. Yes, it must be him, that bastard. If he kills Qiuayutai's Han, he can compete with me. Fangju clenched his fists, his eyes full of murderous intent. When Yan did not interrupt and said, I think the general knows what is going on. If we don't get rid of this person before the war, there will be great trouble. I understand. Fangju took a deep breath and bowed to Wen Yan. If it weren't for Mr. Wen, I would still be suspicious of Qiuayutai's Han. But Mr. Wen, how can I get rid of this traitor? The weather has been bad recently and it's easy to get sick. General, please be more careful. Wen Yan smiled and then stood up to say goodbye. Fangju fell into deep thought, the light in his eyes becoming brighter and brighter. You asked for this. Soon. He called Fang Jun to his camp. Fang Jun was confused. Brother, what do you want me to do? The imperial court's reinforcements will arrive soon. I want you to wait in Nanhua Road, 200 miles away, to prevent the army from being ambushed, and to investigate the enemy situation at the same time, Fangju said. Fang Jun's face changed slightly. Brother? Are you asking me to attack the imperial reinforcements? When he said this, he looked around to make sure there were no people around before he said, that's a 150,000-man army, and the Dragon Riders alone have 50,000 men. Even if we put all of our Zilling troops on the field, we still can't defeat them. What are you afraid of? The main force is the Huns. They are just pretending. Once the main force is wiped out, they can't blame us. Do you understand? Fangju said. Fang Jun cursed in his heart. If this operation was not done properly, wouldn't he lose his life? He has so many generals under his command. Why did he want to let me go? I understand, since I am his younger brother and have a high status, I can naturally convince others. You bastard, you must want to kill me. Fang Jun was filled with hatred. He was the only one who thought of doing such a shameful thing. He took a deep breath and said, Brother, why don't you let Qiuayutai's Han go? Chapter 370 to Cloud Movement. General Qiuayu is a veteran of many battles and is more suitable than me. I'm afraid that such a big thing will ruin my brother's plan, Fang Jun said. He didn't know that these words, when heard by Fangju, further confirmed that he was the one who did it. Qiuayutai's Han's status is not high enough, and he will inevitably be suspected by others. You are the most suitable person to go. And don't worry, there will be no danger, I promise you, Fangju said. Don't you want to be in charge of the cavalry? When you come back, I will let you lead the cavalry. How about it? If it were in the past, Fang Jun would definitely be happy, But Fang Zhu was more defensive against him than against Chuan, and at this moment he casually gave control of the cavalry to him. There must be a ghost. Thinking of the rumors he had overheard, he became alert and refused without thinking. Brother, I know exactly how much I weigh, so forget it. Fang Zhun sighed. Besides, I've been catching a cold lately and I'm not feeling well. When he said this, he coughed a few times. Here I have some magical medicine for fighting the cold that I got from Day. It's worth a fortune, take it and take it. Fang Zhu took out a tablet of medicine from the box and handed it over. I guarantee that the medicine will cure the disease. Also, this is an order, you can't bargain with me. Fang Zhun was very frustrated. Okay, I'll go, but brother, if there are any mistakes, don't blame me. He did not take the medicine, he bowed, accepted the order, and left. As soon as he left, Fang Zhu's expression became extremely gloomy. Okay, it turned out to be you, little bastard, you want to harm me. I won't be called Fang Zhu unless I kill you. After Fang Zhun left the tent, he was also extremely nervous when he returned to his own tent. He called his younger brother Fang Zeng over. The first thing he said was, "Big brother wants to kill me." Fang Zeng looked at his panicked brother and said, "Brother, don't be nervous, talk slowly." Fang Zhun held his brother's hand and said, "That rumor is true, big brother wants to take this opportunity to kill me." As Fang Zhun spoke, Fang Zeng's face darkened. "Brother, you want me to go with you?" "Yes, he asked you to go with me. But I refused. I said you were still young and inexperienced, and he scolded me." Fang Zhun lied just to get Fang Zeng to stand on the same front with him. Fang Zeng snorted coldly. "We are all brothers and sisters, how could he do such a thing? For the sake of power. But wouldn't he sell? Think about how miserable those women were they treated as merchandise and given to the Huns by him. He kept saying that we would be fine. But what was our purpose in going there? They were going to lead the Huns. If we don't want to be suspected, our death will be the most convincing. Even if we are not suspected by others while we are alive, we will be ridiculed as deserters and be infamous for eternity. So, brother, we can't just sit there and wait for death." Fang Zhun gritted his teeth and said, "He can even betray his own brothers if he really becomes successful. We will only die a more miserable death. Then tell me, what should we do?" Fang Zeng also realized the seriousness of the problem. He wants to cling to the Xiongnu, right? Then why don't we cling to Yi Zhun? Fang Zhun sneered. Using this as a qualification to get into the upper class, at least we don't have to sell out our country for fame, and we won't be criticized in the future. But, is it too late? Why is it too late? You can quietly send someone to notify the Imperial Court of reinforcements, which will be a great achievement. When the time comes, I will leave the city, and you can stay in the city ready to cooperate with me from inside and outside, just waiting for the Imperial Court army to enter the city, which will be another great achievement. At that time, the world will only praise you and me for sacrificing our relatives for the greater good. Okay, let's do it. The two brothers discussed it and finalized all the plans. On the same day, Fang Zhun sent someone to notify the court for reinforcements. And early the next morning, he left with 5,000 men under his command. Last night, Fang Zhu invited him to drink and even apologized to him in person, saying that he had spoken too harshly during the day. He also emphasized that they are brothers and should work together. Fang Zhun, who has always loved wine, did not drink a drop of wine or eat any food last night. He didn't believe that Fang Zhu would dare to kill him in the city. At this moment, he was also cautious when leaving the city, and asked his confidants to clean up the spies at any time behind him. On the other side, the gathering point of the dark forces, Honggu is counting the weapons. Tonight is the day when the Huns will launch a night attack. She had to prepare in advance and snipe the Hun camp. Most of the people from the entire Daqian Western Secret Department have come here. Totaling thousands of people, there are also a large number of equipment and machinery here, enough to start a war. Originally, she wanted the Embu to support her with weapons so that she could lead the Shahu army to attack the Xiongnu camp. However, the Huns were inside the city, and if they wanted to attack the city, with their limited number of people, they could not make much of a difference. And half of her people were in Ziling city. Even if they had weapons, it would be impossible to break into the city. They could only ambush the Huns halfway. In this battle, we don't need to defeat the Huns, we just need to scare them away. The entire Ziling will be defended, and we just need to wait for the main force of Daqian to arrive and kill Fang Zhu. She knew that she was overstepping her authority by doing this, but she had to do it. After Honggu counted all the supplies and made sure they were correct, she said to the Anbu people, "Tonight, it's up to you. Don't worry, we will complete the mission," said the Anbu man. It was getting dark. Very stuffy. See, Chiku, you didn't have a good rest either. TEF Mu. Are you all ready? We're ready. 150. Zero cavalry are ready to go. Tifnu nodded. There are only 200,000 troops here, and 50,000 troops must be left to guard the city. Have all the spies been arranged? There is no one in Xia Mountain. We have checked it many times, you can go without worry, Tifnu said. The reason why Ziling is difficult to attack is because of the Xia Mountains, which are surrounded by crisscrossing mountain ranges, with one mountain connected to another, and all of them are canyons. It is easy to get lost if you are not familiar with the terrain. The most convenient way to get to Ziling is through the Grand Canyon. Ziling is located at the end of the canyon and is easy to defend but difficult to attack. What did the spies in Ziling say? Cheku wiped his sword. No problem, Tai Fun Yu sneered. However, Fangju also wrote a letter asking us to quietly bypass Ziling and ambush at Nanhua Road. After tonight, Ziling will be our 7 if we don't continue the attack. We have done a great deed. Cheku sighed. If we want to gain a firm foothold in the Xiongnu, we must make military achievements, so we can't afford to lose. Tifnu nodded and said, we will not lose although the barbarians are gone. The Huns will be great in the end. Chiqyu stood up and threw the precious sword in his hand to Tai Fun Yu. This is a gift from the old Chan Yu, now I give it to you. I hope you can kill more enemies with this sword. Come on, I'll be waiting for your triumphant return here. Tai Fun Yu took the precious sword with both hands and was very excited. Thank you, General. If we can't take Ziling in this battle, Tai Fun Yu, bring your head to me. Chapter 373, Fear of Being Dominated. The night is pitch black. In the canyon, the Hun army advanced very carefully. Almost every few miles, a scout would come back to report the situation. They would only move forward after confirming that there was no danger. Tifnu doesn't want to suffer a setback. Seeing that Ziling was just around the corner, Tai Fun Yu became more cautious. Are Qiu Tai's Han's people? General, we have seen the people over there. There are patrols on the main road. Let's take the small road on the right to avoid the patrol and send signals. Qiu Tai's Han's men are patrolling the city wall, waiting for us to charge, and then they will open the wall and let us in, said the spy. Tifnu nodded, but still kept a cautious mind. The vanguard camp will charge in first, and the 150,000 troops will go in 3 times to avoid being tricked by the enemy. The army also moved from the main road towards the small path on the right. This is a relatively narrow canyon, but the moonlight can shine and invisibility is very high. I think Qiu Tai's Han did it on purpose. Tifnu was in a much better mood. Just as the army was on its way to the canyon, the sudden loud noise broke the silence. Tifnu was stunned for a moment, then shouted loudly, "Enemy attack!" However, his words were drowned out by the rapid eye sound of gunfire. There were not just gunshots, but even artillery fire. Tifnu was so frightened that he almost fell off his horse. When he was fighting against Biao Yang, he was nearly killed by a cannon. The scar on his face was left at that time. So in his heart, he was extremely afraid of Yi Jun. It was Yi Jun who ambushed. The 150,000 strong army was suddenly thrown into disarray. The war horses were also frightened and ran away. Ongu was observing from a distant hill and she did not join the battle. The sound of explosions and the flames in the distance made her heart wrench. Although these Ambu were specially trained special forces, their number was only over 1,000. And we really repel hundreds of thousands of Hun cavalry? If she lost, she wouldn't know how to face Li Yuan. Fortunately, this plan was particularly successful. And in less than half an hour, the Hun army was scared away. There were corpses everywhere. The 2 men's team of 1,000 people even went deep into the pursuit to kill the enemy. And the momentum they created was extremely huge. Honggu breathed a sigh of relief after this ambush. The Huns would definitely break with Fangju. She couldn't help but look towards Ziling, thinking that the sound must have been heard over there as well. At this moment, Fangju was awakened from his sleep by a hurried voice. He sat up unhappily. What's the matter? General, something happened. Qiu Tai's Han shouted outside the door. The Huns are invading in large numbers. What did you say? Fangju exclaimed. Got out of bed shirtless without even putting on any clothes, opened the door, and shouted angrily. Didn't they say they would let us pass through tomorrow? Why are they here tonight? Qiu Tai's Han said in panic. I don't know. At this time, Fangju also heard the loud noise coming from afar. They are attacking us now? You bastards, you actually went back on your word. He was also shocked and frightened. He hurriedly put on his armor and came to the top of the city wall. However, the Huns did not come. Only in the distance, there was a loud noise accompanied by fire. As a war going on over there, said Qiu Tai's Han. Whose troops are fighting over there? Are they ours? Fangju asked. Qiu Tai's Han's old face flushed. And he reminded, General, the patrol team members are not equipped with firearms. Fangju was also a little embarrassed. He was so nervous that he forgot about this matter. Moreover, the dense gunfire and explosions were obviously not from an ordinary force. Could it be that there is another force here that we don't know about? General, should we go over to provide support? Support, bullshit. Fangju gritted his teeth and said, the Xiongnu people have no moral principles. If we hadn't encountered this mysterious force tonight, what would have happened to us? Maybe it's a misunderstanding, said Qiu Tai's Han. This is not a misunderstanding, Fang Zhu said coldly. Perhaps they pretended to cooperate with me just to paralyze me. Qiu Tai's Han didn't dare to say anything. Then let's follow the Xiongnu. They are enemies, not friends. We don't have to cling to the Huns if the Imperial Army comes. We will cling to the Imperial Army if Yi's army comes. We will cling to Yi's army as long as we have the military power in our hands. We can make a name for ourselves wherever we go. Fang Zhu knew that he had the people, the fame, and the territories. Even if he didn't get crowned a king or a prime minister, he could still be a local lord. The two of them watched on the city wall for a long time, until the gunfire stopped. And then Fang Zhu sent someone to investigate. The spy came back to report that there were only corpses on the ground and he did not dare to go near. At this time, Tifnu dragged his injured body back into the city. Xia Qiu looked gloomily at Tifnu, who was breathing out more than breathing in, and squatted down. Anything else you want to say? General, Fang Zhu cannot be trusted. Tai Funyu held Xia Qiu tightly at this moment. It seemed as if he had a flash of light. I am a sinner, General, I am a sinner of the barbarians. After saying this, the light in his eyes quickly dissipated, and then he died. Cheku closed his eyes with his hands. And then the people around him reported to him what happened tonight. Cheku had no expression on his face. How many people were killed in this battle? Still clearing up. Soon, the casualties were counted, and it was found that in this battle, more than 15,000 people were killed or wounded. This was definitely the biggest setback the Huns had suffered since entering China. Jilin actually has such powerful guns and artillery. They must be supported by Yi Jun. Maybe Yi Jun is mixed in with Da Qian's support troops. I'm afraid Ziling will be difficult to capture. That's right, either the army retreats now, or fights to the death. Inside the camp, everyone was in a very low mood. When they talked about Yi Jun, their indomitable spirit was gone. In their opinion, the only way to win against Yi Jun is to fight to the death. Even now, their military strength far exceeds that of the barbarians. But tonight, Yi Jun made them recall the fear of being dominated. Cheku also made a prompt decision. We can't give them the chance to surround us. Gather everyone and let's retreat back to Bau Jingji. Yes, General. No one objected. They now had only one thought: to withdraw their troops and stay as far away from Yi's army as possible. The sky gradually brightens. Only at this time did the defenders of Ziling dare to approach the battlefield. Looking at the beaten body on the ground, the black blood gathered together and flowed like a stream, continuously towards the foot of the mountain. Everyone took a breath of cool air. In addition to the corpses of horses and Huns, there were also bullet shells scattered on the ground. Fang Zhu personally came to the battlefield and picked up the shells on the ground. This is Day's most advanced musket. It actually appeared here. Did the people who killed Hu Jun really receive support from Day? He couldn't help but curse. You son of a bitch, you can't even buy such good equipment, but you're giving it to these peasants for free. What are you thinking? Chapter 374, It's good to be back. On the other side, Nanhua Road. Fang Zhun had also encountered the Daqian reinforcements, and after meeting Marshal Yang Hua, he immediately told Yang Hua the truth. Yang Hua is Yang Tao's cousin. The two have had a good relationship since childhood. When Yang Tao was in trouble, it was Yang Hua who rushed to help, which is why he was able to become the commander-in-chief of the reinforcements. However, when Yang Hua heard Fang Zhun's words, he also had a strange expression. He thought of Yang Tao's instructions when he came here, that they must lose this battle and lure the Huns to the south of the Yangtze River. General Yang, you must not take the Nanhua Road, or you will be ambushed. Fang Zhun gritted his teeth and said, Fang Zhu has forgotten his ancestors and has become a running dog of the Xiongnu. They are just waiting to defeat you, and then they can lure Yi Jun here. Yang Hua pretended to be silent. Are you sure Fang Zhu has defected to the Xiongnu? Yes. Fang Zhun said, I am willing to guarantee it with my own life. I believe you, but words are not enough. What evidence do you have to prove that Fang Zhu is plotting a rebellion? This. Fang Zhun was anxious. Although he and I are not born from the same mother, we are brothers. How can I joke about such a thing? I just don't want to be criticized by the world. And I don't want Fang to become a rat crossing the street that everyone shouts and beats. Yang Hua was already 99 convinced in his heart, but he had to fight this battle, and he was sure to lose it. We can take Nanhua Road, but I can let the vanguard explore the way. If the Huns dare to ambush us, they will pay the price. Yang Hua looked at Fang Zhun. If what you said is true, I will report it to Prime Minister Yang and ask for credit for you. Fang Zhun was speechless. He knew there was an enemy ambush on Nanhua Road, but he still wanted to go. Was he so confident? He tried to persuade her a few more times, but it was no use. He couldn't persuade her at all. Fang Zhun was helpless and in a dilemma. He changed his mind and said, forget it, I can only take it one step at a time. If Yang Hua gets into trouble, I will go to Beijing directly. Yang Hua was also happy. He had been thinking about how to lose this battle. Now the opportunity has come, right? He would wait for the enemy to ambush him, and when the vanguard was defeated, he would retreat, so that he would not lose too many troops and would still be able to complete the mission. Soon, he sent a cavalry of 10,000 people to explore the way ahead. The main force followed behind. The journey that should have taken a day and a half took 3 days. But during these 3 days, not even a single Hun was seen. Yang Hua looked at Fang Zhan unkindly. Where are the Huns, where are they? Fang Zhan was also dumbfounded. General Yang. Ken, the Huns must be nearby, waiting for us to let down our guard. Fuck you. Yang Hua slapped him. I was a full day and a half late. If there is a problem at the front line, it will delay the opportunity to fight. You are guilty of a capital crime, don't you understand? Fang Zhan knelt on the ground and kept saying, Yang Shui. Believe me, there must be a conspiracy here. Ziling City cannot be entered. Yang Hua was in a bad mood and kicked him over. He looked at Ziling not far away. The spies had already reported and Fangzhou was already waiting outside the city. Pass the order, enter the city. Yang Hua got on the horse without even looking at Fang Zhan. Fang Zhan also fell into self-doubt. Could it be that the plan was fake? Yes. Fang Zhu must have told me that fake plan on purpose to confuse me. Fang Zhan pounded the ground with his fist. You bastard, you actually misled me. He got up from the ground and followed the army to the foot of Ziling City, where he saw Fang Zhu flattering Yang Hua with a fawning look on his face. He calmly walked to Fang Zheng's side and asked, What's going on? Fang Zheng whispered something into Fang Zhen's ear. Fang Zhu broke with the Xiongnu? Yes. A few days ago, the Huns tried to launch a surprise attack on Ziling, but were ambushed by a mysterious force on the way. We cleared out more than 15 Zero Hun corpses. Now, the Xiongnu have completely returned to Bau Jingji and no longer want the conquered territory, Fang Zheng said with a strange look on his face. Could it be that Fang Zhu has entered the game with his own body? Impossible, that mysterious force is very well equipped, using Day's latest weapons. It's possible that they are the Hu killing armies secretly supported by Day. Therefore, Fang Zhu is now afraid and is polite to the surrounding anti-Hu army. As long as they bring the heads of the Xiongnu people, he will give them money and weapons. Fang Zheng sneered, now he's as obedient as a grandson. Fang Zhen slapped his thigh and said, This time my flattery hit the right spot. He is angry. This is trouble. Will Yang Hua think that he is spreading false information maliciously? General Yang, I have prepared a banquet. Please come into the city. Fang Zhu bowed and made a gesture of invitation. Yang Hua nodded, looked at Fang Zhen calmly, then snorted coldly and swaggered into the city. In April, it's cool in Beijing. A carriage drove directly into the palace from outside the city. Honggu's belly is already very obvious even though she is wearing a thin shirt. The guard wanted to report it, but was stopped by Honggu. Don't alarm him, I'll go there myself. She walked outside the Yongping palace and heard Liu Yuan cursing from inside, and she became extremely nervous. After a long while, a few officials came out dejectedly. She took a deep breath and slowly stuck her head out from a distance. She could feel Liu Yuan on the dragon throne, trying hard to suppress his anger. She was already nervous and didn't dare to enter the door. Who's sneaking around outside? Come in. Honggu trembled all over. And her heart was trembling. If you stick your head out, you will be killed. If you hide your head, you will die. Who told her to leave without saying goodbye? She deserves it. She walked into the hall reluctantly. Greetings, greetings to His Majesty. Honggu grabbed her ears and knelt on the ground. Liu Yuan glanced at her and sneered. Oh, what a rare guest, Miss Su, why are you kneeling here in front of me instead of killing everyone on the battlefield? Don't kneel down, I can't bear it. Honggu was embarrassed. Your Majesty, I was wrong. Liu Yuan stood up and walked to her. Seeing her belly that couldn't be covered by the loose clothes, he felt angry and distressed. He immediately helped her up and said, You are really amazing. You are leading troops outside with a big belly. Why don't you give birth to a child while marching and fighting? Honggu lowered her head and said with a guilty look on her face, I was wrong. If apologies are useful, what is the point of having a government office? Honggu said with a bitter face, I'd better kneel down. I will stand up after you have finished scolding and beating me and calm down. Alright, stop playing tricks on me. Liu Yuan pulled her. How could he let her kneel down again? From her straight body, it can be seen that she is very nervous no matter how angry he was. He didn't dare to lose it. He immediately picked her up and put her on the dragon chair, saying helplessly, What can I do with you? How could Honggu not feel Liu Yuan's heartache? She said with red eyes, Your Majesty, please beat me up. It will make me feel better. Forget it, I'm glad you're back. Liu Yuan shook his head, touched her belly, and pinched her face. You've lost weight. You must have suffered a lot when you were pregnant with this little guy. Chapter 375, The Art of Witchcraft. Since having this baby, Honggu has suffered from severe morning sickness, and she can't eat or sleep. If it weren't for my good physical condition, I would have been tortured terribly. No, I won't suffer. Honggu said, The baby is yours if you count the date. It should be the day before I left. Why, are you afraid that I won't recognize you? No, I'm just afraid of you. What are you thinking about? Liuan couldn't help but patted her on the head. Don't talk nonsense. This is not my child. Whose child could it be? Along the way, everyone in the ambu secretly protected Honggu. Liuan knew exactly what she had done and who she had contacted. He knew everything, including how she formed the anti-Hu army in the western part of Daqian, rescued the captured women, and ambushed the Xiongnu. Honggu also smiled innocently. However, I am very angry that you left without saying goodbye this time. If you leave without saying goodbye again in the future, I will definitely punish you severely. Liuan pretended to be fierce. I don't dare anymore. Honggu shrank her neck and pretended to be scared. You've been exhausted from the journey, so go to my study and have a good rest after you've had enough sleep. Oh, pay your respects to my parents. As he said that, Liuan picked her up and walked towards the imperial study. Honggu also let him hold her, but just stared at the man. With Liuan guarding by my side, I slept soundly from morning till late in the evening. When she woke up, the table was filled with her favorite snacks. Are you awake? Come, have something to eat. They are all made by my mother. There is also this chicken soup, which my mother made herself. Honggu wanted to cry. You left without saying goodbye and you are still so nice to me. Let's not talk about the past. Fill your stomach first if you can't eat too much. Just eat a little to avoid vomiting. My mother has already gone to find a cure for morning sickness. Honggu lowered her head and ate her favorite snack, and tears began to fall as she ate. Why are you still crying? It's so delicious you can eat such delicious snacks outside. Honggu wiped her tears and said, I thought that this time when I came back, you would scold me, beat me, ignore me, and don't want me. Don't cry if my parents see us. They'll think I'm bullying you. Liuan gently wiped her tears. I'll ignore anyone else but I won't ignore you. After a while, Honggu stopped crying. I don't know what happened to me, now I love crying and thinking nonsense. It's caused by hormonal changes after pregnancy. Many people experience this. Liuan held him in his arms and comforted him softly. Honggu was so moved that she said, I will never run around again. After she finished her snacks, Liuan took her to pay her respects. Lu Qiushan didn't say anything, just kept laughing. The Lu family has a large population, which is more important than anything else. Suaxiyui held Honggu's hand and said, You've lost weight. You must have suffered a lot outside. Don't run around anymore. If anything happens to you, what will you let us do? If you don't think about us, you should also think about Xuoan. On the day of his coronation, if you leave him alone there, won't everyone laugh at him? Mom, let's not talk about the past. Suaxiyui also realized that she had said the wrong thing, and hurriedly changed the subject. It's good that you're back. Take care of yourself and give birth to a fat boy. Honggu said ashamed lie. I'm sorry to have made you worry. I was too ignorant to escape at the last minute. Suaxiyui patted the back of her hand, and then said to Lu Yuan, Today is a double celebration. Our whole family is finally reunited. Send someone to invite Xiaoyang and his wife to the palace, and I will cook for them myself. Soon, Liang and his wife entered the palace. In addition to Honggu, there were Xi Aining and Li Wuyu in the yard. Both of them were pregnant, but the pregnancy was not so obvious as it was still early. When the two girls saw Honggu, they hurried over and spoke to her in a personal manner. No one dared to question the baby in Honggu's belly. Xiaoji and Jia also came over holding Huan's hand. Seeing the yard full of pregnant women, she felt inexplicably melancholy. In the past 2 months, there has not been much progress in her relationship with Li Yuan. She goes to and from the palace to be with her children after get off work every day. However, they seldom meet or chat when they are with their children. Li Yuan didn't have much desire to share with her. They just maintained a superficial respect for each other. Now that Maggie Chung is back, I have even less time to pay attention to her. They were chatting happily, as if she was the only outsider. She stood in the corner, looking out of place. Originally, the position that belonged to her was gone now. Honggu sat next to Li Yuan with confidence, and she was successfully squeezed to the last seat. Everyone was congratulating Honggu, and even she was holding up her teacup and saying congratulations in a proper manner. Xiaoji and Jia was just slightly envious. There is even an urge to compare. I already have Huan, why should I compare? Xiaoji and Jia thought it was ridiculous. Even if she changed, it didn't mean that she had to follow the crowd and compete with these women. Once upon a time, she just wanted one love. But she lost the love that belonged to her alone. Since she cannot enjoy it alone, she also hopes that this love is different from others. It's a pity that Li Yuan is unwilling to give this special love to her. After the meal, everyone dispersed. Xiaoji and Jia returned to the yard. However, a bigger crisis was quietly approaching. What are you doing in my yard? As soon as Xiaoji and Jia stepped into the yard, she saw someone constantly throwing things out of her room. Among them were the medical notes she had painstakingly made. Stop it now. Xiaoji and Jia looked at the things scattered on the floor and couldn't help but said angrily, Who allowed you to rummage around in my room? Empress Xiao, What is this? The speaker was Luo Bing's deputy Wang Yan, who was also an old lady in the county magistrate's mansion. She had lost her husband and son, had an average appearance, and a good figure. Xiao Ji and Jia took a closer look and found that Wang Yan had two dolls in her hands. What are these? Then I have to ask you something. Wang Yan snorted coldly. This humanoid doll was found in your room. Impossible, there is no such doll in my room. Xiao Ji and Jia suddenly had a bad premonition and glanced at Xiao Yu behind her. Xiao Yu shrank her neck and asked, "Sister, what are you looking at me for? Is it you?" Xiao Ji and Jia shouted angrily. "What can I do?" Xiao Yu said with a grievance. "I have always been under your nose, what can I do?" At this time, the palace servants found several dolls from Xiao Ji and Jia's room. Each doll had her birth date and even silver needles inserted on it. When Wang Yan saw these dolls, she gasped, "What a vicious witchcraft! Concubine Xiao, you are in big trouble." Xiao Ji and Jia was speechless. She had been on high alert and careful, but she didn't expect that she would still fall into the trap. If these dolls were placed in front of Li Yuan, she would have no way to defend herself. Chapter 376, East and West Factory 2. Sister Wang, this is not my job. I go to work every day, take care of Huan Huan when I get home, and I have to write medical records at night. I don't have time at all. I heard that concubine Xiao has set up a medical research laboratory in the palace, and there are even ominous things like human bones in the laboratory? Wang Yan sneered and raised the doll in her hand. These are the evidence. You stay here and don't let anyone destroy the scene. I will report to the director, and the director will report to His Majesty. As they spoke, the palace servants took control of the entire courtyard. Empress Xiao, please wait here for a moment to avoid unnecessary trouble, Wang Yan said, and left with the doll. Xiao Ji and Jia was so angry that she was shaking all over. Xiao Yu, if I really confirm this, will you get any benefit? Xiao Yu said innocently, it's really not me, we share the same fate. How could I do something that would kill 1,000 enemies but hurt myself 800 times? Xiao Ji and Jia simply couldn't believe it. Apart from Xiao Yu, was there anyone else in the palace who was so hostile to her? Xi and Ing? Li Weiyu? They are mothers who rely on their sons for status and have no motive. If Huan Huan was a son, it would be understandable for them to do this. There are 5 areas in the harem in addition to the palace where Luke Yuishan and his wife live. There are areas under the jurisdiction of the 4 concubines. One of the 4 concubines is still vacant. Above is the queen. The concubines in the area where she worked all day had long been divided up by Xi and Ing and Li Weiyu. Now that Honggu is back, she estimates that the entire harem will be under her jurisdiction. Thinking this way, she had no conflicts with other concubines, so naturally no one would put the blame on her. So, it must be Xiao Yu. Xiao Ji and Jia looked at her with contempt and was too lazy to talk to her. When Luo Bing found out about this, her expression changed drastically. Are you sure these dolls were looted from concubine Xiao's room? It's confirmed. This matter is too big and I dare not make the decision, Wang Yan said. But Luo Bing looked at the words on the doll, which were, Yuan, Chani, Yang, Zhi. There are also birth dates. Her scalp tingled. Taking the doll, she said, His Majesty is accompanying the Red Palace. If we go over to disturb him at this time, I'm afraid. But if we don't solve such a big problem and we are blamed for it, we won't be able to bear the consequences, said Wang Yan. How did you know there were dolls in concubine Xiao's yard? It was the maid in the yard who discovered it accidentally while cleaning the room, and finally reported it to me, Wang Yan replied truthfully. The maids in the palace were all newly recruited, and they were not anyone's confidants. Apart from their daily work, they spend most of their time studying and preparing for exams. Everyone is trying to gain a better future, and staying with a concubine would only restrict them. Precisely because of this, Day's harem is very easy to manage, and although there are intrigues, they are very rare. Luo Bing nodded, then took a deep breath and came to the palace where Li Yuan stayed looking at Wang Dakhong outside the door. He asked, Is your Majesty resting? Wang Dakhong also stood up in a hurry. Sister Luo, not yet. Empress Hong vomited again. The doctor is examining her. Luo Bing nodded and walked in. She saw Honggu lying on the bed with a look of despair, while Li Yuan, who was standing beside her, was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. Your Majesty, the Queen's nausea is quite serious, but it's not a big problem. I will prescribe some medicine for her if she eats lighter food. It should be able to relieve the symptoms, said the imperial physician. Okay, get someone to boil the medicine right away. Li Yuan looked at Honggu, whose face was pale, and felt distressed. Are you feeling better? Your Majesty, I'm sorry to have worried you. I heard someone say that the severe morning sickness is because the baby in your belly is too strong. This child will definitely be strong in the future. Li Yuan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Where did you hear this nonsense? I heard it from those women, Honggu said a little tiredly. Li Yuan sighed, stop talking and rest more. After Honggu fell asleep, Li Yuan got up and looked at Luo Bing. Wu looked anxious and whispered, Sister Luo, is there something wrong? Your Majesty, I have something to report. Let's talk outside dawn. Wake up Honggu. Li Yuan walked out of the bedroom and came to the study. What's the matter? Wu Bing placed a few dolls on the desk and said, Your Majesty. These dolls were found in concubine Xiao's room. She recounted the story of how she had found the doll. Li Yuan looked at these dolls with a frown on his face. Name? Birth date, black dog blood, silver needles. Is this stabbing a villain? No matter how stupid Xiao Jianjia is, she would not do such a stupid thing. If you were in this situation, would you leave so many dolls in your room? She could have just put these dolls outside the palace, or used her doctor's convenience to get some medicine that shouldn't be made, or harm me through food or tea. Why go to all that trouble? Those who framed her also thought I was a fool. It was true that his relationship with Xiao Jianjia had reached a stalemate, but the bigger reason was that he didn't know what attitude to use to proceed. This is good, no conflicts, no arguments. Everyone is busy with their own things during the day. But they can still spend time with their children and chat at night. Isn't this the ultimate happiness for ordinary people? You can have your own space without being alienated. That being said, I have never dealt with such a matter. Please give me your instructions, Your Majesty. Wu Bing had never encountered such a thing and didn't know where to start. Don't worry about this matter. Tell Jianjia to go to bed early and not to think too much. I will investigate it thoroughly. Lu Yuan said. Wu Bing breathed a sigh of relief. Yes, Your Majesty. After Wu Bing left, Li Yuan asked Wu Sun to take apart the doll. The things inside the doll were unusual. There was placenta and some animal organs. Not to mention palace maids. Even for ordinary people, it is not easy to get these things. It was quite easy for Xiao Jianjia to get these things, as military hospitals often had family members of military personnel giving birth in the hospitals. Your Majesty, this evil magic is too vicious, Wu Sun said. Li Yuan said calmly, since we are going to frame someone, the more vicious the better, but you are incompetent as the manager. There are only a few people in the harem when something like this happens. Don't you have anything to explain to me? Wu Sun felt unprecedented pressure, and was so frightened that he knelt on the ground in a hurry. I deserve to die. Please punish me, Your Majesty. If you really want to die, just die by yourself. Wu Sun's forehead was covered with cold sweat. Are they really going to let him die? If he really dared to bang his head against the wall, Li Yuan would definitely not stop him. Wang Da-chong, come in. Wang Da-chong, who was guarding the door, also ran in quickly and knelt on the ground. Your servant is here. From today on, the two positions of Zong Shefuling and Lang Zongling will be abolished, and the East Factory and West Factory will be established. The East Factory will be responsible for transportation, and the West Factory will be responsible for palace internal affairs. From now on, you and Wu Sun will jointly supervise this case. Whoever finds out first will serve as the eunuch for the head of the Western Factory. Chapter 377, Cold on the outside, warm on the inside. Wang Dakong took one look at Wu Sun and was secretly shocked, thinking, Your Majesty is asking me to compete with this barbarian. If I win, I will be the #1 person in the Imperial Household Department. Thinking of the fatal blow from Wu Sun, he still dares not take big steps when walking. Thinking of the various actions of the Wang family who sacrificed their chariots to save their kings, Wang Dakong became furious. He wants power. Only power can deal with these people and wash away the humiliation on oneself. I obey your command. Wang Dakong replied. The son also responded, but his face was expressionless and no one knew what he was thinking. However, Li Yuan felt that it would be extremely difficult to eliminate eunuchs in a short period of time. The structure of the palace is destined to be inseparable from such a group. For example, the eunuch who holds the seal. Do you dare let a woman do it? Or if you don't need to use eunuchs, do you dare to use officials from outside the court? Eunuchs are dependent on the imperial power, and can only be dependent on the imperial power. They are greedy for money, have dark personalities and many other faults. Would they not exist in ordinary people? Not necessarily. The system of separation of military and politics is good, but it still needs a check and balance in an era when imperial power is supreme. If the imperial power cannot even be extended to the countryside, there is no need to talk about constitutional monarchy. These dolls made Li Yuan realize some things. He is not perfect either and is always growing through lessons. Meanwhile, Wu Bing came to the courtyard and said, Wang Yan, evacuate all the people, including the eunuchs from today on. The 6th Bureau has no right to order the eunuchs around. Wang Yan's face changed, and she walked to Wu Bing anxiously. Sister Luo, is there something wrong? Ask me. Wu Bing glanced at Wang Yan coldly, then walked up to Xiao Jianjia, bowed slightly and said, Her Majesty asked me to tell you that it's getting late. Go to bed early. Don't think too much, you still have to go to work tomorrow. You must be in the best spirit to see the patients. Xiao Jianjia's heart, which had been hanging in the air, suddenly settled into her stomach. And she was filled with emotion. Growing up in the palace, what kind of dirty things has she not seen? As early as when she was 7 or 8 years old, there was a concubine in the palace who used witchcraft to cause chaos in the court in order to gain power, and ended up with her head and body separated. No emperor could tolerate such a thing. She thought it would be an earth-shattering disaster. But she didn't expect that Li Yuan would just say lightly, "Go to bed early and don't think too much." At that moment, she felt her back stiffen. I couldn't help but look at Xiaoyu. Xiaoyu also had a dazed look on her face. That's witchcraft. How can it be just brushed aside so lightly? Is Li Yuan mentally okay? Thank you, Sister Luo, Xiao Jianjia said. This is what I should do. Luo Wobing smiled. Then I'm sorry to disturb your majesty's rest. Soon, everyone retreated. Xiao Jianjia called in the maids and eunuchs who were serving in the courtyard. You have seen how wise and intelligent his majesty is. This matter is not over yet. You can report whoever did it. Otherwise, once the investigation begins, you will definitely be interrogated. By then, you will inevitably suffer physical pain. That's fine, but I'm afraid some people might lose their heads. The maids and eunuchs were trembling with fear. They all knelt down and begged, "My lady, it's not you. It's really not you. If you have any clues, you can tell me quietly. Reporting may not necessarily lead to merit. And I will definitely not let you be wronged." Everyone knelt on the ground, looking at each other. One of the eunuchs said, "Madam, I have a clue. Even days ago, Xiao Zhengi entered your bedroom to clean." Xiao Yu jumped up immediately. "What's wrong with cleaning? Isn't this what I should do? The division of labor in the courtyard has always been clear. How can Xiao Zhengi clean the room when he can't even put on his clothes properly?" The eunuch mocked. Xiao Yu is a spoiled child from childhood to adulthood. She has always had everything she wanted. From eating to clothes, she can't even put on her clothes properly. Oh, can't I learn if I don't know how? Xiao Yu looked at Xiao Jianjia with a wronged look on her face. I also reported Xiao Zhengi 4 days ago. Xiao Zhengi tidied the queen's wardrobe and said that she made a sachet and placed it in the wardrobe to prevent it from being eaten by insects, said a maid. I also report Xiao Zhengi when the queen was not in the palace. Xiao Zhengi frequently used the queen's writing brush, ink, paper and inkstone, and he didn't let us know what he wrote. In the past, everyone turned a blind eye to Xiao Yu's behavior. Although Xiao Jianjia disliked her, she was the emperor's concubine after all, and there might be a day when she would be favored by the emperor. They are just slaves. It is better not to offend them if you can. But now everyone is trying to save their lives, so no one cares about these things and just says everything out loud. You, stop spitting blood. Xiao Jianjia interrupted her. Write down everything you know and hand it over to me. I will hand it over to His Majesty tomorrow morning. I can guarantee that people who are not aware of the situation will not be implicated. After being pardoned, everyone expressed their gratitude, ran back to their rooms, and began to write their confessions. Sister, you don't really think it was me who did this, do you? Xiao Yu said angrily. What good will this do me? You said that if we prosper together, we prosper together, and if we suffer together, we suffer together. How could I do such a stupid thing? They slandered me, so why can I slander them? Xiao Jianjia looked at her as if she were a fool. You can write it, but I can't guarantee whether your majesty will believe it or not. Xiao Yu stood in the courtyard, her eyes full of malice, but her heart was extremely nervous. But then he thought, as long as he refused to admit it, would His Majesty really favor Xiao Jianjia? After following Xiao Jianjia for so long, Li Yuan had never come here once, so she knew that Li Yuan did not dote on her, even don't like her. That's why she dared to slander Xiao Jianjia openly. The next day, Xiao Jianjia got up very early. Normally, she would go out of the palace in simple attire, but today, for the first time ever, she put on makeup and wore new clothes. Holding the confessions collected last night, he walked towards the Wudi Hall. Li Yuan would exercise here every day without fail. Your Majesty, concubine Xiao is here, Wu Sun reminded. Let her come over. Li Yuan did not put down the stone lock in his hand. Xiao Jianjia looked at Li Yuan with his bare chest, his muscular upper body covered in sweat. Those 8 well-defined abdominal muscles are extremely eye-catching. She couldn't help but take a few more glances, then moved away guiltily, and then bowed and said, Your Majesty, I pay my respects to you. Is there something wrong? Li Yuan didn't like being disturbed when he was exercising, and his tone was rather cold. Although Li Yuan was cold, Xiao Jianjia didn't feel that way. She only knew that this man who was once as passionate as a volcano was deeply hurt by her. Under that cold appearance, the heart is still hot. Even the warmth that was emitted unintentionally gave her enough care and security. You exercise first, I'll wait for you to finish. Xiao Jianjia sat on a stone bench beside her, stretching her chin with both hands, staring blankly at those 8 abdominal muscles. Chapter 378, Kiss and Run. Seeing him staring at him, Li Yuan was amused and dropped the stone lock. You're not going to work today? Going to work. Xiao Jianjia said. However, the hospital has been relatively idle recently. The last batch of injured patients have been discharged. Those who have not been discharged need long-term recuperation. There are interns watching over them, so I don't need to watch over them every day. Li Yuan waved his hand and Wang Dakua happily brought a bath towel. After wiping the sweat off his face, Li Yuan asked, "What's going on? Not exercising anymore?" "I haven't had enough." Xiao Jianjia deliberately pretended to be casual. She thought that there was such a deep gap between her and Lu Yuan. If she was too pretentious, they would only become more and more distant. Lu Yuan was stunned and looked her up and down. "Are you possessed by a female sex demon? Where is the Xiao Jianjia from before? After I died, the me now is the real me. Do you want to get to know me better?" Xiao Jianjia's heartbeat suddenly accelerated, and she stared at Lu Yuan's eyes and said, "Not interested." Lu Yuan curled his lips and sat down. "Since you are not in a hurry to go to work, let's have breakfast together." Wu Sun clapped his hands, and a eunuch came over with breakfast. Lu Yuan's breakfast is relatively simple, consisting of white porridge, steamed buns, dumplings, an egg and a glass of milk. He exercises every day and has a heavy workload. He doesn't pursue delicacies from land and sea, but he still has to keep up with his nutrition. Xiao Jianjia peeled the eggs and put them in Lu Yuan's bowl, and then served him a bowl of porridge. "Do you want to add sugar to the milk?" "No." Xiao Jianjia nodded and poured him another glass of milk. "Do you want me to feed you?" "Wu Sun, go find the imperial master later and tell him that someone in the palace is possessed by evil spirits and ask him to exorcise the evil spirits." "You are possessed." Xiao Jianjia bit her lip and said, "If others are nice to you, you can accept it, but if I am nice to you, even if it is just mocking, you should at least give me a chance. If you can't stand it, you can leave." Li Yuan said casually while eating breakfast. "No one forced you." Xiao Jianjia clenched her fists and said angrily, "I won't." She couldn't help but think of how Li Yuan had treated her wholeheartedly before, and how she had treated him. Isn't it also ridicule and all kinds of attacks? Now it's your turn. And you can't bear it? And she really has the fate of an extreme princess. And he picked up a steamed bun and took a big bite. Xiaoji recently passed the teacher qualification exam. Why don't you give him a gift to congratulate him? Li Yuan suddenly remembered this. Xiao Jianjia shook her head. "I don't want to get entangled with them anymore. I have a list of the Xiao clan members in my hand. Take a look." Then, Li Yuan asked Wu Sun to bring the list over. "Take a look and see which of these people are promising talents." Xiao Jianjia didn't extend her hand, but lowered her head. "How many talents are there in the royal family? If you force them to be promoted, they will just be idle if they don't make any achievements. It will only undermine your wisdom. Also, I have poor judgment and I don't know how to judge people, so I won't give you any advice. It doesn't matter whether you have the ability or not. What matters is whether you can obey. Look here and see who are more sensible and select a few. Just consider it as a gift for Huan Huan," Lu Yuan said. "Really?" Xiao Jianjia raised her head after the Xiao family members were exposed. Lu Yuan promised to promote some people. She didn't take it to heart at that time, but now, she was moved but felt something was wrong. How could she not understand what Xiao Hong and his people were thinking? Those people have bad intentions. They just want to gain high positions through Huan Huan and me. Now Xiao Yi is dead, Yang Ji is dead, and all the royal family members in Bian Liang or Dia Qian is only one step away from being destroyed. If they propose to return to Bianjing now, would you agree or not?" Xiao Jianjia sighed. "I don't want Huan Huan to get involved, and I don't want to either at this point. Daqian is already beyond redemption. I only hope that you can treat the people of Daqian well, nothing else." "Are you really not going to care about them?" Lu Yuan asked. "Everyone has his own destiny now. I just want to be my true self and don't want to be dragged down by others anymore," Xiao Jianjia said. Seeing the tears in her eyes, Li Yuan couldn't help but sigh. The Xiao Jianjia of the past was completely different from the one now. It was really beyond his expectation that she could say such words. "It's not for self-preservation, but simply because I see through it. Keep the list if you have any ideas. Tell me anytime." Xiao Jianjia took the list and tore it to pieces without even looking at it. "Don't even think about it, they don't deserve it. I am the last emperor of Daqian. If the country perishes in my hands, then the Xiao family will be extinct here. There is no need for me to have any more entanglement with them. My identity is too sensitive, and if any of them are ambitious, they will inevitably set me up." She casually said that she was the king of a fallen country. And the sadness moved Li Yuan. He didn't know how to comfort him. Could it be that Xiao Yi was the king who lost his country? Then wouldn't she be the deposed emperor? It's equally hurtful. "By the way, these are the confessions I collected yesterday. They should be able to give you some ideas." Xiao Jianjia spread the confessions in front of Li Yuan. Li Yuan glanced at it casually and said, "Who would be stupid enough to put a voodoo doll in their own room? The person who framed you probably thought I was an idiot who could do such a stupid thing." Xiao Ji and Jia couldn't help but chuckled and said, if it were someone else, I would have died 800 times already. So Li Yuan. Thank you. She said very seriously, thank you for trusting me. From beginning to end. Li Yuan never had the slightest doubt about her. Before Li Yuan could react, she stood up and quickly kissed Li Yuan on the mouth. Then he ran out in a panic. Xiao Ji and Jia, your teeth knocked against my lips. Xiao Ji and Jia was extremely panicked when she heard Lu Yuan's screams. She took even bigger steps. My mind is also blank. It's not like I've been intimate with Li Yuan before, but this was the first time I did it in broad daylight in front of so many people. The most important thing is that she took the initiative. She ran out of the palace in one breath, got on the carriage, and it took her a long time to calm down. Xiao Yao looked at Xiao Ji and Jia with a strange expression, pointed at her lips and said, Madam, your lips are broken. Xiao Ji and Jia finally reacted and touched her hand, only to find blood on it. She held her forehead in her hands, speechless. Lie. It's over. No wonder he screamed so loudly. I thought he was excited. When the adrenaline wore off, she felt the pain in her lips. At this time, everyone in the palace was holding back their laughter. Li Yuan looked at the huge gash on his lip and sucked his teeth in pain. Xiao Ji and Jia, look at what you have done. Yuan also hurriedly brought medical supplies. Your Majesty, bear with me, I will wipe it for you. Li Yuan waved his hand, picked up the confession on the stone table, looked at Wu Sun and Wang Dakong, who was expecting. Wang Dakong, the Wang family is famous for its mastery of the law. This confession is for you. You must get to the bottom of this matter. Chapter 379 Confession. Wu Sun's heart skipped a beat and a fierce light flashed in his eyes. He wanted to see if this big tiger Wang dared to reach out. Wang Dachong was overjoyed. He knelt on the ground and carefully took the confession with both hands. Yes, Your Majesty. I will live up to your expectations. When Li Yuan went to wash up, Wang Dakong glanced around, walked to Wu Sun, and whispered, Eunuch Wu Sun, I am a lowly person with little experience. It is better for you to judge this case. Wu Sun raised his eyebrows and said with a smile, Eunuch Wang, this is a case that His Majesty specifically asked you to handle. We dare not interfere. If His Majesty blames us, we will not be able to bear it. You're joking. Without your help, I would never be able to solve this case. If His Majesty blames me, I will definitely be put to death. Please be kind and help me. Eunuch, I will never forget your kindness, Wang Dakong said with his head lowered. Since you've said so, it would be unreasonable if we don't do something to help. Thank you, Eunuch. Wang Dakong immediately pretended to be overjoyed. You are the rightful heir to this West factory. Wu Sun also smiled. It seemed that Wang Dakong had not yet gone to his head. If Wang Dakong really could compete with him, Wu Sun would let him know what cruelty is. Soon, Wang Dakong and Wu Sun, together with Lo Bing, took away all the people in Xiao Ji and Jia's yard and interrogated them separately. Xiao Yu sat on the tiger bench, feeling very flustered. I am the concubine of Your Majesty. Chang Yi, what do you want to do? Don't say you are Zheng Yi. Even if you are the fourth concubine, I am not afraid, Wu Sun said with a smile. If you confess as soon as possible, you can suffer less. If you don't say it, then our family will be sorry. You are being tortured into confessing. I want to see His Majesty. However, what greeted her were clamps, a horse whip soaked in chilly water, and silver needles shining with cold light. Hearing Xiao Yu's screams, Wu Bing showed a look of pity. Wang Yan was so frightened that her face turned pale. The clamps crushed her fingers. She was covered in blood from the horsewhip. The most cruel thing was that silver needles were inserted into her fingers and toes. The pain was so severe that Xiao Yu urinated and vomited urine. She cried bitterly and said, I confess, I confess. Wu Sun pinched his nose and said with a look of disgust, I thought he was some kind of character, but he can't stand it after only 3 kinds of torture instruments. With this, you dare to cause cholera in the palace. I made that doll, but I made it not just by myself. Someone else helped me, Xiao Yu gasped. Who? Wang Dakong asked. Deputy Director Wang, she helped me, said Xiao Yu. Xiao Yu, stop slandering me. When did I ever help you? Wang Yan looked at Wu Bing. Sister Wu, you know me. I have served His Majesty for so many years and have never made any mistakes. How could I possibly do something like this? It's her, it's definitely her. Otherwise, where did I get the materials for making dolls? How could I possibly get those strange things? Xiao Yu said. Wu Sun narrowed his eyes. Deputy Director Wang, you better give a reasonable explanation. Eunuch Wu Sun, she wants to take someone with her before she dies. I am loyal to Your Majesty. How could I do such a treasonous thing? Besides, concubine Xiao and I have no grudges in the past and no grudges today. So how could I harm her? Wang Yan held Wu Bing's hand. Sister Wu, please believe me. Wu Bing pulled her hand away coldly. Why didn't she pull me in? Why didn't she pull others in? Wu Sun waved his hand and several eunuchs captured Wang Yan. Wang Yan struggled constantly and her clothes were torn, but everyone here was either a woman or a eunuch and no one cared about the thing she was so proud of. You know my methods, although your majesty does not like to establish torture in the palace. He cannot establish his authority without severe punishments. If you don't want to suffer, just confess the truth, Wu Sun said coldly. Wang Yan was still stubborn, but she was even worse than Xiaoyu. After being whipped a few times, she burst into tears and said, I confess, I confess. Luo Bing also shook her head. She never expected that Wang Yan would also be involved. She originally thought that if Wang Yan still didn't say anything after the beating, she would save her. Tell me everything. Why do you do this? Said Wang Dakong. I feel that concubine Xiao is not worthy of entering the palace. She behaves improperly and is not a good wife. Wang Yan spilled out her motives for committing the crime. I was on your side in my heart, and I didn't want your majesty to be humiliated. That's why I made this mistake in a daze. Sister Wu, you know me well. I wish I could give my heart to his majesty. Luo Bing sighed. Wang Yan was also a miserable person. Though she was not from the same hometown as him, she was also met during the escape. In order to survive, her husband wanted to kill her and sell her for money. If she had not fought desperately, she would have died long ago. But her son became food for those demons. After being rescued, Wang Yan remained loyal. But she had too many thoughts. In the early years, there were not many maids around His Majesty, so she took off all her clothes to warm His Majesty's bed, and she wore bold and revealing clothes every day. They are all women. How could Luo Bing not understand her thoughts? But Lu Yuan looked down on her at all, and only made her his deputy because of her kindness. The heart is high as the sky, but the life is thin as paper. Wu Sun sneered and said to Luo Bing, Sister Wu, you see, should I report it or you? You report it. I failed to control my subordinates and will apologize to His Majesty. Luo Bing lowered her head, feeling that she had failed in her duty. If it was someone else, it would be fine. But it had to be Wang Yan. It seems that she is really not suitable to be the manager. Wu Sun nodded, then took the notes and reported to Li Yuan. After reading the transcript, Li Yuan also had a complicated look in his eyes. Although Wang Yan is not as good as Luo Bing, she is very good to him. He drummed his fingers on the table, sent Xiaoyu to death with a stick, and Wang Yan with 50 sticks. Remove her from all her positions. And don't let anyone talk to her. Send her to the laundry department, and never leave the palace. Yes, I obey your command. Since you discovered this case, you will be the chief eunuch of the West Factory from now on. The West Factory from now on. The East Factory, and the 6 bureaus will supervise each other and report on each other. In addition, the people in the East and West Factories specialize in agriculture, navigation technology, trade. You can choose one of these 3 categories. There will be an exam every month. And special talents can be promoted specially, just like ordinary people, Lu Yuan said. Wu Sun was stunned. He was not surprised at all by the first part, but he was stunned by the second part. Your Majesty, do you want us servants to learn to read and write? It's not just about learning to read and write. I want special talents. Tell them that even eunuchs can be granted a title as long as they show their talents. Chapter 381. It's my turn. Xiao Jianjia muttered something. Luo Bing heard it, and she was so embarrassed that even her ears turned red. Xiao Jianjia smeared the medicinal wine on her palm, rubbed it to warm it up, and then applied it. Sister Wu, it may be a little painful. Just bear with it. After a while, Xiao Jianjia stopped and said, it's not a big problem, but you still need to rest for a while. In the next half month, I will come back sooner or later to applying medicine to you. Luo Bing also reacted and knew what Xiao Jianjia meant. Thank you so much, I can do it myself. It's settled. Xiao Jianjia put the medicine back into the medicine box, winked at Luo Bing, and left. After returning to the room, I found that Li Yuan was playing games with Huan Huan. Is Sister Wu okay? Li Yuan asked. It's okay. It's just a superficial wound. It will heal in 3 to 5 days. Xiao Jianjia put down the box. Sister Wu is so nice. You can beat her too. Li Yuan sighed. Sister Wu is a soft-hearted person, and she insisted on asking for punishment. I would not bear it if someone else beat her up. Only if I personally come out to fight. It can both deter and convince the crowd, and it won't hurt her. Xiao Jianjia said next to him, and seeing Li Yuan pursed his lips subconsciously, she couldn't help but laugh. Does your mouth still hurt? Li Yuan glared at her and pushed away Xiao Jianjia's head that was leaning towards him. If you come any closer, I'll twist your head off. Twist it. Twist it hard. Xiao Jianjia now understands Li Yuan's personality. The bolder you are, the more embarrassed he will be. She held Li Yuan's arm, and refused to let go despite his struggles. This is also a part of treating each other with respect. Stop taking advantage of me. I won't. Xiao Jianjia leaned her head on Li Yuan's shoulder, half of her body leaning over. Thank you for protecting me from childhood to adulthood. I have never been affirmed so firmly by anyone. Before Lu Yuan could refute, she hurriedly said, I'm not saying this because I'm down and out. In fact, I like myself better now. The me now is the real me, not the me wearing the mask of the empress. I can see inside myself. She gathered the hair that was scattered around her ears, then looked at Li Yuan sincerely. I want to start over with you and get to know you from the beginning. If you don't have time, I'll do it this time. Ma Xin Bao in the corner couldn't help but sigh, and calmly pulled Huan Huan aside. Litpo ancestor, let's hide first. Huan Huan blinked her big eyes, looked at her parents leaning against each other, covered her mouth and laughed secretly, and asked quietly, San Bao, am I going to have a little brother? Soon. Ma Xin Bao didn't know how to answer, so he replied vaguely and took the child away. Xiao Jianjia was extremely nervous. She was afraid that Li Yuan would reject her again. I really know I was wrong. I used to always hit you, mock you, not respond to you, and constantly ridicule you. Now that I have experienced this feeling, I can guarantee that I will never have the princess syndrome again. Xiao Jianjia raised 3 fingers. If I disobey you, I will be miserable and helpless for the rest of my life. Can you convince yourself by going against your own position? Li Yuan pulled out his arm and asked. My position was imposed on me by others. I, the empress, am just a puppet, Xiao Jianjia said with a wry smile. I used to think I was the emperor. In my eyes, everything is either black or white. Later, I realized that I was just a discarded pawn. My mother said that it was my father's idea for her to leave the palace, but my father never thought about letting me leave safely. Even if they were safe, they never thought of helping me in the slightest. There are conspiracies and intrigues all around me from childhood to adulthood. I have lived in a hypocritical world. Only you are real, visible and tangible. I can tell the difference between good and bad. They all said that I forced you and plotted against you from the beginning. This was another conspiracy from the very beginning. Li Yuan wanted to take out a cigarette, but as soon as he took it out, he put it back. If I am unwilling, even if you put a knife on my neck, I will not even look at you twice, Xiao Jianjia said with a firm look. Whether it is a design or a conspiracy, I know it very well in my heart. Although you have never explained it, I understand that you are just using your own method to let me see the true face of this world. Unfortunately, I realized it too late. Li Yuan sighed and said with some melancholy, back then I refused to marry the spring breeze but was misled by the autumn breeze. Xiao Jianjia's face suddenly turned pale, and her heart felt as if it had been hit by a heavy hammer. What does this poem mean? It means that she didn't appreciate his goodness back then. And as spring went and autumn came, she only looked for him in autumn after spring was gone. She tightly grasped Li Yuan's sleeve and said with red eyes, which girl doesn't have spring in her heart? When have I never fantasized about spring? But once I was pushed into that position, I had no spring left. I am not looking for you in the spring. It's just that in the spring, I am still the grass in the spring breeze, so tender. It wasn't until autumn that I understood my own feelings. You put yourself in my shoes and want me to grow up, so why don't you give me some time? I am grown up and mature now. Why are you throwing me away again? Tears welled up in her eyes and she pouted in grievance. How could anyone be like this, letting me rely on you, depend on you, trust you, and then you leave me behind? Killing people is not enough. Why do you want to destroy my heart? Having said this, she could no longer hold back and began to choke up. Tears as big as beans rolled down her cheeks, and her whole body felt as if it was broken. That kind of despair was definitely the greatest she had ever experienced in her life. After being plotted against and abandoned by her loved ones one after another, she thought she had found her support, but she never imagined that it was not light, but the entrance to the abyss. From this moment on, she completely collapsed. She hugged her legs, buried her face between them and cried sadly. And at this moment, a pair of strong hands embraced her. Xiao Jianjia cried so hard that she kept hitting Li Yuan with her fists. Didn't you say that I was misled by the autumn wind for no reason? Didn't you blame me for being blind? Why do you care about me? Li Yuan, you are a big bastard. You are the most calculating person in the world. I am so unlucky to have met you. Li Yuan also let her vent, stroking her back with one hand and gently caressing her head with the other. When Xiao Jianjia stopped beating her, he asked, do you feel better? It's uncomfortable, it hurts, Xiao Jianjia said with tears in her eyes. Li Yuan gently wiped away the tears from the corners of her eyes. Xiao Jianjia bit her lip and moved closer again. This time, she didn't leave quickly. Instead, she threw Li Yuan to the ground and said, I'm going to bite you to death. Li Yuan felt the pain on his lips and the taste of rust in his mouth. Without saying a word, he turned around and pressed her down. Looking at the blood on Xiao Jianjia's lips, he couldn't help but licked his lips. It's my turn. Chapter 380, Intimidating the Harem. Li Yuan also hopes that he can have a few people like the eunuch Sanbao under his command. Everything has two sides. If he just keeps on guarding against and suppressing them, there will naturally be no problems with his generation. It is recalled that Emperor Hongwu treated eunuchs like pigs and dogs, but by the time of his descendants, eunuchs began to learn to read and write. You can say that eunuchs are perverted, but you can't say they are all pigs and dogs. Since they are house slaves, they need more guidance and training. After Wu's son left, Wolbing came in with a nervous look on her face to plead guilty after learning the reason for her plea. Liyuan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Sister Wo, get up quickly, you don't have to take all the responsibility on yourself. Wolbing shook her head. Your Majesty, 1 is 1 and 2 is 2. If you have made a mistake, you should be punished. I am deeply grateful for your Majesty's kindness, but this is not a long-term solution. Firstly, I am afraid that I will become lazy and arrogant in the future. Secondly, if I were to be let off easily, I would not be able to intimidate those girls. I am willing to accept the punishment. Wolbing's face was full of stubbornness. Liyuan's smile gradually disappeared, and he nodded. Well, since you said so, I have no choice but to punish you. Wolbing breathed a sigh of relief. She was afraid that Liyuan would be reluctant to punish her and would spoil her. Although she is a woman, she does not want to be a favorite. She wants to help Liyuan solve his problems and be his right-hand man. It doesn't necessarily mean lingering on the bed, but being a domestic helper in the true sense of the word. Wolbing failed to fulfill his duty. He will be fined 1 year's salary and demoted 3 ranks. He will reflect on himself in front of all the palace people. You will not be promoted within a year, and you will take over the rest of the work temporarily. I will make other arrangements when I find a suitable candidate. Liyuan said. Your Majesty, the punishment is to light according to the internal affairs regulations. I was not strict with my subordinates, did not investigate the case, and was the head of the 6th Bureau. I should be punished with a heavier punishment. I should be fined for 3 years, demoted 6 levels, and not promoted within 3 years. I should be punished with 30 canes and 30 lashes. The whole palace should be informed to serve as a warning to others. Wolbing said sternly. Even if your Majesty does not issue an order, I will beat you after I leave. Sister Wo, why do you have to do this? Liyuan could no longer sit still. 30 sticks and 30 lashes. Even a man could not bear it. Wolbing's delicate skin and tender flesh, wouldn't she be beaten to pieces? There is no order without rules. Your Majesty, please punish me according to the law. Wolbing lay on the ground and begged, if your Majesty really cares about my kindness, please grant my request. Even if I cannot help your Majesty solve his problems, I will never allow myself to hinder your Majesty. Liyuan walked over, squatted down, and said with embarrassment, I can't bear to hit you. Please grant your permission. Your Majesty. Wolbing raised her head and stared at Liyuan, tears welling up in her eyes, but she was unyielding. She has always been gentle, and she would agree to anything Liyuan asked for. She just kept Liyuan in her heart and treated him well with her life. This was also the first time she had gone against Liyuan in this way. Okay, as you wish. Liyuan gritted his teeth. Come here. Bring the whip, I will do it myself. Wolbing buried her face in her arms and sobbed, feeling that she had failed Liyuan's expectations. Your Majesty, please do not hold back. Beat me hard so that I can learn a lesson. Liyuan called Wang Dakong over and whispered a few words in his ear. That long after, Wang Dakong brought a horsewhip, from which red pepper water was still dripping. After one whip, a blood mark appeared on Wolbing's body. The intense pain made Wolbing tremble constantly, but she bit her clothes tightly. It's not hard enough. Your Majesty, please don't cover up for me. Liyuan didn't say anything, he just whipped the thick part of his flesh. After being whipped 30 times, Wolbing's body was covered in blood, and the palace servants were all terrified when they saw it. In the harem, Wu's son summoned all the palace servants and beat Xiaoyu to death in public. His pelvis was broken and the white bones pierced through the flesh, making everyone tremble all over. Wang Yan was not in a better situation either. Although Liyuan spared her life, after 50 strokes of the cane, both of her legs were broken and her buttocks were bruised. She was only half alive and lay there begging for mercy. Look at us, this is the result of breaking the rules. Do what you shouldn't do, don't think what you shouldn't think. If anyone doesn't believe it, feel free to give it a try. Wu's son sneered, then ordered someone to drag Xiaoyu's body away. At this moment, Wolbing was also carried over. Seeing Wolbing's miserable condition, everyone was frightened and turned pale. Who doesn't know that Wolbing is deeply loved by His Majesty and the Queen Mother? Hasn't he been beaten half to death now? This scene also shocked many people. After Wolbing returned to the room, she lay on the bed, feeling ashamed. The blood on her clothes was not hers at all. The 30 lashes only left whip marks on her body, which would disappear within 2 days. After 30 strokes of the stick, my buttocks will hurt, but they will only be bruised. If you rub some medicated wine on them, they will heal in 7 days. She understood that Liyuan was afraid that the palace servants would be too cruel and hurt her, so he carried out the execution himself. She was deeply moved. However, at this point in the play, Liyuan must not be exposed. He must stay in bed for half a month, and even be carried when he goes to work, so that those restless women can see their end. When Xiao Ji and Jia returned to the palace after get off work, She was stunned to learn that Xiao Yu had been beaten to death. She thought that the worst that could happen to her would be banishment to the cold palace. But she didn't expect that Li Yuan would take her life directly. She was deeply touched by this care. As for Xiao Yu's death, it was her own fault. When she was fabricating the witchcraft case, she really wanted to torture herself to death. She had no sympathy at all. The same goes for Wang Yan. But she didn't expect Lu Wobing to be implicated. So, for the first time today, Xiao Ji and Jia did not go to look for Huan Huan, but came to Wobing with medicine. Seeing Wobing lying on the bed, she also looked ashamed. Sister Luo, I didn't expect this matter would implicate you. Empress Xiao. This matter has nothing to do with you. I was the one who asked His Majesty for punishment. Wobing recounted the whole story frankly, not wanting to play the victim in exchange for Xiao Ji and Jia's gratitude. Let me take a look at you from today on. I will come to apply medicine to you every morning and evening to prevent you from getting sick. Empress Xiao. You can't. Sister Luo, if you consider me your own, don't refuse. Xiao Ji and Jia said, and began to check Lu Wobing's injuries. Lu Wobing couldn't persuade her, so she had to let her check it out. Xiao Ji and Jia checked and asked with a strange expression, where's the injury? Wobing blushed, it's almost done. Xiao Ji and Jia was a little confused. The rumor in the palace was that Wobing was beaten and covered in blood, unable to move, but the reality was totally untrue. There are indeed some redness and swelling on the back, but it is almost invisible. There's just some bruising on the two petals, but it's not serious. No wonder he wanted to carry out the execution himself, he was afraid that outsiders would hurt you. Chapter 382 I promise you. Xiao Ji and Jia looked at Li Yuan with a provocative look. Come on, who's afraid of who? Li Yuan didn't give her any leniency and directly used a zero frame with Xiao Ji and Jia's limited skills. She was no match for Li Yuan at all. She was completely hushed. But Xiao Ji and Jia refused to admit defeat, and even mumbled. Is that all you can do? Li Yuan couldn't help but think of that night. Now, 7 years later. It's his turn. You're the only one who can do it, but I can't? All I heard was a crackling sound. Xiao Ji and Jia suddenly felt empty inside. Before she could react, Li Yuan hooked her in one hand and carried her on his shoulder. You are all sweaty. Wash yourself. There was a separate small bathtub in Xiao Ji and Jia's room. Li Yuan entered the bathtub and pressed Xiao Ji and Jia into the water. Xiao Ji and Jia was not to be outdone, and followed suit, imitating Li Yuan's spiritual frame. But she didn't have enough strength to tear her clothes. Seeing her face flushed red, Li Yuan couldn't help laughing. What's so funny? Xiao Ji and Jia was embarrassed and annoyed. Li Yuan didn't say anything. He took action several times and cleaned her up. Xiao Ji and Jia hid in the water with only her head sticking out. Her initial arrogance was long gone and her eyes were full of panic. Only then did Li Yuan slowly put his clothes aside. She had experienced how powerful Li Yuan was in the past. And now, Li Yuan is even more powerful than before. You were crazy. Why aren't you crazy anymore? Li Yuan leaned back in the bathtub and squinted his eyes. Be arrogant when you need to be arrogant, and be submissive when you need to be submissive. The strength disparity between the enemy and us is too great, and blindly provoking them is not in line with the principles of military strategy. Xiao Ji and Jia looked at Li Yuan's aggressive eyes, her eyes dodged, and her heart jumped into her throat. I'm a little tired today, Li Yuan said, and closed his eyes. Xiao Ji and Jia hesitated for a while, and seeing that Li Yuan did not take any further action, she felt discouraged and unconvinced at the same time. Even at this point, he actually closed his eyes. What, is it because my body isn't hot enough? Or am I not pretty enough? She made up her mind and moved to Li Yuan's side. Then let me rub it for you? Yeah, Li Yuan responded. Xiao Ji and Jia shyly reached out her hand and rubbed Li Yuan's back. Her fingers ran across his broad back and passed over his angular abdominal muscles, and her heart became more and more uneasy. At that time, Li Yuan did not have such a figure. This was the result of years of hard work. Are you busy today? Busy. Li Yuan said tiredly. Daqian is not peaceful. There are many uprisings in the country. Xiao Yi and Xiaoshan are dead. Bianjing is leaderless. Yang Tao and other officials have petitioned to merge with Dai. That's good this way. We can avoid unnecessary wars. I refused, Lu Yuan said. Why? Xiao Ji and Jia was puzzled. Daqian is already in name. Only if we allow those people to rebel, only those innocent people will be hurt. Moreover, the Xiongnu are abusing Daqian and killing countless people. It would be a good thing for them if they took over. Do you really think so? Lu Yuan asked. Of course, Xiao Ji and Jia said, although I am no longer the emperor, I still hope that the people of Daqian can live a better life. After coming today, I finally understood the gap between Daqian and Dai. The people here are called life. The people of Daqian can only be considered to be alive. Without promotion channels, the future is bleak. The aristocratic families and the new party control the world. The people were burdened with heavy and harsh taxes and could hardly even feed themselves. The disaster in the north is the best example. Many people starved to death and had to eat their own children. Liang Jing also suffered disasters. But over the years, you have been preparing for a rainy day and transforming the environment. This saved Liang Jing from a disaster. Besides, as long as Liang Jing wants to make progress, there will always be a way out. Even ordinary people can find a way out through learning. Free from co-RVE labor. No harsh agricultural taxes, land collectivization, etc. Even if there is a natural disaster, the court will provide a guarantee. Even if there is no harvest, the court will still give subsidies. Dakian is already in a terminal state. Unless there is a complete overhaul, there is no chance anymore. Therefore, I hope you can take over Dakian and let the people there live a good life. Having said that, I am short of staff right now, and it is just to maintain the basic situation, and it is stretched to the limit. The Little Ice Age is becoming more and more serious, and the local governments are spending more on disaster relief. This year's budget in the north is 100 million Yi coins, which is equivalent to 10 million alls of silver. This is just this year's budget. If we want to restore vitality to the north, we will need to continue to invest in transformation in the next 3 to 5 years, to divert water from all directions and build rivers. A project of this magnitude would require the involvement of at least 1 million people. Work for relief is the best solution I can think of. At this point, Li Yuan paused. Besides, Yang Tao is only the prime minister. How about choosing someone from the Xiao family to support and then carry out the integration? Xiao Ji and Jia could also understand. Dakian was already a nominal vassal state of Day. Even if it was to take over, it needed to be legitimate. Or we have to say that Honggu had good intentions but ended up with bad results. She ruined Shang Wei's plan and caused it to be completely delayed. If the Huns attacked Bianjing, they could completely act as a savior and defeat them, and take the opportunity to conquer the western border. After the war is over, it will take less than 2 months to take Dakian into our possession. It's not possible now. The Huns fled to Biayuchanji and became cowards. Taking the initiative to attack is a thankless task, and it will also extend the battle line too long, increasing the cost of the war. Li Yuan didn't dare mention this matter to Honggu, so as to avoid her blaming herself. Xiao Yi only has a baby daughter left. Li Yuan was speechless. Yang Tao handled this matter very badly. It would have been better if Xiao Yi had not died. If he had made the request in Xiao Yi's name, Li Yuan would have actually agreed. Xiao Ji and Jia frowned. What should we do then? Li Yuan looked at her. If you go to Bianjing, will they recognize you? Xiao Ji and Jia frowned. Me? I won't go. What do you mean? Are you testing me? Do you still not believe me? Li Yuan raised his hand hurriedly. No. That's not what I meant. Dakian's territory is too large. Taking over the north is the limit for now. Dakian Jiangan is a very prosperous place. I need someone I can trust to take charge. If you really want Dakian to be incorporated in today, then it would be best for you to go to Bianjing. You can govern Jiangan with the Yi method. When the time is right, Dakian can be incorporated in today. Xiao Ji and Jia gritted her teeth in anger and bit Li Yuan's shoulder. You bastard! I'll bite you to death. I know I'm the king of a fallen country, but you can't really let me be the king of a fallen country. Li Yuan gasped in pain. If you don't agree, then don't agree. Why bother talking to me? Xiao Ji and Jia relaxed, looked at the teeth marks on Li Yuan's shoulder and nodded with satisfaction. Okay, I promise you. Chapter 383. Li Yuan, you are so nice. You bitch. Are you addicted to biting people? Li Yuan said, gritting his teeth. What's wrong with biting you? You want me to return to Bianjing? How could you think of that? Xiao Ji and Jia said angrily. How can you be so cruel? Be gentle. Li Yuan shivered in pain, holding her hand, eyes widened. I asked you to go back to find the origin in my heart. Xiao Yi is not the orthodox one after all. You have the final say, don't you? Xiao Ji and Jia bit Li Yuan's other shoulder again. You bastard, you only know how to laugh at me and ridicule me. If you don't let go, I'm going to take action. Li Yuan gritted his teeth. Xiao Ji and Jia made a sound but showed no intention of letting go. Li Yuan tried to fish for the moon from the bottom of the sea, and the situation suddenly turned around. You're the only one who can bite? I can't bite. Xiao Ji and Jia was immediately struck by lightning. How can anyone bite here? What do you care about me? It doesn't matter where I bite. At this moment, the feeling from 7 years ago came to her mind again. Unlike that time, when she was occupied by the aphrodisiac, at this moment, she was extremely sober. She could even see every movement and look of Li Yuan clearly. She grabbed Li Yuan's hair and said, I was wrong. I won't bite you anymore. Please let me go. Li Yuan grimaced in pain. Then let go. You shaved my scalp flat. No, you let go first. Li Yuan was also angry. This was such an intimate thing. But when it came to Xiao Ji and Jia, it was like a full-scale fight. He got up directly from the bath. Xiao Ji and Jia screamed. and quickly coiled up for fear of falling. He grabbed Li Yuan's head with one hand and refused to let go. Li Yuan was so angry that he raised his hand and slapped him. Bang! The crisp sound echoed throughout the room. Chao Jianjia felt so much pain. Along with the feeling of weightlessness, she felt something land on her back. Then Li Yuan's fiery and aggressive eyes fixed her. Chao Jianjia was a little timid, but then she thought about it and met Li Yuan's gaze without giving in. That scorching gaze made Li Yuan hesitate. 3 seconds later, he decided to let Chao Jianjia understand the consequences of angering him. The fight between the two ended with Chao Jianjia's defeat. Looking at Li Yuan, Chao Jianjia leaned lazily on the pillow. Li Yuan, I am very satisfied. Since you are working so hard, I will go to Bianjing willingly. Li Yuan looked at the time. It was so late. Wu Sun, ask the imperial chef to prepare some food and some nourishing soup. Your Majesty, the Queen Mother has left some food for you. I'll have someone bring it to you right away, Wu Sun said. The corner of Li Yuan's mouth twitched, but now that things had come to this, there was nothing to hide. He carried Chao Jianjia into the bathtub without hesitation to wash her. Chao Jianjia said nothing. Li Yuan stroked it gently and said, Your mouth is so hard, does it hurt? Originally, Chao Jianjia didn't think it was a big deal, but Li Yuan's words of concern made her eyes red. The first time, she gave herself up in a half-asleep state, but she didn't expect that the second time would be no different from the first time. Although he was awake, Li Yuan didn't seem gentle at all. It hurts, Chao Jianjia said a grieved lie. Li Yuan gently comforted her. It won't happen again. I'm not being pretentious, I just want to beat you once. Chao Jianjia said with red eyes. I can't be as good as you in being an emperor, I can't beat you in leading troops to fight, I can't rule the world as well as you. I'm worse than you in every aspect. Even as a woman, I cannot compare to Xi Yining and Li Wei. You are so gentle and doting to them. It's just me. I don't want anyone and I don't like anyone. Has always been questioned. I told myself, you don't like such a woman, you should be gentler and learn to be like Xi Yining and Li Wei. But I'm too stupid, I can't even be a good woman like others. It's useless for me to have this appearance. Seeing Chao Jianjia's collapse, Li Yuan straightened her body and said seriously, in this land, there are at least 800 emperors and monarchs, if not 1,000. How many good emperors are worthy of praise? As a woman, you are already walking on thin ice in the last years of a dynasty. It is difficult to learn how to lead troops in battle without systematic study and practical experience. Everyone has military books, but how many generals in the world can fight good battles? Everyone understands that it is much easier to destroy the existing order and build a new order on the ruins than to derive from the bloated order. At this point, Li Yuan paused. As for being a woman, I have never seen a few women more beautiful than you in my life. If you only rely on your posture to seduce men, then are you still Chao Jianjia? Women rest up to please themselves. Your beauty does not need to be recognized by others. I like it, that's enough. Do you like it? Chao Jianjia asked cautiously. This was the first time that Li Yuan said he liked it so seriously. I like it. Li Yuan nodded and held her in his arms. Chao Jianjia's pretended strength was shattered at this moment. She hugged Li Yuan tightly and burst into tears. All the invisible pressures that I have experienced over the years have been released at this moment. She found something to rely on and no longer had to wander around with no way home as before. Li Yuan just stroked her back gently. He knew that Chao Jianjia had endured too much, and if she didn't vent, she would collapse. After a long time, Chao Jianjia stopped crying. Li Yuan grabbed a bath towel, wrapped her tightly in it, and carefully dried her hair. During the whole process, Chao Jianjia didn't say a word, but just stared at the man in front of her for a long time. She kissed Li Yuan and said, Li Yuan, you are so nice. Chapter 384. Furious Xiao Chai. Li Yuan rubbed her head and said, eat something to replenish your energy. I can't walk, my legs are weak and painful. Chao Jianjia said Kokathis Li Yuan's signature skill was not so easy to bear, although it was much better now. Her legs felt as soft as noodles when she was lying down. If she put them together slightly, they would feel hot. Li Yuan directly got a low table and placed all the food on the bed. Eat it. My mother left it for you. These are all your favorites. Mom is so nice. Chao Jianjia sat up cross-legged and enjoyed this nourishing dinner just for her under Li Yuan's gaze. After eating and drinking to her heart's content, Chao Jianjia touched her stomach and said, it's so delicious, it's much better than what I ate in the palace before. At this moment, she was very relaxed and didn't want to wear any mask in front of Li Yuan. After all, the two of them no longer had any secrets, and it would be tiring to continue living with masks on. Li Yuan was also very full, and then explained, I don't mean to ridicule you. After Daqian is incorporated in today, I will make Bianjing the fief of Huan. I need a representative to represent me in Bianjing. You are the perfect choice. Chao Jianjia nodded. However, should I go back to Bianjing alone? Why not take Xiao Hong and the others with me? And I will bring all the Xiao family members to submit a petition, which will not only convince the public but also silence the gossips of the world. Those people are restless. Lu Yuan said. It will be even more restless if we stay here, said Xiao Ji and Jia. Lu Yuan saw through her thoughts and said, don't take it lightly. I will give you 3,000 elite soldiers and arrange 500 female soldiers to protect you closely. Yang Tao will assist you in controlling the situation and the military power. You don't need to worry about anything else. Leave it to Shang Wei. Okay, Xiao Ji and Jia leaned in Lu Yuan's arms, feeling more at ease than ever before. If I had known it was so good to have someone to rely on, I wouldn't be so stubborn. If she had seen the truth earlier, she could have joined Lu Yuan in building an empire. A big empire in that way, she would still have a share of the credit for this world. Since Lu Yuan let her go, she will assist Lu Yuan in his quest to conquer the world and become the first emperor to unify China. Be the pearl on his throne and protect him. Thinking of this, she came up with an idea. That night, the two chatted for a long time, from their interests and hobbies to their childhood and their views on governing the country. Talk about everything. The gap between the two was quickly dissipating, and their feelings were heating up rapidly. Only then did Xiao Ji and Jia realize that Lu Yuan and she were so compatible, and the two of them had endless things to talk about. If she hadn't been so tired, they would have been able to talk until dawn. Seeing that the sound had stopped, Lu Yuan pulled the blanket and covered Xiao Ji and Jia's body, and asked Wu Sun to turn down the fan to prevent her from catching a cold. When I woke up the next day, the sun was already high in the sky. Xiao Ji and Jia looked at the bright light outside and exclaimed, it's over, we ray late. As he spoke, he stood up and quickly got dressed without caring about feeling comfortable. Your Majesty, His Majesty has already asked for leave for you, so you can have a good rest today, the maid reminded. What time did your Majesty get up? He got up at dawn and told me not to wake you up. He even had breakfast prepared and brought to you. The maid smiled and said, His Majesty is so kind to you. I heard from the people in the palace that His Majesty has never been so considerate to any of his concubines. Don't talk nonsense. Xiao Ji and Jia felt sweet in her heart, but there were some things that could not be said casually in the palace. If they got out, it would cause jealousy and hatred. Yes, your Majesty. The little maid stuck out her tongue. After washing up, Xiao Ji and Jia changed into a more formal palace dress and came to pay her respects to Suexai Yui. Seeing Xiao Ji and Jia, Suexai Yui also smiled and held her hand. Why don't you rest more? I've rested enough and came to pay my respects to you, said Xiao Ji and Jia. Suexai Yui patted the back of her hand and said, Girl, let's live your life peacefully in the future and give Huan Huan a brother as soon as possible. This way, life will be better. Xiao Ji and Jia nodded. She knew that Suexai Yui was doing this for her own good, but she was about to go to Daqian, so she came here to say goodbye. Suexai Yui was anxious when she learned that Xiao Ji and Jia was leaving Liangjing. Why are you leaving again? Xiao Ji and Jia explained the reason again. Suexai Yui said, there are always men who can conquer the world. Why do you have to take risks? No, I need to talk to Shuo. And how can you push your wife away so easily? Mom, you have taken good care of me over the past 2 years. I also want to end this chaotic world as soon as possible and contribute today. Daqian has no way out. And the Huns are wreaking havoc in the country. I really can't bear to see the people of Daqian continue to suffer. Xiao Ji and Jia said, in half a year at the fastest, or a year at the slowest, I will definitely be back. Suexai Yui didn't understand the affairs of the family and the country, but since Xiao Ji and Jia had said so, she couldn't stop her any longer. Okay, then I won't stop you. You just need to remember one thing. Regardless of whether you have a son or not, you are my recognized daughter-in-law. No matter when you are, you will have a place in the palace, and no one can replace you. She spoke bluntly, and sometimes, the blunter the better. Xiao Ji and Jia smiled and nodded. On the other hand, Xiao Chai was furious when he learned that Xiao Yu had committed witchcraft and was beaten to death. But this anger was not directed at Lu Yuan. He angrily found Xiao Hong and grabbed him by the collar. Did you do this? Xiao Hong was also stunned when he saw the furious Xiao Chai. Uncle Wang. What happened? You still have the nerve to ask me what happened? Xiao Chai said angrily. I warned you a long time ago not to bother her again. Why do you keep hurting her? Don't you have any conscience? Isn't she your sister? Xiao Chai smiled bitterly and said, Uncle Wang, I really didn't. No shit, bastard. Xiao Chai knocked him to the ground with one punch. The witchcraft case was your idea, right? The truth is revealed. Xiao Yu was beaten to death. You idiot. Is it possible to curse the villain? Whoever does it will die. Xiao Chai's eyes were red. He never thought that these people would be so bold. How dare they fabricate the case of witchcraft? Only Lu Yuan was sensible, otherwise Xiao Ji and Jia would be dead. Will it be of any benefit to you if Ji and Jia dies? Why don't you let her go? Hasn't she done enough? You blood-sucking, skin-sucking bastards, all of you. Die now. Xiao Hong was also dumbfounded. and said in disbelief, "Impossible. How could Xiao Yu be dead? This is impossible." In his imagination, shouldn't it be Xiao Ji and Jia who died? How could it be Xiao Yu? He had clearly planned a drama of sacrificing his own relatives for the sake of justice. How could this be possible? Chapter 385. All enter the Dali temple. Stop lying, you, or is a concubine after all? How could she be beaten to death? He's dead, his body is burned. Xiaohong punched him in the face again. Is your brain filled with shit? At this moment, Xiaohong also became scared. Would Xiao Yu betray him as well? Thinking of this, he was already confused. Uncle Wang, stop hitting me, you were. He didn't say anything he shouldn't have said, right? Xiaochai sneered and beat him up severely. Are you scared now? Xiaohong covered his stomach and knelt on the ground. Uncle, save me? Save me. You begged me. I can't even protect myself, and I don't know if His Majesty will investigate. Xiaochai said angrily. You know it's impossible, but you still want to do it. How many lives do you have? Having said that, he turned and left. Xiaochai followed behind and soon arrived at the 36th district. Seeing the furious Xiaokai, a maid at the door hurriedly tried to stop him. Second master, you can't go in. Dr. Yu is treating madam right now. Xiaochai pushed the maid aside and said, sister-in-law is not feeling well, so I have to go and see her. The little Maidstern shouted anxiously. Madam, the second master is here to see you. Inside the room, Liu Wang and Queen Mu, who were hugging each other, were also in a panic. Hurry up and put on your clothes and go down. Queen Mu was also very flustered. She picked up her clothes and put them on. Sister-in-law, I'm coming in, Xiaochai shouted. No, don't come in. Queen Mu was frightened to death. She played tricks in private. But if her affair with Liu Ang got out, she would die. Sister-in-law, isn't Dr. Liu still in the room? Xiaochai sneered and kicked out suddenly. Bang! The door opened. What caught his eye was Liu Ang, who was anxiously pulling up his trousers, and Queen Mu, whose clothes were in disarray. Liu Ang was so frightened that he trembled all over and forced a smile. Duan, His Royal Highness Prince Duan. Empress Mu also exclaimed and hurriedly pulled the bed curtains. You, how did you force your way in? Xiaoshan stood at the door, not knowing whether to go in or not. Dr. Liu, what kind of illness requires me to take off my pants? Xiaochai had heard that Empress Mu had an immoral private life, but as her brother-in-law, he could not do anything about it. But now, he was burning with rage and wanted to humiliate Queen Mu. Liu Wang was sweating profusely and had no idea how to answer. Queen Mu on the bed also started crying. Get out! Xiaochai kicked Liu Wang away, and the kick was aimed at Liu Wang's vitals. Just kick him to death. Liu Wang covered his wound and let out a heart-rending scream. Queen Mu on the bed trembled with fear. Xiaochai, don't mess around. Xiaochai sneered. Sister-in-law, I warned you a long time ago not to bother Ji and Ji again. Why don't you let her go? That child has endured so much injustice. Do you, as a mother, feel any pain at all? I didn't, Queen Mu denied it flatly. No, Xiao Yu is dead, beaten to death. Do you want to make the entire Xiao family extinct before you stop? Empress Mu shuddered. Xiao Yu is dead, how is this possible? Xiaochai said angrily. Daqian is finished. There is no hope. Do you still want to dream of being the Queen Mother? Not only did you harm Xiao Yu, but you also want to harm your own biological daughter. Is there such a vicious mother in the world? Queen Mu was so frightened that she dared not say a word. Her brain was working rapidly and then she started crying again, lamenting that her fate was unfair and that she had a bad life. Xiaochai didn't buy it at all. Are you crying now? I'm telling you, it's too late. Don't think Li Yuan is so stupid. This debt will fall on you sooner or later. Just wait. The Xiao family will be destroyed in your hands. After saying that, Xiaochai turned around and left. Queen Mu kept calling out, but Xiaochai ignored her. Xiaochai looked at Liu Wang rolling on the ground and kicked him again. Liu Wang's eyes rolled back and he fainted from the pain. Owen, call all the Xiao clan members over to me. Uncle Wang, why did you call them here? Xiaohong said trembling lie, fearing that Xiaochai would kick him too. If you don't want to die, go ahead, Xiaochai said angrily. I'll go right away. Xiaochai also felt his scalp tingling and hurried to call for help. Queen Mu also took the opportunity to put on her clothes and had the unconscious Liu Wang dragged away. Then he walked up to Xiaochai and said in a flattering manner, Xiaochai, calm down. Xiao Yu died in the palace. It must be her own fault. It has nothing to do with us. You are now the Minister of Rights, which means Li Yuan still trusts you. Trust? Xiaochai sneered. He is just remembering my favor. This favor will be used up a little bit, and when it is used up, it will be the day of my death. Queen Mu was also furious, but she didn't dare to retort. She just kept comforting Xiaochai and almost knelt down to him. But Xiaochai remained indifferent. Even if she brought up the late Emperor Shenzong, it was useless. Soon, Xiaoshan called all the clansmen over. More than 1,000 people. Men, women, young and old. All were familiar faces to Xiaochai. Xiaochai brought these people and knelt outside the Meridian Gate. Soon, Li Yuan received the news. And all the civil and military officials in the court were also watching. Looking at the letter of apology handed over by Xiao Kai, it undoubtedly proved that he was an accomplice. What a smart man. Li Yuan shook his head after the witchcraft case happened. He was thinking whether he should take the opportunity to wipe out the Xiao family. But considering Xiao Ji and Jia, he held back. Therefore, when Xiao Ji and Jia said that he wanted to take these people to Bianjing, he actually wanted to deal with them. Xiao Chai now handed the knife over in advance. Should he cut with this knife? Let Xiao Chai in. Soon, Xiao Chai entered the Yongping palace and knelt on the ground. Your Majesty, I your humble servant. Kowtow to you. What's the crime? Xiao encouraged Xiao Yu to violate the sky's price, and his crime should be put to death. Xiao Chai lay on the ground, ashamed and said, "It was I who failed to restrain these people. My crime is unforgivable. Please, your Majesty, grant me death." You are quite direct. Lu Yuan said. I am ashamed of your Majesty's trust. Xiao Chai was actually quite grateful to Lu Yuan. He gave the Xiao family a place to settle down and did not harm or suppress them. Instead, he intentionally promoted some people. Although Lu Yuan didn't care about it for the sake of Xiao Ji and Jiu and Huan Huan, these ungrateful people kept testing Lu Yuan's bottom line and courting death again and again. How could he remain indifferent? You are indeed unworthy of my trust. Lu Yuan shook his head and said, Come here. Take all the Xiao family members to the Dali temple and detain them to await their fate. Xiao Chai's heart skipped a beat. Your Majesty, can you spare the lives of these children? They are innocent. Whether to spare their lives or not up to you, only my words count. Lu Yuan smiled coldly. And then Xiao Qi and others were taken to the Dali temple, and no one dared to speak for them. But Lu Yuan was in a dilemma at this time. Chapter 300 Ititsus. Rat. We can't let Xiao Ji and Jia go back to Bianjing alone. That wouldn't look good. If they sends the entire Xiao royal family back, it will sound good to others, and it will be more convincing if Xiao Ji and Jia unites the entire royal family to surrender in the future. Xiao Chai apologized for disrupting the plan he and Xiao Ji and Jia had discussed. Is Ji and Jia awake? Lu Yuan asked. Your Majesty, concubine Xiao is with the Queen Mother, Wu's son replied. Lu Yuan took a look at the memorials, most of which were complaints from ministers. It's not easy to be an emperor every now and then. His subordinates would submit memorials to the emperor complaining about their poverty and asking for money. A does not have too many harsh taxes. The disaster was severe. For example, in the north, almost all taxes and labor service were exempted, but the people were not exempted from them. Lu Yuan was thinking whether he should leave the tax collection to the local level and have each province claim the annual tax revenue. The area surrounding the capital is managed by Liang Jing. This strategy should help Dai overcome the difficulties. However, it is not easy to appropriate the modern taxation system. The first thing to be affected is the different taxation systems within the Dai Three Kingdoms region. Everyone knows that big lees have low taxes, but when it comes to actually promoting them, the local reaction is the biggest. E-law and tax law, these two laws must be put on the agenda. Lu Yuan sighed and came to Suxiu's palace just as he was paying his respects. He was scolded by Suxiu. How can you bully others like this? Don't you know how to be gentle with women? Lu Yuan was embarrassed. Mom, Xiao Ji and Jia also smiled secretly, then shrugged her shoulders and acted innocently. She didn't say that it was Suxiu who checked the records. Lu Yuan felt like he was caught doing something bad, but this person was his mother. He had no place to complain and could only play dumb and laughed wryly. After scolding Lu Yuan, Suxiu said, Okay, you two are back to normal. Your father and I are relieved. Mom, if everything is okay, I will take Ji and Ji away. Suxiu glared at her son and said, Take it easy, look at what you have done to others. This is not the way to dig up cabbages. If you dig up the land, let's see what you can do. Xiao Ji and Jia lowered her head and blushed deeply. Lu Yuan was also sweating coldly and pulled Xiao Ji and Jia away. It wasn't me who told mother, it was the records that she checked, Xiao Ji and Jia explained. Seeing her cautious look, Lu Yuan sighed, I understand, you don't need to explain to me, and you don't need to be so cautious. The rules of the palace are the order of operation and are used to constrain behavior, not to constrain you. Xiao Ji and Jia smiled and took Lu Yuan's hand. I understand, Your Majesty. Lu Yuan also took the opportunity to hold her waist and told her about Xiao Qi bringing Xiao to confess his crime. Xiao Ji and Jia frowned. Why is he so reckless? He's not reckless. He wants to die in exchange for those lives. Lu Yuan put his hand on her lower abdomen and rubbed it gently. Let them suffer in the Dali temple first, and then you can rescue them. Me? Xiao Ji and Jia shook her head. No, these people. If you give them some color, they can open a dyeing factory, and let them fend for themselves. At worst, I can go to Bianjing alone. You really don't care? Xiao Ji and Jia hesitated for a moment. My second uncle and Xiao Ji are innocent. As for the others, it on take care. Your mother doesn't care. A trace of pain flashed in Xiao Jianjia's eyes. Even if Queen Mu did a bad thing and treated her badly, she was still her biological mother. What happened to Xiao Yu wasn't necessarily instigated by her. She didn't believe that Queen Mu would want to kill her. Listen to me, when the time comes, fish them out if someone is grateful. That's even better if no one is grateful. I'll have a clear conscience. You can find out for yourself who is the person behind Xiao Yu. You have to get rid of this anger on your own. If the sky falls, I will hold it up for you. Xiao Jianjia leaned in Li Yuan's arms, feeling at ease. Okay. I'll listen to you. In the blink of an eye, 2 days passed. During these 2 days, Empress Mu had a very miserable life. When you are thirsty, they give you stale water. When you are hungry, they give you stale rice. For the past 2 days, she has not had a drop of water or a grain of rice. This is not the most painful thing. Thousands of people are locked up in there. And going to the toilet is a big problem. There is not even any shelter. She held it in for 2 days and almost got internal injuries. Although it was summer, the prison in Dali Temple was extremely dark. The floor was covered with straw, and my body was covered with flea bites that were painful and itchy. This almost made Empress Mu, who had a mysophobia, collapse. Chao Chai, you are simply sick. His Majesty didn't say anything, but you are stupid enough to report yourself. Empress Mu scolded Xiao Chai. Xiao Yu fabricated the witchcraft case. What does it have to do with us? We are innocent. She is the one who is bewitched. Are you willing to kill everyone? Xiao Hong didn't care anymore and cursed. Second uncle, if you want to die, don't take us with you. Everyone started cursing, as if Xiao Chai and his son were sinners of the Xiao family. Xiao Chai remained unmoved. He just sat there cross-legged, chewing a stale steamed bun in his hand. Xiao Ji was so angry that he stood up and argued with them. Shut up, the country is in trouble. But you don't stand up. The great Qian Empire is about to collapse. But you don't stand up. We are outside, being hunted by the enemy. But you don't stand up. Are you qualified to criticize us now? If it weren't for us father and son, you would have died long ago. You pick up the bowl to eat, and put it down to curse your mother. You bastards are rotten to the core. You are such a heartless person. My sister is such a good person, but you still don't let her go and insist on killing her. Everyone called my sister a king who lost her country and a useless emperor. But if my sister hadn't suffered all the injustice and humiliation over the years, Daqian would have been gone long ago. You are all lost dogs of a lost country. If it weren't for my sister, how could you enjoy the good life and day? A bunch of rats. Veins bulged on Xiao Ji's forehead. He had finally passed the qualification exam and thought he would be able to teach and educate people and do what he wanted to do. But what was the result? Xiao Yu is such an idiot. Why is he messing around with the voodoo doll? Do you really think that Master Lu is a fool? Master Lu's wisdom and decisiveness were unprecedented in his life. He didn't involve anyone because of Xiao Jianji and Huan Huan's sake, but that doesn't mean he would turn a blind eye. Everyone was scolded so hard that their faces turned red this time. They didn't care anymore and continued to scold as harshly as possible. Xiao Jianjia happened to enter the heavenly prison and heard what Xiao Ji said, as well as the verbal abuse from everyone. Empress Xiao is here, Wu Sun shouted. The prison suddenly fell into a deathly silence, and then everyone quickly leaned over the railings and shouted, Jianjia, you are here. Save us quickly. Chapter 387. Get rid of your anger. Who's here? Jianjia is here? Empress Mu was also startled. Then she stood up from behind her maid, squeezed through the crowd to the front, and when she saw Xiao Jianjia standing there, she burst into tears. My daughter. Mother is here. Xiao Hong also hurriedly said, Jianjia, hurry up and rescue us. There is a misunderstanding in this matter. It was second uncle who made a mistake. Xiao Jianjia glanced at these people coldly, most of who were familiar faces. She felt sad inside, because these people were all her relatives, but when the country was in trouble, they were the first to flee. You don't want to be loyal to your country, you just want to save your life, so why bother talking to her about misunderstandings? Xiao Chai also stood up, bowed to Xiao Jianjia, and then they looked at each other in silence. Sister, why are you here? Could it be that His Majesty Lu has also thrown you into the heavenly prison? Xiao Ji asked nervously. The people around him were also nervous and began to curse Xiao Chai again. It's all your fault. You messed around and harmed us, but you also harmed concubine Xiao. No, His Majesty doesn't blame me. Xiao Jianjia shook her head. Xiao Ji, second uncle. I asked His Majesty for mercy and came here specially to take you out. Everyone was delighted. Jianjia, what about us? Empress Mu was also overjoyed. I knew that your Majesty was wise and would definitely not listen to Xiao Qi's one-sided words. My daughter, please ask someone to open the door. I have been hungry for 2 days and 2 nights. I am almost fainting from hunger. Xiao Jianjia looked at them coldly and made a gesture. Wu Sun took the key and opened the door of the prison where Xiao Chai and his son were. Master Xiao, please come in. Thank you, eunuch Wu Sun. Xiao Chai bowed, then walked out of the room with Xiao Ji, came to Xiao Ji and Jia, and knelt in front of her with a face full of shame. Xiao Ji and Jia frowned. Why kneel down? Because I'm ashamed. Don't be ashamed. Stand up, Xiao Ji and Jia said. The situation in Daqian is urgent, and the domestic uprising army is rampant. His Majesty asked me to go to Bianjing in person to take charge. Are you willing to follow me back to Bianjing? Xiao Chai was stunned and didn't react for a moment. Your Majesty. Let you return to Bianjing? Yes, from today on. Your Majesty has appointed me as the King of Qian, and I will be in charge of the internal affairs of Daqian, Xiao Ji and Jia explained. After hearing this, the others also gasped, and then they were filled with ecstasy. This means that they can return to Bianjing and continue their previous life of drunkenness and debauchery. With Xiao Ji and Jia in charge, plus the relationship with Huan Huan and Yi Zheng guarding, Bianjing will definitely be impregnable. Even if the outside is smashed, it will not affect their luxurious life at all. Empress Mu was even more stunned was Tiet that she had been trying so hard just to return to Daqian. As a result, Xiao Yu failed to live up to her expectations and her crime was exposed. Instead, it helped Xiao Ji and Jia. But this is even better. She is Xiao Ji and Jia's mother. How could she let herself stay in day and suffer? Thinking of this, she immediately knelt on the ground and clasped her hands together. My late emperor, you can rest in peace in heaven. We have been drifting outside for many years, and we can finally return to Beijing. Everyone followed suit, kneeling on the ground and thanking God continuously. Xiao Hong also said something in a fake manner. It's really God's blessing, Ji and Jia. If that's the case, then let us out quickly. We will go back to Bianjing with you and help you control the situation. That's right, Ji and Jia. You know. Your Majesty, take me with you. Although I don't have much ability, I can still serve you. They privately blamed all the faults on Xiao Ji and Jia, but now they were as fawning as pugs, wishing they could kneel on the ground and lick Xiao Ji and Jia's toes. Xiao Ji and Jia looked at the crowd and found it ridiculous. She said to Xiao Chai and his son, let's go, leave here. Ji and Jia. There are still us. Ji and Jia, mother is here, take me away quickly. Queen Mu stretched out her hand and wanted to grab Xiao Ji and Jia, but Xiao Ji and Jia ignored her. She was filled with hatred in her heart. If she had known this would happen, she should have drowned her when she was born. Ji and Jia, are you really so cruel? Xiao Hong said loudly. After all, we are your family. I admit that there are indeed some misunderstandings between us, but how can a family bear grudges? I just hold a grudge. What do you think? Xiao Ji and Jia smiled faintly. Xiao Hong frowned slightly. In his impression, Xiao Ji and Jia was not so difficult to deal with. Ji and Jia, that's not what I meant. As the saying goes, brothers fight together to fight tigers, and fathers and sons fight together in battle. It's better for you to go to Bianjing alone than for us to go together. Your Majesty, Xiao Hong is right. No matter what happens, we are still a family. Your Majesty, please take us with you. They knelt on the ground and kowtowed continuously. Empress Mu choked up and said, Mother knows that you have suffered a lot of injustice over the years. Mother will kneel down and kowtow to you to admit her fault. As she said this, she actually knelt down and kowtowed. Xiao Ji and Jia stepped aside, frowned and said, this time, it's because of your Majesty's mercy and your broad mind. Otherwise, you would have died long ago. However, if you want to go with me, it's not impossible. Whoever scolded my second uncle and Xiao Ji just now, please apologize to me. Everyone looked at each other. It was so awkward. Xiao Chai was extremely grateful. Your Majesty, Xiao Ji and Jia raised her hand to stop him and looked at them coldly. Xiao Ji felt very happy. Looking at these people being embarrassed, I couldn't help but burst out laughing. Hearing this laughter, everyone was angry and annoyed. However, if he does not apologize to the father and son, he will have to wait for death in a dark prison. A little face in exchange for a bright future is worth it. Uncle, Xiao Ji. I was bewildered by the devil. I, Xiao Yuan, apologize to you. As he said this, he knelt on the ground and kowtowed 3 times to the father and son. Afterwards, more and more people knelt on the ground and apologized to Xiao Kai and his son. Xiao Hong's face flushed red, he gritted his teeth, and knelt on the ground. Second uncle. I was just angry and said something without restraint. Please be magnanimous, don't bother with a junior like me. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a loud bang. Xiao Chai looked at Xiao Hong coldly, expressionless. Empress Mu gritted her teeth and knelt on the ground. Brother-in-law, I also kowtow to you and admit my mistake. Xiao Chai stepped aside and looked at Xiao Ji and Jia. Your Majesty. It's done. Xiao Ji and Jia nodded. She just wanted to vent her anger. But before she could say anything, a 4 or 5-year-old child ran up to Empress Mu and cried, Mom, I'm hungry, I'm so hungry. When Xiao Ji and Jia saw the doll, she was stunned for a moment. Empress Mu was even more panicked. You pull the child down quickly, quickly. The maid also hurriedly took the child away. But Xiaoyan, who was extremely hungry, kept struggling. Mom, Zhu is so hungry, I'm starving. Zhu's appearance was like a heavy slap on Xiao Jianjia's face. At this moment, Queen Mu's dignified image was shattered in front of all the clan members. Chapter 388, Xiao Jianjia leaves Beijing. Cover his mouth, don't let him cry. Queen Mu scolded while smiling at Xiao Jianjia. Jianjia, he? Your child? Xiao Jianjia was full of disbelief. Her father passed away 7 years ago, and the child was at most 5 years old. In other words, during the years since she left the palace, Empress Wu did not abide by her duties. She clenched her fists and really wanted to ask her who the child's biological father was. But when I saw Queen Mu's panic-stricken look, I thought of myself back then. Empress Mu was embarrassed, but she also smiled bitterly. If I say that I adopted this child, would you believe it? Xiao Jianjia sneered. Believe it? What can she do if she doesn't believe it? Do I have to admit that my mother gave me a half-brother? What a scandal this is. Hearing this, Queen Mu also breathed a sigh of relief. That's good, he is the child I adopted. I have been too lonely these years. And you are not around. I missed you so much, so I adopted this child. Xiao Jianjia felt goose and stole over her body and raised her hand to stop him. Alright, I don't care if you adopt the child, but don't let me see this child again. I won't recognize this brother. Yes, don't worry, this child will never appear in front of you again. Queen Mu nodded continuously, but she hated Xiao Jianjia in her heart. This child is her hope. Xiao Jianjia's words basically cut off his possibility of inheriting Daqian in the future. Open the door. Wu Sun nodded, and then ordered all the prison doors to be opened. The Xiao royal family was reborn. And they were all grateful and said all kinds of good things, praising Xiao Jianjia as their savior. Go back and wash up, then count outside the palace and thank the emperor. Remember, your survival is a gift from the emperor, and has nothing to do with me. Xiao Chai and Xiao Ji also followed Xiao Jianjia away. Xiao Hong glanced at Queen Mu, then turned to look at Azu, with a fierce light flashing in his eyes. In Xiao Jianjia's carriage, Xiao Chai asked, Your Majesty, are you going to be in Jing this time? I help your Majesty take Daqian into your possession? Xiao Jianjia looked at him in surprise and nodded slightly. Yes. Xiao Chai heaved a sigh of relief. That's good. Xiao Yi is dead, Yang Ji is dead, Yang Tao is a dog. We can settle accounts with the new party when we return to Bianjing this time, and settle all new and old grudges together. As for those aristocratic families, if we can deal with them, we will deal with them as well, so as to avoid causing your Majesty to worry. Let me be the executioner. Doing this is actually a good thing. In this way, the Xiao family can gain a firm foothold in Day and have a future. Sister, you and Master Lu have already. Xiao Jianjia blushed. Don't ask questions you shouldn't ask. Xiao Ji chuckled and scratched his head. I was wondering, how come such a big thing didn't happen at all, so that's how it is. Xiao Jianjia glared at him and said, Don't go to Bianjing with me. Stay in Liangjing and teach well until you let your teacher Lu down. But, there's nothing to worry about. This is an order, Xiao Jianjia said in an unquestionable tone. Oh, Xiao Ji nodded reluctantly. After sending Xiao Chai and his son away, Xiao Jianjia went back to the yard to take a bath before going to see Li Yuan. Li Yuan is currently reading the compiled Yi Law. This version of Yi Law is the latest version after several revisions. But Li Yuan is still not satisfied. He decided to convene scholars from all over the country to discuss the revision of Yi Law. The second is tax law. Your Majesty, concubine Xiao is here, Wang Dakong reminded. Li Yuan put Yi Lu down and waved at Xiao Jianjia. Xiao Jianjia paused before walking towards the Golden Palace. Come and sit down. Inappropriate. Xiao Jianjia shook her head. It was not that she did not trust Li Yuan. But not everyone could sit on the dragon throne. If she were the queen, she would not be so taboo, but she was not. If I say it's appropriate, then it's appropriate. Li Yuan didn't like to use too many rules to restrict his family to him. The 4 concubines were family members, and the rest of the concubines were just concubines. Your Majesty, this is really inappropriate. Xiao Jianjia refused to agree no matter what. Li Yuan pulled her over without further ado and let her sit on his lap. This way, it doesn't count as sitting on the dragon throne. Xiao Jianjia blushed. If this gets out, people will say I'm a witch who brings disaster to the country and the people. Li Yuan laughed. You do have the potential to bring disaster to the country and the people, but I am not a tyrant. After some joking, he asked, Have all the people been fished out? Xiao Jianjia nodded and said, Then I will leave the day after tomorrow. You must take good care of Huan Huan. Her reluctance was evident in the past 2 days, and she and Li Yuan had been inseparable, and their relationship was heating up quickly. However, for Li Yuan's grand plan, are Huan Huan and their future children to live in a peaceful environment, she must expand Li Yuan's territory. Li Yuan said nothing and carried her to the side hall to rest. Xiao Jianjia blushed and gently pushed him. Here you go again. I'm tired, let me take a nap, Li Yuan grinned. Then he used his signature skills again. For the next 2 days, Xiao Jianjia was quite worried, but when she thought that she could no longer bear it, she had to give up. 2 days later, Xiao Jianjia, escorted by 500 female soldiers and 3,000 cavalrymen, set out on the journey back to Bianjing with all the members of the Xiao family. This incident was also reported in the newspaper and became known to the world. Everyone praised Lu Yuan for his broad-mindedness and for winning over the hearts of the people. As soon as Xiao Jianjia left, Lu Yuan returned to his previous self-disciplined and restrained life. In addition to spending time with Honggu and her 3 daughters every day, more time is spent on people's livelihood. The potatoes and sweet potatoes are growing vigorously, and the rice has already been planted. The elevated canals bring water from all directions into the dry fields, continuously nourishing the land. People were carrying hoes and working in the fields, and children were playing and fighting on the country roads. A scene of prosperity. At the end of May, the long-prepared National Lorry Vision Conference officially opened. The conference was chaired by Lu Qiushan. Next, there will be 2 major events, the International Conference and the Day Games. Li Yuan was looking at the exhibits reported by his subordinates, which were dazzling. For example, pedal sewing machines and obsolete new weapons are on display. There were even steam boats and steam locomotives. The internal combustion engine has already been invented, and it's time for steam engine technology to be released to conquer the world. And this time, what Li Yuan wanted to harvest the most was the Huns. In the short term, the Han army cannot defeat Dai, so now is the best time to harvest. He even sent an invitation to the Huns. What really interested Lu Yuan was Xiongnu. Looking at his experience, he was no worse than himself, a time traveler. To use the words from the novel, this person is the contemporary son of the plain. He was a figure like an eagle. Li Yuan is looking forward to the clash with the fierce slave. Chapter 389 Rouge. Even though he issued an order to kill slaves, it would be difficult for him to clash with the real main force of the Huns before he completed the unification of Middle-earth. But now, there are only more than 30,000 Huns actually in China, and the remaining hundreds of thousands are miscellaneous troops. Therefore, Li Yuan wanted to lure the main force of the Huns in advance. He had written a special letter to Xiongnu a few months ago, and considering the time, it should be here soon. At this time, in the distant Pingjing, the fierce slave was leaning against the dragon throne, and below him were princesses from hundreds of countries wearing revealing gauze clothes. He drank his wine carelessly, only glancing at it occasionally. He is extremely restrained towards women and lives a very disciplined life. Otherwise, he would not have been able to build such a huge empire at the age of 30. He did not have a queen because he felt that he was not worthy of having anyone to stand shoulder to shoulder with him and share this empire and glory. In his eyes, the only relative is his sister. The fierce slave woman had no name, but his sister did. The only woman who could stand by his side was her brother. Just then, a wheat-skinned, tall woman with long hair walked in from outside. This girl is naturally beautiful, with a pair of enchanting peach blossom eyes, a high nose bridge, and eyeballs like sapphires. What really makes people unable to take their eyes off is her figure, which is narrow on top and wide on the bottom. Her charming waist is clearly revealed, and there is a sapphire embedded in her belly button. Her long, round and straight legs were so tender that even her nails were painted pink. As she spoke, she stretched out her long legs, trotted over to the fierce slave, and sat directly on the dragon chair. Brother, I rode an elephant to hunt today and killed dozens of enemies. I brought back their heads. Looking at his sister, Xiongnu's eyes were full of doting in his eyes. No other woman was even a fraction as good as his sister. He stroked his sister's hair and said softly, "My sister is brave and valiant, she is the goddess of war." Yan Zhi raised her hand, as if she was acting like a spoiled child, and stretched out her hand. Brother, is there a reward? The fierce slave clapped his hands with a smile. We've been ready for a long time. Immediately, several Kunlun slave eunuchs came over carrying several boxes. Yan Zhi asked curiously, Brother, what is this? Books from Middle-earth done. You love Middle-earth culture, so I sent people to search for the most popular books in Middle-earth. Xiongnu was not disgusted with Middle-earth culture. Instead, he regarded Middle-earth culture as a teacher and learned from it. This is how the Xiongnu Empire became great. He even encouraged his sister to learn about Middle-earth culture, knowing both oneself and the enemy, so as to win every battle. Yan Zhi was overjoyed and walked quickly to the box. She found that it was full of Middle-earth allusions. After flipping through it, she frowned and asked, "Why are there no books about Bai Liang?" When his sister frowned, Xiongnu's heart trembled. He waved away the dancing princesses and stepped down from the dragon chair. "Is there nothing you like?" Yan Zhi had the books dumped out, and finally found a few books with the words, Bai Yang Printing Factory, on them. There are 3 books, but they're not the ones I want to read. The fierce slave said coldly, "What are those people doing? They can't even do such a small thing, take them out and chop them up." Inside the palace, all the servants were trembling with fear. If you offend the emperor, he may not necessarily kill you. But if you offend Yan Zihi, the emperor will definitely kill you, no matter who you are, even if you are the highest-ranking noble of the Huns. If you dare to say a bad word about Yan Zihi and the emperor hears it, he can kill you overnight. Brother, that's not necessary. If we kill them, who will find books for me in the future? Yan Zihi shook her head. Let them find them. But I heard that the Emperor of Day no longer writes books. What a pity, the books he wrote are really interesting. You like his books? And after my brother has defeated Agub, he will send troops to the Middle-earth to capture the Emperor of Day and ask him to write books for you 12 hours a day, said the fierce slave with great pride. Yan Zihi chuckled. Then he's dead, however. This Li Yuan is really a powerful person. He became the overlord of Middle-earth in just a few years. He's almost the same as my brother. The fierce slave was very upset after hearing this. He can compare to me? Of course not. In my heart, my brother is the best. Yan Zihi said, no one in this world can compare to my brother. But my brother Lu Yuan is really better than you at writing books. The corner of Shang Nu's mouth twitched, and he immediately felt his heart sank. He then comforted himself. What's the point of being good at writing books? Being good at conquering the world is the real power. Yes, writing books is a minor path. Conquering the world and governing the country is the major path. But brother, you don't have to think about the major path all the time. You should relax occasionally. For example, find yourself a companion who understands you and is compatible with you. Otherwise, every time you come here, you will be alone. I don't need a partner. You are enough for me. Shang Nu said, we are brothers and sisters. And it is enough for us to depend on each other. Those women are just tools for carrying on the family line. He looked at Yan Zihi with tenderness in his eyes. Those people are trying to persuade me to get married again. I am so annoyed. Yan Zihi changed the subject and said helplessly, they are all weaklings. I don't look down on them at all. If they want me to surrender, this man cannot be weaker than my brother. Of course, I can't be stronger than my brother. I can only be below him. The fierce slave was furious. Who is gossiping behind my back? Not long ago, someone wanted to find a husband for Yan Zihi under the pretext that the princess had reached marriageable age. That was the first time Shang Nu had insomnia. Whenever he thought of his beloved sister getting married and falling into the arms of another man, he couldn't stop the murderous intent in his heart. His sister cannot get married and can only stay with him. Even if one day, she really finds someone she likes, she is not allowed to get married and will still have to live in the palace. Brother, I said before, if one day you find someone I like, I will definitely tell you in advance, Yan Zihi said. Perhaps influenced by the Middle-earth culture, although Yan Zihi has the heroism of a prairie girl, she is chaste and does not have promiscuous sex. She knew very well how decadent the private lives of those nobles were. She also knew how many gigolos those noble ladies had out there. Those weaklings have no right to touch her body. She will only willingly submit to a man who is stronger than her in every aspect. In the country, apart from the prince, no other man could catch her eye. There are none in China, but there are some abroad. The only person who could interest her was only one person. The Emperor of Day, Li Yuan. He is younger than my prince, but his abilities in marching, fighting wars, and managing the household and the country are no worse than my prince. Thinking of this, she said, brother, can I go to Middle-earth to have a look? Chapter 390, You are just scared. What are you going to do in Middle-earth? Shang Nu frowned. Hunting. Yan Zihi held the brother's hand and shook it constantly, her voice also hoarse. Hunting here every day is meaningless. I want to hunt in the Middle-earth, brother, please. Let me go to the Middle-earth. Shang Nu was shocked. It's thousands of miles away from here to the Middle-earth. Are you going to leave me here alone? The round trip will take at least half a year. If you stay longer, it will take a year or so. Do you still have me as your brother in your heart? Yan Zihi didn't think much about it and said, of course I have. I keep you in my heart day and night. Shang Nu felt so comfortable that the corners of his mouth could not help but rise. It seemed that his position in his sister's heart was unshakable. That won't work either there. As we're going on in Middle-earth, unless the main force of the army goes there, I won't feel comfortable letting you go there alone. Shang Nu shook his head. Even though he doted on Yan Zihi, he simply couldn't bear to see Yan Zihi disappear from his sight for too long. Brother, please, Yan Zihi begged Kokathas Lai. Seeing his sister acting like a spoiled child, Shang Nu had a fatherly look on his face, but when he thought about the fact that he wouldn't see her for a year or so if he agreed, his heart suddenly hardened as iron. It's no use begging me. But I promise you, when the army turns to Middle-earth, I can take you to Middle-earth, and then you can explore whatever you want. You can have as many Middle-earth slaves as you want. Yan Zihi immediately let go of her hand, her face full of displeasure. Shang Nu's heart skipped a beat. He hated to see Yan Zichai unhappy, but thinking that if he tried to coax her, the little girl would definitely push her too far, he forced himself to say, "It's no use being unhappy." Yan Zichai was silent. At this moment, a voice came from outside. "Report, Your Majesty, there is a letter from Middle-earth." Immediately afterwards, a scout came in from outside, looking exhausted. However, before the letter fell into the hands of Xiongnu, it was intercepted by Yan Zichai. Yan Zichai was so angry that she opened the letter in front of Xiongnu and said, "I want to see who wrote this letter." The fierce slave was startled, and smiled bitterly. "This is just Yan Zichai. If it were any other woman, he would have chopped her to pieces with a knife on the spot." Rouge, the fierce slave's tone was helpless, but also had a hint of doting in it. "You can open the letter casually. You haven't checked the wax yet. If there is a problem, it will easily delay the military mission." As soon as the words fell, Yan Zichai exclaimed, "Yes, yes. It's a letter from Lu Yuan to you." "What?" Xiongnu frowned and walked quickly to Yan Zichai. He didn't take the letter from her hand and just stood beside her and watched. "It's really a letter from him." Xiongnu read the letter carefully. The letter was stamped with the seal of Emperor Dai in the letter. Lu Yuan invited the Xiongnu kingdom to rush to Liangjing to participate in the international conference. Of course, the most important thing is that Lu Yuan provoked the Huns in the letter, asking him to withdraw his troops from the central plains as soon as possible. Otherwise, he would lead his troops to Pingjing and capture him to Liangjing to dance. Yan Zichai chuckled, "Brother, this Lu Yuan is so brave. He even said that he would let you wear women's clothes and dance in the palace." The fierce slave snorted coldly. "Does he have that ability? If he really did, he wouldn't have written a letter to provoke me." Yan Zichai rolled her eyes and said, "Brother, Lu Yuan has provoked us so much, shouldn't we fight back?" Seeing that his sister looked down on him, Xiongnu snorted. "Of course we have to fight back, but I'm afraid this is a conspiracy. He wants us to attend the international conference. Maybe he will attack us halfway." "Not really, we are not going there with hundreds of thousands of troops," Yan Zichai continued. "Brother, think about it, Dai's technology is so advanced, whether it is weapons or daily necessities, they are far ahead. If we could possess Dai's technology, we would definitely be able to defeat the Agub Empire quickly. Why are they so difficult to deal with? Isn't it because of their advanced smelting technology? I heard that Dai has a kind of Modao soldiers who specialize in killing cavalry. If we can also refine the Modao, wouldn't killing those people be as easy as chopping melons and vegetables?" Xiongnu shook his head. "The Modao has been eliminated. Dai has never fully promoted the Modao, not because they are not skilled enough, but because they have weapons that are more powerful than the Modao, such as muskets, cannons, and gunpowder. In all the battles fought by Dai Li Guo, the outnumbered side won, without exception. That's what I fear the most." The three kingdoms in Middle-earth collapsed and their fighting power declined. In fact, they were easier to attack than the Agub Empire. The reason I didn't rush in was because I wasn't sure. Those weapons are weird. Judging from the weapons sent back, these weapons can easily kill cavalry. Some of these weapons cannot even be stopped by our proud heavy cavalry. I have ordered people to imitate those guns, but they can only imitate weapons that Dai has long eliminated. The root cause is that the smelting technology cannot keep up. That's why I want to conquer Agub and obtain their iron smelting technology. As for the gunpowder formula, it should be available soon. By then, our heavy cavalry and muskets will be invincible." It was the first time that Yan Zichai heard the reason from her brother's mouth. "Oh, you are scared?" Xiongnu was stunned, feeling both angry and amused. After he said all that, in Yan Zichai's eyes, he actually seemed timid. This made him very uncomfortable. But not towards Yan Zichai. He just wanted to show his strength urgently. "Don't be afraid, but we won't fight a battle we are not sure of winning." The fierce slave could only coax her like a child. "And let me go to the Middle-earth and I will find a way to get you the formula for gunpowder." Yan Zichai said, "Brother, you conquered this country, but I also have a share. Although I am a woman, I don't want to be inferior to men. I will expand the territory for you and make you the greatest emperor in the world." Hearing this, Xiongnu was both happy and worried. "As long as you accompany my brother well, you will be the greatest contributor." Yan Zichai tried her best to persuade him, but Xiongnu just wouldn't agree. Finally, Yan Zichai threw the letter aside in anger. "You are just a coward and you didn't allow me to go. Brother is really bad." Looking at his sister's back, Xiongnu's heart was gripped with grief. "Oh no, my sister hates me." He held his forehead helplessly. "I don't know how long I'll have to coax her now." Picking up the letter on the ground, Xiongnu fell into deep thought. Provocation is provocation. But since Lu Yuan wants to make contact, why not see what he wants? He knew Lu Yuan's history of making a fortune and knew that Lu Yuan was a person who put profit above all else. He couldn't help but laugh. The merchant emperor, who stinks of money, is such a person worthy of being an emperor? Find a way to get the technology you want from Day, and then get intelligence from those small countries to find out Day's background. By then, the Han army will launch a massive attack on China. He must let Yan Zihi see who is the most powerful king in the world. Chapter 391 Arrival in Beijing. Yan Zihi returned to her palace with the 3 books, and looked at the servants in the palace with impatience. All she could think about now was going to Middle-earth. Since I was young, I have heard them talk about the past of Middle-earth, a place with abundant natural resources, handsome men and beautiful women. And it was the richest country. It's nothing like here, where the summer is scorching hot, and there are either mountains or deserts, with very few oases. Even the richest Taigubi Empire and the Wanfo Kingdom are far inferior to the Middle-earth. Most importantly, she wanted to meet Lu Yuan and hunt in Middle-earth. It would be very interesting if she could capture Lu Yuan and make him her slave. That would definitely be her greatest achievement in her life. Thinking of this, she suddenly had an idea. For 2 days in a row, the fierce slave tried various ways to please Yan Zihi. If other people knew that the arrogant Han Emperor was like a dog in front of his sister, they would be shocked. In the end, it was Xiongnu who agreed to let Yan Zihi go hunting in a small country below to appease Yan Zihi. That small country is quite far away, and it will take at least 3 to 5 days to go back and forth, which is also the limit of what the fierce slave can endure. After coaxing Yan Zihi, Xiongnu selected a group of people and sent them today. However, Pingjing is too far away from the Middle-earth, and there are hundreds of countries in between before sending troops. He must wipe out all those countries that have not submitted to him. After Yan Zihi left, he felt empty inside and kept waiting and hoping. 5 days later, Yan Zihi still hadn't returned, and he couldn't sit still any longer. Why hasn't the princess come back yet? At this moment, a man came back and reported, "Your Majesty, something bad has happened, Princess." "Princess? What's wrong with the princess?" Xiongnu's heart was in his throat. "The princess is missing." The fierce slave's head was buzzing, and in an instant, murderous intent filled the air, and the hostility in his eyes almost overflowed. "Where did you say the princess went?" "Princess, the princess is missing. Our people have searched all over Shuoizi but couldn't find any trace of the princess," the man cried. The fierce slave hacked the man to death with a knife, and blood splattered all over him. Then he hurriedly brought 150 Zoro cavalry to Uzi. The fierce slave swept across the western barbarians, and these many countries did not achieve the great unification like that of the Middle-earth. Instead, they supported people who were pro-Xiongnu, which was a vassal state, but closer than a vassal state. They retained their country's name and existed as princes. The Huns were indeed powerful, but their foundation was also weak. It was impossible for them to rule such a vast territory with just a few 100,000 people. The princes of Shuoizi knelt there, but what greeted them were the sharp arrows of the fierce slaves. The fierce slave pulled the iron bow from a distance and shot an arrow at his head from 50 feet away. "If we can't find the princess, all the Shuoi nobles will die," the fierce slave said sternly. From the nobles to the common people, everyone in Shuoizi felt like the sky had fallen. Men, women, young and old, all went out to search for Rouge. But after searching for 2 whole days and 2 nights, we still couldn't find it. Xiongnu had not slept for 2 days and 2 nights, with murderous intent accumulating in his heart. And he wished to kill all the millions of people in Shuoizi. Just at this moment, someone came over with a letter. "Your Majesty, there is news about the princess." Almost instantly, the fierce slave stood up and stared at the newcomer with his red eyes. "Where is the princess?" "This is a letter left by the princess, Your Majesty. Please take a look." Xiongnu took the letter and read it. It was indeed Yan Zihi's handwriting. "Brother, when you see this letter, I have already gone to Middle-earth. Don't make things difficult for those people. I deliberately avoided them. When I go to Middle-earth, I will definitely make some achievements. And don't miss me too much, and don't send anyone to catch me. Even if you catch me, I will still run away. Don't worry about me. I will leave a letter every time I arrive in a country. And think of me." Xiongnu looked at the letter and breathed a sigh of relief, but then he became furious. "There are so many people, and I can't even keep an eye on the princess. Chop them all up and feed them to the dogs." But then she felt something was wrong and waved her hand. "Forget it, Yan Zihi said not to embarrass them." If Yan Zihi knew, she would say I am narrow-minded. Then, he straightened his back and said, "Send the dark dragon guards to protect Yan Zihi. Don't let her get hurt in the slightest." He understood Yan Zihi's character since she had left. If he forced her back, she would not be coaxed into submission. This little girl has an ambition to expand territory. That would fulfill her wish. Take away another 30 no, 500,000 cavalrymen will follow her and be at her disposal. Yan Zihi is intelligent. She has followed me to conquer the world since she was a child, and is proficient in both civil and military strategies. There would definitely be no problem for her to command the army. He also needs to speed up the process and reunite with Yan Zhi as soon as possible. At the same time, Xiao Ji and Jia his family arrived in Bianjing. Chang Wei and Yang Tao, together with all the officials of Bianliang, welcomed them respectfully at the city gate. Their humble servant pays his respects to Her Majesty concubine Xiao. Shang Wei cupped his hands, showing no disrespect on the surface. But in his heart he looked down upon Xiao Ji and Jia. No matter how much he had planned, he still hadn't expected that Li Yuan would favor her again. Fortunately, I didn't go too far. In this case we can only find a way to repair the relationship so that she won't whisper in His Majesty's ear in the future. Your humble servant welcomes His Majesty. Yang Tao and his ministers knelt down directly, trembling with fear. He and his son had bullied Xiao Ji and Jia a lot in the past, and they were afraid that Xiao Ji and Jia would take revenge on them later. No need to be so polite. Xiao Ji and Jia glanced at the crowd and said lightly, "Thank you, Queen Xia, Your Majesty." After everyone stood up, Yang Tao walked up to Xiao Ji and Jia with a flattering look on his face. "Your Majesty, I have been looking forward to seeing you back for a long time." Xiao Ji and Jia could not forget what Yang Ji and his son had done, but now Yang Tao was a surrendered minister, and she could not take revenge on him, so she said, "I am tired. Let me go to the palace first." Yes, I have ordered people to clean the palace. Please move in, Your Majesty," Yang Tao said with a nod and a bow. Lin Mu was even more excited. Her mind was now filled with thoughts of wealth, glory and power. "Yang Tao, do you still remember me?" Lin Mu stepped forward. Yang Tao frowned. When Queen Mu left, Yang Tao was still under the age of 15, so he naturally didn't recognize her. "Who are you? Do I know you in your true form?" Empress Mu's face turned green. "How dare you? Yang Tao, you are so brave. This is the king's mother. Who do you think he is? How dare you? Yang Tao, why don't you kneel down when you see the queen?" Yang Tao looked at the angry Xiao family members with a confused look on his face. The king's mother? He turned his head and looked at Xiao Ji and Jia. "Your Majesty, this. Xiao Ji and Jia glanced at Empress Mu coldly and said, "This is not the place to talk. Let us go into the palace." Yang Tao's eyes rolled and he quickly made a gesture of invitation. "Your Majesty, please move." Empress Mu gnashed her teeth in anger. She wanted to show her face and tell everyone that she was back. But she didn't expect Xiao Ji and Jia to not acknowledge her at all. "Once we get into the palace, we'll have a good fight to see who's more powerful, me as a mother or you." Chapter 392, The First Revenge. Bianjing was a secondary capital, but its luxury was just as great as that of Bianjing. Behind the Bianjing Palace is the Ecstasy Caves, separated by the Bianjing River. How can one waste one's manlines in such a place of decadence and extravagance? After the meal, the first order Xiao Ji and Jia gave was to clear out all the palace maids and eunuchs in the Bianjing Palace. Yang Tao said, "Your Majesty, the palace always needs servants to do odd jobs. At the very least we need cooks." "Don't worry, I will make arrangements." Xiao Ji and Jia waved his hand. After taking a look at the female soldiers armed with guns in the hall, Yang Tao dared not say anything more. Having these 500 female soldiers serving Xiao Ji and Jia is better than 10,000 cavalrymen. Not to mention that there are 3,000 well-equipped elite soldiers outside, but they are completely under her control. "Commander Shang, I'm here." Chang Wei stepped out. Present all the intelligence from the front line, Xiao Ji and Jia sat on the blood sandalwood chair that only princes in ancient times could sit on, even though he was not wearing royal robes. His aura could not be underestimated. "Yes, I obey your command. Since I have returned to the capital, the defense of Bianjing will still be controlled by Bianjing." Xiao Ji and Jia glanced at Yang Tao. "The 3,000 elite soldiers under my command will take over the defense of the city, and the Secretariat will draft an order to allow the garrisons from all over the country to enter the capital. Those who do not enter the capital will be charged with treason. Issue a notice to inform the world that Xiao Yi is plotting treason. I will thoroughly investigate Xiao Yi's followers and will not tolerate any leniency. In addition, the Imperial Guards, Cavalry, Royal Guards, etc. in the capital area cannot be mobilized by anyone without the King's Tiger Talisman. Anyone who dares to leave his post will be killed without mercy." Xiao Ji and Jia gave several orders in succession, and everyone was gnashing their teeth when they heard them. Taking over the city defense means that the Xiao family will be in power again. Although the soldiers defending the city were still Day's soldiers, the nature was different. In the future, when Da Qian returns to Yi, no one will feel that they were forced. To label Xiao Yi a traitor and purge his followers is the orthodoxy. Does Xiao Yi have followers? He is just a puppet. When the time comes, whoever Xiao Ji and Jia wants to kill can be directly labeled as Xiao Yi's gangster who wouldn't be afraid. Just these two orders frightened many people in the hall. How could they not understand what Xiao Ji and Jia was like in the past? Allowing garrison commanders from all regions to come to Beijing is a form of centralization. Using tiger talismans to restrict the imperial guards is a way to centralize power and increase power. This combination of punches made Shang Wei look at him with admiration. Yang Tao's face turned dark. These two orders hit him right in the heart. Now that he has taken power, what else can he do? But, does he dare not give it? As incompetent as Xiao Jianjia was back then, she is as decisive now. Now, she has washed away all the makeup and returned as a queen, taking control of the situation in an instant. But that doesn't mean that everyone is afraid of her. Others are just afraid of day behind her. Everyone go down, I'm tired. Xiao Jianjia waved his hand. After everyone left, Xiao Chai said, Your Majesty, there are still many concubines in the harem. Should they be dismissed as well? Everyone must be cleared out of the palace, no one should be left alive. Xiao Chai nodded and went down to carry out the order. Queen Mu in the side hall couldn't wait to go to the harem and occupy the largest Shihua palace. From now on, this will be my temporary palace. Queen Mu looked at the extravagant palace, feeling extremely satisfied. She selected dozens of smart and capable juniors from the Xiao family and said, You will serve me. This palace has been cleared out, so I have to keep a few people to serve me. My queen, please tell the king that now that we are back, shouldn't we resume our positions? Yes, it would be safer to have our own people guard this huge Bianjing. Everyone was talking at once. Queen Mu said, Don't worry, I'll have someone call Jianjia over right away. I don't think she's a heartless person. Everyone was grateful. Xiao Hong's face was also full of anticipation. Although he had some conflicts with Xiao Jianjia, now that he had returned to Bianjing, could she still not use him? Not long after, Xiao Jianjia came over and looked at the people gathered in Shihua Palace. Why don't you leave the palace? What are you doing here? Your Majesty, we have no place to stay in Bianjing. You must find a place for us to stay. That's right, I heard there are many empty mansions in Bianjing. If they are not weak, give them to us. Xiao Jianjia looked at them coldly. You left the palace so early, Dawn. Tell me that you didn't leave a way out for yourselves. I don't believe it. Everyone looked a little embarrassed. What Xiao Jianjia said was right. They had bought a lot of property in Bianjing. But at this time, how could they admit it? Everyone cried poor and played the emotional card again. But Xiao Jianjia didn't buy it at all. Empress Mu was a little embarrassed and said, Jianjia, now that we have returned to the capital, we are all family, we must properly accommodate them. We can't let them sleep on the street, right? If it gets out, people will laugh at you. What does it have to do with me? Xiao Jianjia smiled coldly. They are healthy, how can they starve to death on the streets? Everyone's face changed. Empress Mu also said, What are you talking about? Don't you care about them? And why did you bring them to Bianjing? As the saying goes, it takes 3 to make a hero, and it takes 3 stakes to make a fence. Can people like Yang Tao be useful if they have their own people? You should not only arrange accommodation for them, but also positions for them, so as to prevent those thieves from taking advantage of you. The same thing happened again. Xiao Hong winked at his mother frantically, seeing that Empress Mu was getting more and more excited. He interrupted her and said, Jianjia, mother didn't mean that she was thinking about you. You just arrived in Bianjing. And the situation here is still unclear. If you don't use your own people, I'm afraid you will be unable to move forward. Empress Mu also realized that she had said the wrong thing, and quickly changed her words. Jianjia, it's not that I don't believe in your ability, I just don't want to see you fight alone. Don't worry, this time, no matter what, I will be your strongest backer. Everyone expressed their opinions, beating their chests and wishing they could take their hearts out. Xiao Jianjia just felt like laughing. You have a point. She smiled, since you are so thoughtful, I cannot go against your will. Everyone was very happy. Queen Mu also showed a satisfied smile on her face. Second brother, the palace is still short of a horse keeper. You will be responsible for the horses in the palace. Xiao Jianjia looked at Xiao Hong with a smile. Xiao Hong's eyes widened and he pointed at himself. Me, Bima Wen? Second brother, do you think you are too controlling? How about I let you go to the cleansing room and give you a blow? From now on, all the internal affairs of the palace will be under your jurisdiction. How do you think? Jianjia, oh no. Your Majesty, please stop joking. We are brother and sister. Who is kidding you? Xiao Jianjia sneered. Either raise horses or purify yourself. You choose one. Chapter 393, Xiaoman's Evil Plan. Xiao Jianjia returned to Bianjing not only to help Li Yuan stabilize the situation and let Da Qian live a good life as soon as possible. She also wanted to personally deal with all those who bullied her. On the first night in Bianjing, Li Yuan gave her some tips. The first brocade bag was to be opened when she arrived in Bianjing. There was only a piece of paper in the brocade bag, with 8 words written on it. It is never too late for a lady to take revenge. Only then did she understand the real reason why Li Yuan asked her to return to Bianjing. When she saw these 8 words, she almost cried. Li Yuan understood the grievances and humiliations she had suffered over the years. These 8 words also gave Xiao Jianjia endless confidence. And with this first strike, she was going to kill the relatives of the Xiao family. Anyone who wants to kill her is not a relative. Xiao Hong said stiffly, Your Majesty. I'm going to raise horses. He finally gave in. Okay, Xiao Jianjia nodded, then looked at the others. Daqian has been at war for years, suffering from natural disasters and man-made calamities, and the treasury is empty. The royal family will have to be self-reliant in the future. I will not take out a single cent from the treasury or the private money to support you. Cancel all preferential treatment for the royal family. If anyone dares to cheat outside under the banner of the royal family, I will punish him severely. If you want to be a servant, you can. The Kian will follow the day system, and you can take the exam for whatever you want to do. If you can pass the exam, that's it. This, Your Majesty. We are a family. If you treat us like this, aren't you afraid that people all over the world will laugh at you? Many people became angry. They thought they were returning to Bianjing to enjoy life, but they didn't expect Xiao Jianjia to be so heartless. As Your Majesty really want to make a fool of yourself? The speaker was Xiao Jianjia's ninth brother. Xiaomin. He was rather introverted and seldom spoke, but at this moment, he could not help himself. How are the Lu clan members? I haven't seen His Majesty lavishly reward them. Should they still study and take exams? If you want to imitate, you naturally have to learn it completely. If you have any objections, you can leave. I will have you removed from the family tree. Xiao Jianjia said calmly. Everyone was angry but dared not speak out. Who can blame him for having someone behind him and giving him military power? And something like seizing power is extremely difficult. But Shang Wei in charge of Bianjing, no one can cause any trouble. Empress Wu also said all the good things she could. Don't speak for them anymore. If you feel sorry for them, you can accompany them out of the palace. I won't keep you here, Xiao Jianjia said coldly. The moment she abandoned me and betrayed my father, she was no longer my mother. How could a mother help outsiders frame her own daughter? Abandoning her when she was ejected from the palace, causing trouble when they met again, and plotting a case of witchcraft, these were not the kinds of vicious things a mother could do. Empress Mu was stunned. She looked at Xiao Jianjia in disbelief. She pointed at her and trembled with anger. You, how can you say such a thing? I'm your mother, and you want to drive me out of the palace? Don't you already have a son? Why do you still care about me, your daughter? Which is the same pronunciation as his father. After all, her father is the emperor, and everyone in the world has to avoid homophones. How could she not know that? That day, she vomited several times. Just thinking of the child's name made her feel sick. Queen Mu hurriedly pulled Azu behind her. If she left the palace, she would never have another chance. She laughed dryly. Jianjia, that's not what I meant. I'm just afraid that others won't understand and it will ruin your reputation. Xiao Jianjia laughed at herself. Since I gave birth to Huan Huan, do I still have a reputation? Queen Mu was suddenly speechless. This damn girl just wouldn't listen to any tricks or threats. Everyone was choked by Xiao Jianjia's toughness and was speechless. Leave early. This is the harem, not a place you can come to. Remember what I said. Xiao Jianjia smiled faintly and turned to leave. After Xiao Jianjia walked away, everyone in Shihua Palace started to curse in a low voice. You are a wolf from Zongshan. You are so arrogant when you are in power. It's so disgusting. They tricked us into coming to Bianjing. But we are not allowed to do this, or that we might as well stay in Liangjing. At least Liangjing is safer. My queen. If this continues, Xiao will be killed by her. Everyone was talking one after another, venting their inner dissatisfaction. Xiaomin said, I can see that she is just taking revenge on us. If we don't fight back, she will kill us. Everyone couldn't help but look at Xiaomin. Lao Jiu, do you have any good ideas? Xiao Hong asked. Xiaomin glanced at the others and said, everyone go back first. I will discuss it with my mother and my second brother. I'm sure there will be a solution. Master Jiu, our future happy life depends on you. Your Majesty, I will take my leave now. After everyone left, Queen Mu asked, Old Nine, what do you have in mind? Although Xiaomin was his biological son, his mother died early and he grew up with him. He was a filial child. Xiaomin sent the people around Empress Mu away. And then whispered, why is Xiao Jianjia so arrogant? Isn't it because she gave birth to a daughter for Lu Yuan? When she spread the rumor, Lu Yuan was not able to believe it, which shows that Xiao Jianjia is quite capable. Otherwise, Lu Yuan wouldn't have been deceived. You see, she has entered the palace as a concubine, but she can still work as a doctor in the hospital. Now he is returned to Daqian. Lu Yuan was also completely taken advantage of by her. Xiao Jianjia inherited her mother's beauty. If she was a bit promiscuous in private, which man could control her? You're right, Xiao Hong slapped his thigh and said in annoyance, I was too reckless. No matter how powerful the rumor is, how can it compare to pillow talk? Queen Mu also nodded. She was already middle-aged, but couldn't she still charm those men? The more beautiful a woman is, the more she cares about her appearance. At this moment, I was secretly proud of myself. Go on. Besides, even if Huan Huan is really not Li Yuan's child, how can Li Yuan admit it at this moment? That would be the biggest joke in the world. Xiaomin narrowed his eyes and continued to analyze. If we want to seize power, we can't use conventional means. She has military power and Shang Wei's support, we can't defeat her. You have seen how powerful her methods are today, it won't be long before all the military forces in the country are under her control. We will be even more unable to fight. But she is not without weaknesses. Men love beauty and power. Where are the women? I love beauty, and I love heroes and talented men, Xiao Hongdao said. Xiaomin snapped his fingers. That's right, what if Xiao Jianjia really has an affair with someone? As long as we have this handle, she will definitely listen to us. As a woman, she is bound to feel lonely in the deep palace. Chapter 394, Second Tips. Xiao Hong clapped his hands. This is a good plan, but all the eunuchs and maids in the palace have been cleared out, and she is surrounded by female soldiers. Which man can get close to her? What good is a good plan if you can't get close to her? Queen Mu also said, that damn girl hates us so much, she will definitely not be fooled so easily. Xiaomin sneered and said, there are several ways. One way is to spread rumors that Xiao Jianjia wants to kill the generals who come to Beijing. There are two consequences. If you disobey the order, you will be labeled a traitor. Either go to Beijing, but be careful. They still have some contacts in Beijing, so we can definitely find a way to sneak into the palace, undermine her prestige. At that time, we will lead the mother's cooperation and get close to her. If we can let her be abducted by the rebels, and then bullied, we will have the upper hand. But there is a high probability that she will retaliate against us. So, let those female soldiers see that she was humiliated. No, it's too risky. Queen Mu kept shaking her head. She didn't want to be involved. It sounded good to say, but it was too difficult to execute. It's indeed inappropriate with such a big plan. If we take a wrong step, everything will fail. Xiao Hong shook his head. Xiaomin smiled and said, can this huge Beijing palace be guarded by only 500 female soldiers? Isn't it easy to get some people in? Those flower thieves or fleas on the drum and heroes on the beam, isn't it easy for them to sneak in? If we can find a way to add some seasoning, then it will be something interesting. Xiao Hong nodded. This is good. The risk is small, and it won't easily expose us. Empress Mu also said, this is a good plan. I will pretend to be sick and try to trick her into coming here. She added the plan. After hearing this, both of them nodded continuously. Only the ignorant Su listened blankly to his mother talking to his two brothers. Late at night, Xiao Jianjia finished reading the information sent by Shang Wei and felt a headache. It was revealed in Zilling that Fangju was colluding with the Huns. Before coming, Li Yuan gave her accurate information that Fangju had indeed betrayed her. However, due to the intervention of the Anbu, Fangju and the Huns broke off. The current situation in Zilling is stable with 150,000 troops stationed in Zilling. Fangju dares not show his head at all. The Huns suffered a defeat and retreated to Baiyujingji without showing their heads again. They stopped killing people and implemented the same strategy as dodging. The funny thing was that those people praised the Huns. The aristocratic families in Baiyujingji controlled public opinion, and put all the blame on the Xiao family, using the saying that when the Xiao family lost their power, the whole world chased after them. The Huns were portrayed as contenders and saviors. And he distinguished the Huns from the barbarians of more than 200 years ago. Anyone with a discerning eye knows that this is an attempt to cover up one's own faults. But these people believed it. This is where the Huns' cleverness lies. When they made a comeback 100 years later, their hearts were those of the barbarians, but their bodies were those of the Huns. Those sets of remarks confused and frustrate everyone. Now the Zilling army is running out of food. Request support from the royal court. The first thing Xiao Jianjia did when she returned to Beijing was to clean up this mess. That's military rations for hundreds of thousands of people. At least 1 million shi of grain. There were only 1 million den of grain in the national treasury. The imperial guards and dragon riders who support Zilling in Beijing will go hungry. Yang Tao exempted this year's summer taxes to allow the people to rest and recuperate. Xiao Jianjia tapped her fingers on the table and couldn't help but think of the treasure bag Li Yuan gave her, saying that she could open it when she encountered difficulties. Thinking of this, she hurriedly took out the second treasure bag. What could be in here? Xiao Jianjia took out another piece of paper from inside. Exempt grain taxes, eliminate coercive labor, and stabilize the people's hearts. Beat the landlords, destroy the noble families, kill the pigs and divide the meat. Divide the land equally. Power and food are even more important. She pondered the contents of the note. She could understand the first sentence, which was not only about recuperating with the people, but also about stabilizing the national situation and boosting her authority. But how can we exempt this grain tax? Is it a one-time exemption or a few years of exemption? The same goes for corvée labor. Given Atkion's current situation, even if the grain tax is exempted for just 1 year, the imperial court will collapse next year. In the past, at least we could use food to offset our salaries, and even shamelessly delay payment. If it is completely abolished and there is no successor, the country will collapse. She held her forehead and gritted her teeth. Since Li Yuan said so, there must be a backup plan. I have to believe him, didn't he? They exempt taxes and co-RV labor. And we should completely reduce or exempt the grain tax even if Daqian is completely destroyed. Let the people live a good life for a few days before it perishes. As for co-RV labor, it was selected from the criminals in prison. Those who did not kill people could be exempted from their crimes through co-RV labor. After the status of slaves was cancelled and they performed co-RV labor for 3 consecutive years, they could be granted civilian status. Ordinary people no longer had to pay agricultural taxes and co-RV labor. It would be great if we could defeat the Xiongnu and capture hundreds of thousands of them, and the domestic co-RV problem would be solved. Thinking of this, Xiao Jianjia sighed and continued to ponder the next sentence. Only by defeating the landlords can we divide the land equally. And only by destroying the aristocratic families can we truly control power, fill the national treasury, and collect military rations without harming civilians. This is also Day's national policy. Although Li Yuan did not say it, he has been secretly eliminating the influence of the aristocratic families. Since we need to expand the territory for him, we naturally need to clear out these people in advance, so that he can take over Daqian in peace and stability. Thinking of this, she couldn't help laughing. She stuffed the note back into the brocade bag, stretched her chin with both hands, and began to miss Miss Li Yuan. This man was very smart and seemed to have calculated everything in advance. He even prepared solutions for any difficulties she might encounter. This world is full of tatters, but there are always people who mend it. Once upon a time, Xiao Jianjia lived in the imperial palace. Feeling uneasy and anxious, the suppressed emotions made her unable to sleep well for several years. That feeling of unease followed her everywhere, making her feel very insecure. At this moment, she was still alone in the palace, but she was not at all nervous. Some are just calm and normal. Only she herself knows how good Li Yuanpai's backing is. The next day, Xiao Jianjia issued several more decrees, abolishing the national agricultural tax, abolishing the national co-RV, and abolishing the slave class. Once the 3 imperial edicts were issued, the Yanjing was shaken. Everyone thought Xiao Jianjia was crazy. Yang Tao was even more dumbfounded, and hurried into the palace. Your Majesty, why weren't these 3 imperial edicts issued by the Secretariat, and why weren't you discussing this with me? If the grain tax is completely abolished, how will the salaries of officials and soldiers across the country be paid? If there is a major project, who will do the work? This is the way to destroy a country. It is absolutely unacceptable. Many people began to advise Xiao Jianjia. Even for such a good thing as abolishing the status of a slave, there were still people who stood up to criticize Xiao Jianjia. It's not that they don't know the benefits of the imperial edict, they just habitually deny Xiao Jianjia and don't like the feeling of being out of their control. Chapter 395, Bold and Decisive Actions. Xiao Jianjia said calmly, exempting agricultural taxes is in response to today's call, and exempting co-RV labor is also to relieve the pressure on the people and let them live a good life. The purpose of abolishing slavery was to free up labor. Moreover, there were 2 prerequisites for abolishing slavery. Redeem him with silver. If you don't have silver, you just need to serve for 3 years, 1 month each year. There are at least 800,000 very low-class people in the world, if not 1 million, and they are all laborers. Your Majesty, lowly people are lowly people. How can we give them a chance to turn things around? Isn't this disrupting social order? Said the Minister of the Central Secretariat Hu Yuan. Please think twice, Your Majesty. These 3 edicts are not stamped with the Great Qian seal. Even if they are widely distributed, people below will laugh when they see them. After the Daqian seal was given to Lu Yuan, the Yanjing used Yang Ji's personal seal to issue orders to the world in the name of the Prime Minister, Yang Jixing, because he holds the power of the world. Xiao Jianjia can't do it. Who said I don't have the Great Qian seal? Xiao Jianjia smiled coldly and took out the blood-red seal like a magic trick. This was given by His Majesty. If you don't believe it, you can come and check it out. Everyone was stunned. Is Li Yuan willing to release this thing? That is the Daqian seal. Each expression was extremely complicated. Xiao Jianjia looked at the seal and her eyes softened. This time, Li Yuan had made full preparations for her and even asked her to bring back the Daqian seal, because he was afraid that these people would use the seal to cause trouble. Yang Tao hurriedly said, since it was given by His Majesty, it must be true. Hu Yuan snorted coldly. That being said, if the king acts on his own and does not consult with his subjects, what are we, the subjects, supposed to do? If the king knew everything, there would be no need to establish hundreds of officials. Daqian is already in this state, and the agricultural tax is still being exempted. Can the court continue? If Your Majesty insists on doing so, I will resign. I will no longer be the minister of the Central Secretariat. Wu Yuan took off his official hat and put it on the ground. Following closely, a group of officials from the Secretariat took off their official hats one after another and said, "We resign." Not only the Secretariat, but also the Ministry of Revenue official Jin Zhengdi took off his official hat first, saying, "With no need to collect taxes or perform co-RV labor, the Ministry of Revenue has no meaning to exist anymore. It is better to disband it. I resign." Subsequently, all officials of the Ministry of Revenue took off their hats. For a moment, more than half of the officials in the palace took off their official hats. Yang Tao said hurriedly, "At this time of national crisis, you do not want to serve the country with all your heart, but resign and give up your post. Where will the king and the people be placed? Is this your way of being an official?" Prime Minister Yang, there is no need to persuade them. Don't they want to resign? I have agreed, Xiao Jianjia said coldly. Don't stop them without them. Will the world be unable to move forward? But I tell you, if you leave this door, you will never have the chance to come back again. Yang Tao took a deep breath and knelt on the ground. "Your Majesty, they are confused for a moment, don't be angry with them." As he spoke, he cursed Hu Yuan and the others. "What are you standing there for? Kneel down and admit your mistakes to His Majesty." However, no one stood up. Xiao Jianjia looked at Hu Yuan and Jin Zhengdi. These two were not good people either. At that time, Hu Yuan was not yet the minister of the Central Secretariat, but only the vice minister of the Ministry of Personnel. He was a man of some talent and arrogance, and even wrote a poem to mock her. She still remembers it vividly. Jin Zhengdi is even less of a good person. He is a corrupt official and a lackey who makes money for the Yang family. Yang Tao, who was kneeling there to persuade, seemed loyal, but these people were all promoted by him. Let them Gade Qian's territory is less than half of what it used to be. What's the point of keeping so many people doing nothing? Xiao Jianjia said calmly. "Come here, pass on the king's fourth order." Rape came out from the side, took the imperial edict, and read it loudly. "From now on, Da Qian will hold a selection examination, focusing on arithmetic, law, economics and trade, engineering, agriculture, economics and morality and other major subjects, to recruit talents from all over the country, regardless of your social status, regardless of gender. Even if you are of low status, you can take part in the exam. Make sure to spread the news to the whole country." 3 months later, the examination will be held in Bianjing. Yang Tao was stunned. Wu Yuan and others couldn't help but take a breath. Is Xiao Jianjia really not going to keep them? At this moment, everyone was a little panicked. Yang Tao didn't know what to do. He just wanted Xiao Jianjia to stop doing anything rash, but he didn't expect that things would go wrong. However, this also made him realize that the current empress is no longer the same empress as before. "Your Majesty, you will regret this. Da Qian will perish in your hands." Hu Yuan angrily flicked his sleeves and left in style. Afterwards, Jin Zheng danced at Yang Tao and left with everyone. "Your Majesty, please think twice." Yang Tao had no choice but to look towards the throne. "Let them go." Xiao Jianjia waved her hand and said nonchalantly, "Da Qian needs fresh blood." Yang Tao said meaningfully, "If your Majesty really wants to do great things, you can't do this. All those electing talents and electing candidates is good. It takes time. Most of the court officials have left. Who will replace them these days? Of course, if the king lets day officials take over, then I have nothing to say." He just wanted to remind Xiao Jianjia that His Majesty asked her to come, not really to revive Da Qian. Xiao Jianjia also understood what he meant. "Don't worry about who will replace him. Go and call all the generals above the 5th rank in Bianjing. The existing tiger seals are no longer needed." Before coming to Bianjing, His Majesty cast a new batch of tiger seals for me with gold. From now on, only the tiger seals in my hand can mobilize troops. Yang Tao's mouth twitched, and he cursed in his heart. "You should at least try to win me over. You, Ray, taking power so rudely right from the start and using your power to bully others. Who the hell can stand that?" He could see that Xiao Jianjia was like a fierce dragon crossing the river, this time relying on Lu Yuan's support. She looked down on everyone. "Brainless woman, I won't bother with you." Yang Tao snorted in his heart, and could only bow and say, "Yes, Your Majesty." Soon, all the generals above the 5th rank in Bianjing gathered in the palace. After Xiao Jianjia received the tiger talisman, he did not give them the new one immediately. Instead, he said, "Over the years, the local area has been corrupt, and the imperial army has been corrupt, and the imperial army has even had difficulty suppressing the bandits. The fighting capacity has completely collapsed. So I have decided to streamline the army and select the best." 3 days later, a military parade was held with Commander Shang as the referee. The Bianjing army will be reduced to 100 people. Whoever leads the most eliminations can come to me and resign directly. Inside the hall, dozens of generals looked at each other, and then looked at Yang Tao at the same time. Yang Tao was numb. He looked at Xiao Jianjia with some resentment. "Your Majesty, But you please discuss such an important plan with me, even if it's just a word. Yang Tao sighed softly. This woman took drastic measures to eliminate dissidents right from the start. And now she is going to strike the army with her second blow. Isn't she afraid of collapse? Chapter 396, Rough and Useful. Chao Jianjia said calmly, don't you already know now? Yang Tao was dumbfounded. How could anyone give such a last-minute notice? He smiled bitterly and said, Your Majesty, do you know how many troops there are in the country now? How many rebel forces are there in the local areas? If we streamline our forces at this moment, the disadvantages will outweigh the advantages. In the past, they used a city to scare hundreds of thousands of barbarian troops away. And later, it even used 30,000 people to suppress the Three Kingdoms. Are there not as many people from the Three Kingdoms as from Day? Xiao Jianjia said calmly. I would rather use the money to support 200,000 soldiers to support 100,000 soldiers than to support 100. 0 more straw bags. It is imperative to streamline the army. If anyone has any objections, please come to me. Anyone who dares to cause trouble will be killed without mercy. Xiao Jianjia slammed the pistol that Lu Yuan gave her on the desk. Yang Tao was so scared that he quickly shut his mouth. Those generals also realized that Xiao Jianjia was serious. After everyone left the palace, they complained to Yang Tao, Prime Minister Yang, if this continues, do we still have a chance to survive? She was the one who lost Ba Yujingji, how can she have the nerve to come back? That's right. A thing with long hair and little knowledge is qualified to give orders. Be careful what you say. Yang Tao glared at them and said, she has 500 elite soldiers, all armed with guns and ammunition. I heard that she also has artillery, which is enough to fight a war with 100. 0 people. You guys alone are not enough for her men to kill. Hearing this, everyone was angry and helpless. What's so great about that? I just relied on my beauty to make His Majesty dizzy. If He Jun wasn't here, I would tear her head off. Prime Minister Yang, if this continues, she might kick you out of the court. Stop talking nonsense and go back quickly to prepare for the military parade. Yang Tao couldn't help but kick the man. After everyone left, Yang Tao was also very annoyed ever since Xiao Jianjia came back. The left Prime Minister, had become less and less majestic. He took a deep breath and turned back again. Seeing Yang Tao coming back, Xiao Jianjia asked, anything else? Your Majesty, I am not speaking to you as the left Prime Minister of Daqian, but as the Deputy Director of the Comforter Department of Day in Bianjing. After saying this, Yang Tao's back straightened a little. Xiao Jianjia said with a smile, what do you want to say? I have never been your Majesty's enemy. Yang Tao's originally straight back bent again. And he said helplessly, Your Majesty wants to remove the officials who are doing nothing in the court, and I can help. If you want to streamline the army, I can do that. Today, with my merits, I could have been appointed as an official in Day. The reason why I stayed in Daqian was that I couldn't bear to see the people of Bianjing suffer. I also couldn't bear to see the people being oppressed by the Xiongnu. There was no other way. He still wanted to live well in Day. Since he had come against Xiao Jianjia, he had to curry favor with her and turn hostility into friendship. There's absolutely no need to confront her head-on. This is not cowardice. This is called maturity. Xiao Jianjia smiled faintly. When I was in Lianjing, I also knew that Prime Minister Yang sacrificed his relatives for the greater good. And I admired him in my heart. Your Majesty, you are overpraising me. I just did what I should do. Yang Tao knelt on the ground and said, in the past, I did some foolish things and offended Your Majesty. Please punish me. Xiao Jianjia looked at Yang Tao in surprise. This guy was known for being domineering, but he had never done anything to hurt her directly. Yan Ji is already dead. And Yang Tao is now working for Day. It would be better for her to speak frankly at this moment. If she keeps harping on it, she would appear petty. I have a bad memory and can't remember many things, Xiao Jianjia said lightly. Yang Chao let out a long sigh. He was afraid that Xiao Jianjia would cause trouble for him. Your Majesty is magnanimous and I am grateful. Although time has passed, every time I think of my wrongdoings back then, I feel heartbroken and extremely annoyed. As he said this, he slapped himself hard on the face. This humble official deserves death. Bang bang bang. Bang bang bang. Yang Tao slapped himself 30 or 40 times, and each slap echoed throughout the hall. After the slapping, his mouth was full of blood and both sides of his cheeks were swollen. He bowed down once more. It is Yang Tao's blessing to be able to serve His Majesty and to serve the king. Xiao Jianjia smiled faintly. Okay, get up. Thank you, Your Majesty. Yang Tao finally got up from the ground. Although his cheeks were numb and his head was dizzy at the moment, he was able to avoid future troubles, so it was worth it. I will be the chief examiner of the exam, and you will be the invigilator. The 3 edicts must be spread throughout the country as quickly as possible. I don't want to see so few people on the day of the exam. The whole army will have a grand military exercise, and you must also pay attention to it. If you do these 2 things well, I will reward you handsomely. Yang Tao gritted his teeth and said, "Yes, I accept your order. In addition, I have a list of people who are involved in the investigation of Xiao Yi's accomplices. You arrest them according to the list." Rape handed the list to Yang Tao. After Yang Tao finished reading, he was also shocked. "Your Majesty, some of these people are not easy to deal with. 90% of them are from the new party and aristocratic families. And you still say it's not revenge? Arrest these people. There are still powerful families in the Jiangnan region. Your Majesty, if there is no evidence, these people may rebel, and Jiangnan cannot afford the chaos." Yang Tao thought about it and said, "Why not deal with the current situation and then slowly settle accounts with these people? If they rebel, let them rebel, we can deal with them together." Xiao Ji and Jia said calmly, "If they surrender, I will not take their lives if they don't know what's good for them. I don't mind if rivers of blood flow in Jiangnan. It's a good opportunity to pull the army out for some training and see some blood. The trend of unification in this world is unstoppable. I need to train an elite army to help your Majesty expand the territory and conquer the world. Do you understand?" Yang Tao looked at Xiao Ji and Jia in disbelief, his eyes full of surprise. If Yang Tao still didn't understand after she said this, he would be stupid. No wonder she wants to do this. It turns out that she wants to govern the country according to the Yi law, eliminate the root cause of Daqian's deep-rooted illness, train elite soldiers and expand the territory. I'm afraid Daqian will also be incorporated in today. I was wondering how His Majesty could give up power so completely. So this is how it is. Yang Tao couldn't help but feel excited if that was the case. Then he and Xiao Ji and Jia were in the same camp and even had the same goal. He said hurriedly, "Your Majesty is wise, I am willing to serve you until my death." Xiao Ji and Jia smiled. "If she cuts with her sword, won't the people willing to sacrifice their lives come? When your strength isn't matched, all conspiracies are just tricks. A knife is on your neck, and if you want to live, you have to stand in line. This is the method Lu Yuan taught her. Rough and useful." Chapter 397, Making Trouble. On the other side, at Hu Yuan's home, hundreds of people were gathered together to discuss. "Sir Hu, this Xiao Ji and Jia is too reckless. He relies on Li Yuan's support and acts rudely. If he continues like this, Daqian will surely perish at his hands. Yes. You must think of a way to prevent her from doing this to Daqian." Everyone was talking at once, feeling very nervous. In this chaotic era, if you are not an official, you either have to raise private soldiers to protect yourself or join the bandits. However, it is difficult to maintain private soldiers. It's harder to be a thief. A is unstoppable, and it is only a matter of time before it swallows up Daqian. They originally wanted to take the opportunity to change the lobby and make a living in day. Xiao Ji and Jia was so good. As soon as she came, she cut off their way of survival. Isn't this forcing them to rebel? Wu Yuan stroked his beard with a serious expression. Jin Zhangdi said, "Gather people with lofty ideals and sit in silence outside the palace. She has always been immoral and unpopular. And now she is even more perverse." "He has a gun," said Wu Yuan. "So what? Justice is clear. Just because you have a gun, does that mean you can be unreasonable?" Jin Zhangdi said. Wu Yuan was a little speechless. It would be meaningless to explain it too clearly. It was that person's idea that she went back to Beijing this time. Didn't you see that Shang Wei had to be humble and under her control? Although I expected that she would establish her authority, I did not expect that she would be so reckless that half of the court would resign. I think she wants to completely disrupt Daqian. Jin Zhangdi said with a bitter face. "And what do you say? Yang Xiang didn't come either. Didn't we send someone to invite him? Why haven't you come yet?" Everyone was waiting for Yang Tao, and no one dared to act without Yang Tao's order. Even now, when it rains in the alleys of Beijing, blood often washes out of the cracks. More than 10,000 cavalrymen have turned into rotten meat. It is said that the people who cleaned up the corpses have gone crazy. Xiao Ji and Jia may not dare to kill anyone, but Shang Wei certainly does. After waiting for a long time, Yang Tao didn't come, but they waited for a mysterious person. The Hu family's housekeeper whispered something in Hu Yuan's ear. Hu Yuan raised his eyebrows and said to everyone, "The guest has arrived. I want to meet him alone." Arriving at the study, Hu Yuan looked at the person in front of her. "Are you the second master? Lord who has good eyesight. I didn't expect that you still recognized me after all these years." Xiao Han took off his hat and smiled. He had a good relationship with Hu Yuan in the past. At that time, he wanted to seize the throne, and Hu Yuan was one of the people he tried to win over. Hu Yuan took a breath of cold air. You have already. It's a long story," Xiao Han didn't explain, and then changed the subject. "Master Hu, so many years have passed, and you haven't changed at all." Hu Yuan suppressed the shock in his heart and said, "Second master. You didn't come to see me today to reminisce about the past, did you? I am just an old man who is unemployed at home. If second master has anything to ask of you, I can't help you much." Xiao Hong said, "What Ji and Jia did today was indeed excessive, and we in the royal family have some complaints about her. You old man, don't dare to criticize the king. Hu Yuan said this, but there was no on his face. Xiao Hong smiled and said, I'm just complaining if Lord Hu is free. Why don't you make a cup of tea and drink it while we brew it? Hu Yuan nodded and gestured for invitation. Then the two of them started chatting. He then understood Xiao Hong's intention hearing Xiao Hong's words. He frowned and said, this method is inappropriate, it make us great disaster. Then, Lord Hu, do you have any other solution? You have seen how she treated the Xiao clan members, she is extremely ruthless. I don't think she will change her mind. Dismissing you is just the beginning. When she was sidelined as a puppet emperor, the new party bullied her a lot. It is said that women's hearts are as deep as the sea. When you have power, she dares to bully you openly. Now that you have no power, she can kill you with just a word. If Lord Hu thinks I am exaggerating, then just pretend I have never been here. Xiao Hong stood up and said, she is no longer the puppet emperor now, she has Liu Yuan behind her, guns in her hands, and Shang Wei's army to protect her. The sky in Bianjing has changed. The whereabouts of Xiao Yi's accomplices are still unknown, but you know very well whether Xiao Yi has any accomplices. Who is the accomplice is just a matter of her words. After saying this, he bowed and left. When Xiao Hong was about to leave the study, Hu Yuan called him. Second master, stay. Xiao Hong stopped. Are you sure? If I wasn't sure I wouldn't come to you, Xiao Hong said. After this is accomplished, I will go today to serve as an official. Hu Yuan narrowed his eyes. As long as we succeed, everything will be fine. After that, the two looked at each other and smiled. That night, Grape reminded. Your Majesty, the one in Shahua Palace is complaining that she is not feeling well and wants you to go and treat her. Xiao Jianjia rubbed her sore eyes and asked, the palace's chief physician is gone too. As you said, everyone in the palace has been cleared out, even the imperial guards are gone, Grape said. Now the ones who are taking over are our old men. Xiao Jianjia nodded. Fortunately, Liu Yuan doted on her and allowed her to gather the previous team together. Otherwise, she will once again fall into a vicious cycle of having no one available. Isn't someone studying medicine? I remember Tao Zeno's medical skills. Hasn't she passed the junior doctor qualification exam? Xiao Jianjia didn't want to see her, let alone treat her. She doesn't allow anyone to touch her. She's trying to commit suicide, Grape said helplessly. Xiao Jianjia sighed helplessly. Let's go and take a look. Soon, she arrived at Shahua Palace, and before she got close, she heard Queen Mu's wailing. Stop crying, I'm here. Xiao Jianjia walked up to her and saw that she was just crying dryly without a single tears. He knew she was pretending. Where do you feel uncomfortable? I feel dizzy, my eyes are blurry, and my heart is uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable whenever I think about the strained relationship between us mother and daughter. Queen Mu fell on the bed, wearing a thin gauze dress. She was in her 40s. But her figure was comparable to that of a young girl. As soon as she returned to the palace, she changed into luxurious palace clothes and put on heavy hair accessories on her head. Xiao Jianjia felt tired just looking at her. She took Empress Mu's pulse and felt it carefully. My daughter, will you forgive me? Xiao Jianjia ignored her. He let go of her hand and said, it's nothing serious, just tired from the journey, just rest for 2 days. Are you leaving? Queen Mu held her hand tightly. If you have nothing to do, what am I doing here? My daughter, have you forgotten that you used to love sleeping with me the most? Empress Mu sat up and begged. I've made you some soup. Can you drink it before you leave? All state affairs are on your shoulders. I feel bad for you. Then, a maid as mentioned earlier, Queen Mu kept dozens of Xiao women came over with a bowl of chicken soup. Seeing that Xiao Jianjia was indifferent, Empress Mu shed tears and said, are you afraid that I will drug you? As he spoke, he picked up the bowl and took a big sip. Look, it's okay. Xiao Jianjia didn't say anything, took a sip, then put down the bowl and left without looking back. A hint of joy flashed in Empress Mu's eyes. But what she didn't see was that after Xiao Jianjia walked out of the palace, she spit out all the chicken soup in her mouth. Chapter 398. Prime Minister Yang, you are wronged. If someone shows you kindness without any reason, he is either a traitor or a thief. On the one hand, she was unwilling to believe that her biological mother would persecute her. But all the evidence proves that she was involved in all these things. The meaning of the word mother is too heavy. And that soup didn't taste good. She even rinsed her mouth with water. She finds it disgusting. Soon after Xiao Jianjia left, Empress Mu became more and more excited. Quick, Chunwan, bring the treasure chest here. Queen Mu leaned on the bed and asked the maids to dance and play music. Chunhuan was no longer surprised and took out a 1-foot square rosewood box, which was full of strange objects. My lady. What about this? Not good. Empress Mu felt as if she had endless energy. This is really a good medicine. It's a pity that Liuang died. I don't have much of this medicine left. Bring the biggest one. Chunhuan shuddered all over. Your Majesty, I'm sorry. For several days in a row, Empress Mu stood soup for Xiao Jianjia to drink. but Xiao Jian ever drank it once. And every time, Queen Mu would drink 2 sips of the soup properly. Xiao Jian also knew how she looked after she finished drinking. Hot tonic soup has such an effect. Xiao Jian sneered. Don't forget, she is also a doctor. Only strong and powerful medicine can make people unconsciously excited. She is in Chihua Palace every day. Does she really think I don't know? All powerful drugs are addictive. What exactly does she want to do? Xiao Jian would never think that this was a manifestation of love for herself. However, she only attracted attention. And more time was spent on the military performance. She will first train the troops and seize power, and when generals from all over the country come to Beijing, that will be the time for her to centralize power. Then, let Yang Tao arrest people according to the list. If they do not resist, they can be given a chance to serve in the army. If they resist, no one will be spared. Their Majesty, Yang Tao requests to see you. Qi Jiyue walked in quickly. Xuan. Soon, Yang Tao came in. Their Majesty, the competition venue for the military parade has been cleared, and we can start training tomorrow. Good. Xiao Jian nodded. She originally wanted Xiao Chai to lead the army. Firstly, Xiao Chai had great prestige. Secondly, she could more or less understand his helplessness at this moment. They all want to survive. He has to fight against powerful officials. Protect the Daqian nation from being overthrown, and keep the country running. It's not easy. However, this time, Xiao Chai can only lead a team alone, and most of the troops will be handed over to his trusted confidants. Yang Tao, I heard that Hu Yuan has been sending you visiting cards these past 2 days. Have you met him? Yang Tao's heart skipped a beat. How did Xiao Jian know such a secret matter? He hurriedly said, Your Majesty, I am loyal to your Majesty. How can I get involved with these traitors? I didn't say you were a traitor. Don't be nervous. Xiao Jian said calmly. Find some time to meet him and see what they want to do. Yes, I understand. Yang Tao secretly groaned, thinking that he was being made a traitor. After Yang Tao left, Xiao Jian began to check out the great sages in the Jiangdan area. The invitatalter cannot be Yang Tao alone. There must also be a well-respected and famous person. People from aristocratic families are fine, and those who have many connections with aristocratic families are not allowed either. The only option is to be a famous person who is indifferent to fame and wealth and lives in seclusion. Although it's not much, it's also not a small amount. Relying on Day's intelligence system, Xiao Jian felt for the first time what it meant to be at ease and what it meant to have eyes everywhere. Even though I didn't leave the palace. Grape, go and ask these people to come out. I have already listed their positions. Hurry. Grapefruit list. Leave quickly. Qi Jiyue is still not steady in doing things, but he is okay at running errands. When Grape left, Peony followed her. On that day, Yang Tao left the palace early, and after thinking it over, he left the mansion through the back door. Master, a distinguished guest has arrived, the butler quickly reported to Hu Yuan. Please come in. Hu Yuan was also happy. He straightened his clothes and walked over quickly. Yang Tao came in from the back door. Hu Yuan said, Prime Minister Yang, I'm sorry for putting you in such a difficult position. Yang Tao waved his hand. During this special period, we don't care about these things. Prime Minister Yang, you are so righteous. Hu Yuan bowed and pretended to be respectful. She invited Yang Tao to the study and even took out her best tea. Prime Minister Yang, I've been waiting for you to come. These days, I can't sleep whenever I think of Xiao Jian's misdeeds. Yang Tao lowered his head and took a sip of tea, saying, The situation is so serious that even I would not dare to act rashly. Prime Minister Yang, we all know your difficulties, but you promised us before that you would write a letter today to accept us and go to Liangjing as officials in the future, and we will also be led by you. I am waiting for the new party, and I am looking forward to your words. If this continues, our new party will be finished. Yang Tao seized power under the banner of the new party. After all, the Daqian new party was the largest, of new party officials accounting for 90. The remaining 10 were mostly insignificant people or useless people who were just waiting to die. But Yang Tao understood that Xiao Jian hated the new party. Whoever is a member of the new party will be arrested, because he is Xiao Yi's accomplice. He said calmly, The great ones hide in the city, the small ones hide in the wild. Be patient for a while, the situation isn't clear at the moment. Prime Minister Yang, Xiao Jian is taking advantage of the situation to seize power. When she succeeds, is there any hope for you and me to survive? Hu Yuan said, Anyone with a discerning eye can see that she is taking revenge on us. Is the wound on your face okay? I thought she could still act, but unexpectedly, she stopped acting and just started fighting. Yang Tao's expression suddenly became a little strange, but in Hu Yuan's eyes, it was embarrassing. Prime Minister Yang, you have suffered for us. Hu Yuan sighed. It was rumored that after they left, Xiao Jian called Yang Tao over, humiliated him, and slapped him dozens of times. Yang Tao laughed dryly and followed his words. Hey, I haven't come to see you these few days. I really am too embarrassed to see anyone. As he spoke, He touched his face helplessly. Look, I used the best ointment, but the swelling didn't go down. Prime Minister Yang, as long as Xiao Jianjia is keeping us in check, we will never be able to make a breakthrough. Hu Yuan poured him a cup of tea and said in a low voice, we must keep her under control. How to control it? Don't mess around, you know what Yi Jun is capable of. Of course I wouldn't be stupid enough to go against Yi Jun. Hu Yuan smiled faintly, then clapped his hands. Second master. Come out. Yang Tao frowned and turned around to see a man with scars all over his face walking out from behind the screen. He looked carefully and found that he didn't recognize her. He was immediately annoyed and said, I was talking to you, and you let a third party listen in. Chapter 399 Hunting Time. Prime Minister Yang. Please calm down, the second master is one of us. Hu Yuan hurriedly explained his identity. Prime Minister Yang. How are you? Xiao Hong cupped his hands. You are the second prince? Yang Tao stood up suddenly. Aren't you dead? This is a long story. I returned to Beijing with Xiao Jianjia this time. Hu Yuan also patiently explained to Yang Tao. After a long while, Yang Tao said quietly, the second prince wants to cooperate with our new party? That's right, the only way out for us is to cooperate with Prime Minister Yang. Xiao Hong sat opposite Yang Tao. Xiao Jianjia treated his relatives harshly, acted perversely, angered heaven and people, behaved improperly, had flawed personal ethics, and was extremely incompetent. Xiao Hong wants to ask Yang Xiang for a small favor. What's the matter? Xiao Hong dipped his hand in the tea